Hey, it's Tuesday, November the 29th, 2016. It is the fullest of houses here on the Giant Bombcast.
It's no free space November. No room November.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a chair here.
Get that fucking chair out of here.
You know what? I was wrong. It could be fuller in here.
Yeah.
We could have dragged Matt Rory in here to fill this last chair, but I'm Brad Shoemaker, Jeff Gersman,
Hello.
Drew Scanlon,
Hi.
Jason A. Stryker, and Dan Reichert are
Hello.
here. And we are joined by Giant Bomb East.
Nice pool table.
What's up, dudes?
How's it going, Vinny?
It's great.
How's it going?
I'll take a
Roomy in
hit.
there.
Yeah?
Yeah, hit me.
With my fist?
No, I
right.
Can't reach you. I can't reach you.
I want some playing
I
cards.
mean, I wouldn't mind.
You're gonna
if
hit
I
on
could-
17, huh? It's a little rough. I don't know, but sure.
I'm a gambler.
Okay. No, that's literally
House always wins. I wouldn't recommend that.
Yeah.
So you guys do this live?
We do.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
on the internet.
anything can happen.
Anything can happen
It does happen.
and does.
Where's
yeah.
the cameras?
Oh,
All over.
they're
Hidden.
around.
There's a few over
There's
there.
one in that plant.
There's one up there.
Yep.
See if I
There's
can
one
find
in
my
your microphone.
my list of safe, pre-approved jokes that I can make that won't offend anyone.
There's
There's one in your coffee.
there's one under your chair. You don't know which way it's pointing though.
No, see, that was a bad one. There you
No,
go.
that's what? What are you
That's
doing?
much
No,
better.
that's- keep your hands above the table. You're clearing your throat. Don't make noise.
Anything could happen.
That's right. And hey, it often does.
Yep.
Am I right?
Uh-huh.
Hey, it's a little crazy around here.
How you feeling, Vinny?
Like I flew
Okay.
and then
Yeah.
came into a hot office.
Yeah.
This office is real hot.
Hey,
thanks, man.
Steamy.
Yeah.
You know, when I was in your office, I thought it was really hot.
It is hot.
The
Yeah.
studio there is nice and cold, though.
Yeah.
I like
yeah,
that a lot.
Yeah, like I think I said that if I was there, I would work in that studio full time.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was nice and cool.
It kind of tends to chill you to to the bone after you're there for more than like an hour
No,
or two.
that ain't the
There's
studio,
no
baby.
such. Yeah.
Y'all got that good AC?
I had them just like give me a direct line
Nice.
to like the
You
Arctic
said,
Circle.
fuck me up.
Yeah.
And they
Especially-
did.
Especially-
Tap right into the backbone.
Yeah.
Especially during that month I was there when it was like 100+ degrees, like super humidity. That room felt amazing.
Oh, it's like a movie theater.
I didn't realize New York in August how hot that gets.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
buddy, let me tell you.
It's very hot. Yes.
Is that like that one thing where it's all hot time, summer in the city?
Yeah,
That's what
so
they
the
were
back of your
talking- I
neck
think
gets
that's what they
really
were talking
dirty
about.
and gritty. Yeah.
You could cut that garbage air with a knife.
Yeah. Turns out there's a lot of buildings too and steel, and that just kind of the asphalt, the
Oh,
steel,
yeah.
and everything. It
And
it
lots of garbage.
compounds
Just
the
so
heat.
much garbage.
Wait until you see a garbage strike.
What
Would that happen?
No.
Not,
Does it just
not
pile
often,
up?
but it does happen.
Oh,
How does it go?
Has the garbage strike
Yeah,
come? Well, if it's in the winter, it's just piles of snow that are just like on top of big mounds of garbage,
Oh,
and
no.
that gets really dangerous because like you go to like pick up snow or try to walk around it, and it's actually broken bottles and stuff underneath.
Oh, hey, it's a hypodermic needle.
so you shouldn't try to eat the snow in like Manhattan.
You shouldn't ever try to eat snow anywhere, ever.
What? Kids do that all the time. I still do that.
It's full of dirt.
Not always. You're not like
Acid
grabbing it
rain.
from. You're not grabbing it from like underneath your car, like the gross like tire snow or whatever.
Do you
Just
really
like
eat snow?
Oh yeah.
Did you know you can frostbite your internal organs?
I mean, I'm not eating like pounds of it. I'm just like, oh, I'll eat a little bit
I mean,
of snow here.
to be fair, on the list of things he has done to his internal organs, like that's not even in the top 20.
Do you know what makes you thirstier?
It's water.
Yeah, but it takes more energy to break it down from ice into water than it does.
Break it
that
down.
you-
Your body's hot, and then it melts.
No, Dan.
Yeah.
That's a good breakdown.
No, Dan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Body's hot.
And then it
Break
melts.
it down.
Break it down. Anything could happen.
That's
here.
right.
It's like 70s educational cartoon.
Yeah. It's all like a warbling. And then the body breaks it.
It's the worst Schoolhouse Rock segment.
Yep.
Watch my film strip.
You guys are here for the end of the year festivities,
That's what they tell me.
I guess we can say.
Yeah. I mean, I call them game of the year.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever
stuff.
floats your boat.
I thought we were calling them end of the year festivities this time. I thought the slate was going to say end of the year festivities, 59th, whatever.
Colon, I guess you're
And,
here.
yeah, colon. I guess you're here.
Tradition of excellence.
I think
Yeah.
legally we're not allowed to call it festivities if we don't have an actual festival.
Oh, no, sorry. Festivities.
Okay, we can do that.
Yeah.
Anything could happen.
That's right. And often does.
Somebody pick up the phone.
Yeah.
That's a you guys know
Yeah.
real world then, right?
No, that's
This is what.
true story. Okay. No, I'm with you.
Yeah.
What else happens here?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Sit,
Yeah,
sit in this room and talk a lot.
Yeah.
Y'all do these video games over here?
yeah.
No, we try not to.
Games,
We play
games
Mario Party.
happen occasionally.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a whole video game website already here, so we don't really have to do any of that stuff.
That must be nice.
Yeah, we just kind of do our own thing.
We
There's
just,
no video game website where we are.
No, yeah, it's
we just we copy and paste some of the stuff they write occasionally.
yeah, Just throw it up there and just we add like 4 curse words a paragraph and then post it and say this is the edgy game site. Yeah.
We have this website where they review refrigerators and shit, but no
Scooters.
video games.
Refrigerators and shit. What's the
Yeah.
highest rated shit of the year?
I think it got 5 bacalars out of shit.
Okay,
I think it
all
was
right.
The Witness.
What?
Is there a channel?
sick!
I will fucking if you're over here talking shit about the Witness.
This
if you
isn't
brought
the
your East
Deliberation
Coast
podcast.
Fucking Witness hate
Wait,
out
do you
here.
guys not like The Witness?
This is fucking.
I didn't really like the Witness.
Really?
That much. It's not my kind of game.
Oh,
Shit's open.
It's
I
a
don't
fun
think
puzzle
it's,
game.
I don't think it's a
Close
bad
that.
game.
Okay.
I just don't like it.
Oh, I thought it was a
tell him
delightful puzzle game.
Tell him what you told me.
What did I tell you?
Tell him what you
tell
told
him.
him.
What'd you tell him?
What did I tell?
Yeah, what'd you
He's
tell him?
embarrassed now. He doesn't
Yeah,
want
what
to say
did-
it.
Come on, Alex,
Okay.
say it.
Say it.
I actually, I
And now he's
If you could
embarrassed.
tell him, you could tell
I'll,
us.
I'll tell
Yeah.
you later. It's,
Okay.
Well, fuck, man.
Boy.
I had some dark fantasies.
Are you
all I'll
still
say.
deep in the throes of No Man's Sky?
I am still going back to it occasionally.
Really?
Not with any great regularity, but like every few weeks or so, I'll pop it in for an hour or two, and that's usually about it.
Has
Has
anything
anything-
changed?
Thing
Well-
changed.
They've got a big patch coming out.
As a matter of fact, yes, though I have not had a chance to try that patch yet because that thing dropped the day I was traveling out here, I think.
That was kind of the big story for the week. Way to fuck up my segments.
No.
Play the news music. No. What are we doing?
We'll get to that.
Wait, you have segments?
I don't even have show notes.
music.
I don't even know what's happening.
We have music. Yeah, we have no notes, but we have music.
Do you do corrections?
And
You just wake up hungover in the studio and hit go.
no, we don't do
no.
we don't do corrections because this show doesn't ever get anything wrong.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh,
for sure.
really?
100%
Yes.
accurate.
Factually-
Every week in, week out. Facts.
It's also why we
We have
don't
the
fact
science
check.
quiz. We have facts.
Yeah, we have
Anything
facts.
can happen.
Anything can happen.
as long as it's factual.
Great.
Vinny, we have
yeah.
something to aspire to now.
Yeah, let me tell you what they put in No Man's Sky then.
Okay, all right.
Factually correct.
Let's
okay?
hear it.
There's multiplayer competitive co-op shooting.
Fact.
Yes.
Fact.
VR support?
There's VR support.
Fact.
The crossover Nintendo
Uh-huh.
Final Fantasy stuff is weird, but contentious.
It's cool that it's in there.
It's cool that it's in there.
There are trains now,
There are trains. There's only one planet. But
Good.
But there are
Okay,
different
yeah.
layers.
but it's a
inside
really
the planet.
good planet.
Okay.
It's okay. They said they're going to get better.
I would probably rather have one really good planet than what they've got.
Fact.
So,
Fact.
There's now a Marvel Cinematic Universe tie-in, so the Avengers.
Yes.
Can you build a
how's the
roller
MOBA
MOBA
coaster?
stuff? MOBA stuff, all right.
Oh,
It's kind of it's more Heroes of the Storm than
Okay.
Dota
It's
would
Still,
say.
it's still in early access. Kind of hard to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the weirdest thing is they dropped this update, but they put no notes for it. Like they didn't say anything about it. They remain incommunicado
yeah, they've never spoken ever.
about everything
fact.
that's
It
in
just
it.
They
appeared.
deleted all their social media. I
So
heard.
to get
Yeah.
the apparently to get the what they're calling the formidable patch, you have to go travel to a secret planet and find it, and then get it on your ship,
And then craft
Okay.
it.
and then craft it, and it's like really expensive. So like I don't understand how they think this is going to appease fans.
Is there like a way that I can just like buy the patch like,
No.
with real money to
I don't
like,
know.
get around
They
that,
haven't
or-
talked about anything.
Okay.
Like you think somebody puts out a big patch, the formidable patch, and you'd make notes, especially after all the shit they've gone through of not talking, and then
Fact.
they're just like somebody stumbles upon a patch.
Right. Like whoops a patch.
Whoops.
Maybe, okay, here's my follow-up question to that.
Yeah.
Was the patch there all along and someone just finally found it?
I mean,
that was at the center of the galaxy.
I don't know because nobody's ever gotten there,
They tell people they've gotten there.
and it's like that's a lie.
Yeah.
That was on fake news sites.
you have to go
Yeah.
there with a friend. You have to meet them on the same planet
Yeah.
and then fly to the
That's
center,
been-
and then you
that's
get the
been
patch.
completely
Oh,
disproven.
so like
Oh,
I thought
really?
there were like
Yeah.
two buttons
Wow.
and each person had to hit one at the same
That's-
time.
that's-
You have to get a
that's
key and
false.
you have
You're
to
thinking
turn.
of
But
Watch
you have to
Dogs.
start with the Airman stage because you go to Metal Man first, it won't work.
That's insane.
And then you
That's
get to this
insane. I don't
giant
believe
cube,
that.
and everybody has to tap the sides of the cube until you get to the middle
Okay.
of it.
How long is Girl?
That's where the patch is.
I mean, now you guys are just making stuff up
No, this is all facts.
as you say it.
Yeah.
You form it into existence.
Totally
That's why
right,
you don't
yeah.
have any corrections.
Exactly.
This is a
No,
fact-only
this-
podcast.
No, this also, yes, that's the other thing, is this podcast manifests things.
It's very truthy.
If you go back over the years, people have found this time and time again, that there have been a number of things from this podcast that have then manifested into
Oh,
reality.
this
That's pretty
podcast is like the
amazing.
sphere.
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
Did you go into the podcast, Dan?
I might have stepped in.
I imagine Sean Murray is a squid, and now we're all fucked.
Except he has
He's got 8 arms to code you.
and they all have like dusty roads at the end of each arm.
That
Okay,
so-
all right.
No, now I'm okay.
You have some really
Eight
weird
different Dusty
fantasies.
Rhodes heads. I just say that's hard times, Daddy.
hard to, and World War III. There are 3 rings on every planet now. I would re-download that game if any of that was accurate.
Well, hopefully Sean's out there listening and taking this feedback under advisement.
They're changing right now.
Yeah. Shit. Pull this car over.
This is what they really wanted.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's your first news bit. I don't know
Okay, great.
What else do you want me to go over? Anything else happen?
I don't know. You been playing anything? All right, moving on.
Is that what you've been playing music? Or
Sure,
is that
I guess.
Oh, feel
I'm
free.
really not used to hearing the musical cues while doing this.
No, we've had them for like kind of for years, and then none of us ever heard them. And then when we started doing the show live, they started playing, or when we started doing those PAX panels.
Well, I used to have to edit them in every week.
Right,
Like
yeah.
You'd
And
have
then
to
I
find where you start talking about games and drop it in.
And then when I was editing the podcast, I don't think I ever
you
put
never
them in
did.
because like
You never bothered
I
to do
never
'em.
had the music, so
Yeah.
I don't. So I was just like, well, whatever.
What'd you play on the way out here?
Do you game?
I didn't play anything on the plane.
Yeah.
Not even
No,
Doom
I-
on the back of your seat.
No.
I barely ever play games on planes.
I was planning to. I brought my laptop, and it had like Endless Legend on it and all the hottest Pillars of Eternity. This year's hottest
The
release.
biggest
Yeah,
games.
But no. What did I play before that? I played some Battlefield 1
Okay.
over Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And it didn't hold the attention of the family as much as I thought.
Caravella
it
crew.
would. Yeah. So we had.
Are we talking like people watching Battlefield 1
No,
or
no,
playing?
no, like playing. So
Like
it
a
was
LAN party?
They are a family of
My
players.
two brothers, my dad, and me is my new podcast.
Okay.
You should definitely do it.
No,
So
not
it's-
It's an advice podcast.
Yeah, it's an advice podcast on Battlefield 1 advice. And my cousin, and like, it's fun, but everybody kind of got a little bored, I think.
You guys going online? Like
Yeah.
doing the big 64-player dance?
Yeah.
forming a squad
Yeah.
and
Like, we weren't all in the same room.
Squadding up.
But, you know, the vehicle variety, like, we played a lot of Battlefield 3, and like that had vehicles you run to, you get inside, and
Yeah.
stuff like that. You know, Battlefield 1, you spawn in the vehicle, or you
Right.
spawn in a plane.
Is it harder to group up that way?
You can spawn on your squad
Okay.
mate so not really. I think it just becomes less like chaotic
Yeah.
or something like that. There's just like a cool thing about everybody run to this Jeep
yeah.
and like let's get in this
And then
Jeep.
crouch on the hood and
Yeah.
like, surf the Jeep as it drives down the hill.
or this plane and like, you know, there's something about a plane spawns and then everybody runs to it versus like sitting on the bigger world map and then waiting for the icon to show up.
Right.
And
Oh,
then
there's a
clicking
plane.
on it.
Yeah.
And then you start flying in it. You don't take off. You just, you know, you're in the plane already. So like I think, and there aren't that many vehicles in it. I mean, it's World War I. There are only a couple of tanks and a couple of planes. And then the fighting on the ground, like the weapons, there's a variety there, but they feel very similar. I just found that everybody was kind of not grouping together and running off and dying separately. And we tried Overwatch 2. And I think
you guys got into
Overwatch 2 beta.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
The characters are nuts.
Wow. Did the
Nuts.
ARG was the ARG pay off, or was it just
Yeah. Well, finding that last planet in No Man's Sky was tough.
Okay.
But yeah.
I've gotten really good at the 8-headed Dusty Rhodes character. Really good. Really solid.
His
the
moves
ult
are
is
weird.
really crazy?
Yeah.
It's all elbows.
It's just
Yeah.
elbows everywhere.
Yeah.
7 ults.
He summoned Sweet Sapphire and
yeah.
The
Polka dot shotgun. Yep.
That was. I thought that was going to be real tough to explain to people who don't know a thing about Overwatch and,
Right.
and haven't played a lot of like competitive class-based shooters. You can call Battlefield a class-based shooter, but not
I
in
would
that way.
absolutely call
Yeah.
it. I mean, in a different way.
In a different
but
way.
yes.
Like, you know what I mean, right?
Yes,
like,
sure.
This is like a superhero
A
kind
hero
of thing.
shooter,
Where it's like, oh, you're going to have
hobby grade.
like everybody's going to have a different thing. Your weapons are going to be completely different. Your playstyle is going to be completely different. But everybody kind of took to it, and we were actually really enjoying that. The problem was we had how many people are in Overwatch match? 6?
6 on 6.
So we had 5
in
in a party.
Yep. Yeah.
And so the matchmaking took a really long time to find like one other person that would group up with us.
Yeah.
And then I was afraid we'd just get matched against other groups of 6, like clans that would just roll over us. But
Yeah.
it actually seemed to work out pretty well. We won like a couple of matches on there. And that was really fun. That made everybody
Had they
feel
played it
really-
before?
No.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, nobody. I was the only one who had played it.
I think that game does a really great job of introducing itself and just like even people who have maybe barely played a shooter before, it's just super accessible.
Yeah, and people felt really good about getting like play of the game really early on, and like seeing their name come up. Like it does a really good job of positive reinforcement, and like, that was unlike Battlefield, where like you look at the leaderboards and they're all are at the bottom of the
huge list because there's so many players,
and it's just everybody complaining about lag and be like, "How is it? I shot that guy 7 times. I shot me once. There must be cheating." So that went really well, but then everybody kind of went to bed, and it was just me and my 2 brothers, and we wound up playing Overcooked for the rest of the night.
It's so good.
That was probably the most fun we had.
How many players were you playing with?
3.
3, okay. I wonder, because I've done a lot of 4 and mostly 2. Is 3 kind of a nice sweet spot?
I thought 3 was pretty good. It was kind of fun because one person usually got isolated. So like you had to really manage around one person being like, you've got to do this one job on your own.
So he is cooking meat. That's the thing.
Or whatever the level dictates, right?
Yeah.
And then 2 of us would be on the other side. And, a couple of times would be like, do you want to switch controllers? Like, I don't know. This looks like it's too much for you. And like, no, I got it. So it's a puzzle game, right? You're trying to figure out the puzzle. And that was really fun. Those are the games I played. Hit the music.
Boom.
Yeah, we used to play the music. Everyone talks about their game.
There it is.
There
We
you
each got our own theme.
Okay.
Very nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
All right.
All right. I'll cue your entrance theme.
Okay. All right. Jason?
What if
It's
we
going.
What if we all had our own theme?
Hit the pyro.
Oh, we probably
Wait a minute.
should.
Wait a minute. We could
Yeah, we probably
back
should.
this up.
We could look into this.
I almost beat Watch Dogs 2.
Oh, wow.
I'm damn near the end of that.
I'm about halfway through that right
I
now.
did beat Watch Dogs 2.
How long would you say the story is?
I've done a decent amount of side stuff too, so I'm just guessing I put 15 to 20 into
is that
it.
it?
It seems like
maybe?
about a 30-hour game.
Okay.
Yeah,
Like
like-
kind of doing everything, you mean? Or most
Well,
of
if you
most
do
of,
most of the major side stuff, I mean, that seems to be the kind of like that seems like the ceiling most open world games have been going for lately is the 30-hour mark.
Okay.
I will say that by the time I got to the end of that game, it felt long.
Huh.
I mean, 30 hours is nothing.
I guess I'm mainly doing main story missions, and so it hasn't been that bad. And like, I really like just kind of going around that world and messing around with powers and things like that, and just even the stupid stuff, the Scout X pictures and all that stuff.
I keep
think
doing
it's
the
fun.
driver missions
I haven't done many of those.
because they basically just bolted a crazy taxi onto that game,
All right.
but it's like Uber.
Yeah, it's like an app that you access from your phone.
What's
and then you
their
can
what's
pick
their
up-
pithy name for Uber?
I think it's just Driver.
No, it's
San
Driver
Francisco.
Yeah, it's the
They
game.
fucking named it Driver San
They
Francisco.
actually did, in
It's
fact, name it
great.
Driver San Francisco.
Wow.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
Is there an E or is it like DRIVR?
No, it's got an E.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 Is it like the actual logo from the game?
No,
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Still pretty good.
That is really good.
Yeah.
So is that like official combined universe stuff?
I mean,
Both games can't pronounce the word Marin right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
What
gonna
is it,
say yes.
Marin?
I'm
Do
gonna
they say Marin?
They say Marin.
Yeah, so it is Canadian San Francisco.
Yeah.
Great.
I mean-
Mark Maron?
Yeah, Mark Marin's friend of the site, Mark
Driver.
Marin.
There are Assassin's Creed signs and stuff like on the Ubisoft office, and like you will overhear chatter if you hack people's phones of like, oh, I can't believe another trailer leaked for our Assassin's Creed games.
But is it Abstergo or is it like Ubisoft?
No, it is Ubisoft. Like the logo,
yeah. No,
roughly
it's-
where it is.
But
Because this is San Francisco, so there is a side mission in that game where you go hack the Ubisoft building and steal a trailer for a game. We covered this in news a while back, last couple weeks ago. But
in Assassin's Creed, Abstergo.
no, there's a poster for the Assassin's Creed.
But didn't
like
they
the
make
movie or
Assassin's
whatever.
Creed
Abstergo?
with Ubisoft in
Oh, you're
Assassin's
right. Yeah,
Creed?
yeah. The Abstergo
Yeah, oh, yeah, I
Corporation.
guess so.
Oh,
made...
so Ubisoft is in the Assassin's Creed universe
I guess
too?
so.
I think it was. I think they
And
teamed up
there's
with
a
them.
You're right.
Ubisoft office in the Division as well.
That's right. Yeah,
I
New York
think
office.
the Ubisoft cinematic universe can handle more than one video game developer
Yeah.
conceptually.
I think so.
I don't know.
I like
I got to give them props for being so willing to poke fun at themselves in
Yeah.
that game. It seems like they kind of went for it.
Yeah.
Are they poking fun or are they
I think
just
so.
Oh, they have
advertising
some
it?
Or are
The
they
trailer
viral
leak
marketing a
stuff.
game that is?
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
because if you remember, like what happened was that details about the new Assassin's Creed leaked that Kotaku ran, and then Ubisoft like blacklisted Kotaku over it.
And is that in the game?
I don't know that I haven't gotten to that part. I don't know if they've mentioned the fact that they blacklisted the outlet.
They say something about like, oh, if you can even call that
yeah,
journalism.
there's
Yeah.
there is a.
That doesn't
fucking-
sound like poking fun.
No, it's not.
There is
there's
some
instead
stuff.
a sick burn on game journalism in there from these fucking people.
Can you pre-order
and
games
a
in there?
sick
'Cause that would
burn
be
on
poking
Petaluma
fun.
in there also. So double
Really?
fuck.
Really?
What did they
Oh,
say
come
about
on. Your definition of a sick burn on Petaluma is to name sandals after Petaluma.
Accurate. Yeah.
Now, I don't like sandals any more than the average person, but come now. I think that's a little hypersensitive.
Like people wear Petalumas?
No, you buy clothes. Yes, yeah,
They're
you
Birkenstock
buy a lot of
equivalents.
clothes, and yeah. They're right next to the Novato, which I thought was a good burn because fuck Nevada.
Sure.
I like their San Francisco overall.
Yes.
I think it's a good map, and just the little snippets of Silicon Valley and Oakland and Marin. It's fun.
Sorry, Marin.
Is it Marin? What's the right
It
one?
is Marin.
It is
And-
Marin,
and
okay.
Different characters pronounce it differently in the game
Oh,
on top
okay.
of that, so it's like
Can you drive around in Marin?
A little bit.
There's a
Yeah.
Sausalito
there's
equivalent.
Sausalito.
Yeah.
Did you find her old office?
No, it's not.
a
It's
nightclub
just that
then.
little downtown area,
Oh,
and
okay.
that's it.
Yeah, it's more the
That one
touristy
bar,
spot, and then-
Smitty's?
No, that's even too far north.
Oh, geez. Okay.
It's
You have to
more
go
like
into
where all
Go-
those dumb clothing stores and stuff are.
Down by the
Oh,
water,
okay.
like all that bullshit down there.
It's all by
that we
the
never
water.
went to.
Yeah.
yeah,
If you go into Google Earth VR, you can find
yeah.
this stuff.
That's all there.
Yeah.
Do you like the game?
Yes.
Yeah.
I really do. And I did not like the first one at all. I played 3 or 4 hours of the first one, and it just didn't seem to have much of a heart to it. And like the abilities seem to be not easy to use and not that helpful. This one, it just seems like everything works better. It's more fun. The world is more live. The characters and the writing are better. Like I'm really, really liking this game.
They severely course corrected from the first game in a way that is, I think sort of a tacit admission that they didn't even really like what that previous game had been.
Sure.
Though also the fucking protagonist from the first game is in that game.
And
And he's one of the side missions.
Oh,
is
you
like,
rescue
it's a very
him.
brief thing.
Is it like a
it's
GTA
fun.
thing where it's like, oh, the guy Claude is in
Pretty
San
much,
Andreas?
pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
We talked about it on
that
the Beastcast.
you unlock the iconic clothing of Aiden Pierce
Really?
for your own.
Everybody's
in your own-
favorite hacker anti-hero.
Fuck, man.
I really wish their way of dealing that would have been just him dying a horrible death right at the beginning of the game, just to be like, nope, no more
Yeah,
Aiden Pierce ever again.
it's like the lost and damned
instead
guy.
it's your characters going like, oh man, this dude's in town. This guy's a vigilante
Oh,
hero.
really?
Yep.
Like they fucking put him on a pedestal
pedestal.
where you're just like, man, fuck you.
But he doesn't fall down. It's not like,
Nope.
this guy kind of
No,
Sucks.
He's not there long enough for it to.
He's a trench coat with a cell phone. That's all he is.
Yeah.
Oh, what if it turned out he was a paid cosplayer from? You can see that would be poking
that
fun
would
at
be good.
themselves
Yeah.
and be like, oh, it turns out it's not really Aiden Pierce. It's actually a paid
Yeah.
cosplayer.
That'd be all right.
Engage.
Do
And
they
then
call
that's
it?
the end of him?
Do they call it an iconic hat when you unlock his
No,
stuff?
they don't.
They don't.
They missed
damn
that.
it.
They missed that opportunity. I forget what they do
That's
call
a
it,
shame.
but
Or if that guy with what's the guy with the mask with the emojis on his face?
Wrench.
Wrench or
yeah,
Sledge or
if that guy like pushed him off a roof, and be like, that guy sucks.
it would be.
He's so fake.
Yeah. By
it's,
the end of that game, like for a game where when they showed that character prior to release, you were like, man, fuck this. That character, they make good on Wrench. Like he's a pretty good character over the
Does
course
he
of that
take the
game.
mask off and you cry or something?
There's things happen.
the
Am I
mask,
gonna feel
the mask
stuff
becomes
then?
a story point in one
Yeah.
mission.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
in a way that actually works.
Yeah.
They make him goofy in a way that is more endearing than any of that pre-release material would ever give you. Like there's a funny little moment early on where they're talking about technology and how possessive he is of his technology, and Marcus is basically implies that this dude likes to fuck his computers and he doesn't say no. And then, you know what? It's a surprisingly funny moment.
Yeah, there are
That sounds
good.
very San Francisco.
Yeah, totally. There are a lot of good little character bits in that game. Though, like at the same time, playing it against the backdrop of current news, got really fucking exhausting at a point where like there's a whole mission arc in there about like rigged election and we got these voting machines they're trying to hack the election to keep this guy, and Facebook fake news on Facebook is doing this to there's just like actually maybe they don't come out and say fake news, but it's definitely like social network that is the equivalent to Facebook is manipulating people's opinions to get them to vote a certain way.
It's a good bit of escapism.
Yeah, totally. It was stuff that you're just like, man, fuck.
Well, it's especially nuts when you consider they probably had to have that script locked like 18
I
months
mean,
ago.
that's all very now,
Yeah.
regardless of whether
It's just how
like-
on
like
the nose it ended up being.
Yeah. Now you have like people trying to recount elections and stuff in real life. Obviously, it's not a direct parallel, but
Jill Stein wearing that emoji face.
yeah.
I mean, she never said no when people ask her about the computer.
Exactly. No, she definitely like if she had been a little more forthright about fucking computers, I might have voted differently. This is just what I'm saying. Like you don't need to vaccinate computers anyway. So who cares?
Gary Johnson on the unicycle in the background, just kind of juggling.
Yeah.
That's valid. Well, now here I'm going to just fuck up my own segments because now seems like the best time to mention that that fucking Muni hack that happened.
There's never been
yeah.
a better time to talk
hack
about the Muni
Muni.
hack.
Muni, the fucking most awful public transit system in the world.
Yes.
It's terrible.
Which is very appropriate.
Now,
for
what are
it.
they? Is they're not buses? They're just the
It's
trains.
everything.
It is everything.
It's the trains and
It's trains and
It's
buses.
not, it's not
non-BART.
BART. It's not BART.
BART is a separate system, but
Okay,
so
but
Muni
Muni is the San Francisco based.
Yes.
Yes.
What do
It's
you call
the-
them? Streetcars? Like I take the L.
those
is
are
that
trains,
the? That's
streetcars,
okay. So
whatever,
trains and buses.
and buses. It's
Okay.
it's a shit service, which is appropriate for a garbage city like San Francisco.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
How you doing, Brad?
Oh, come on, Vinny. Like you disagree.
The steps leading up from that station have been covered in human shit for years.
I mean, Muni. I took BART a lot.
Yeah.
Is BART also?
BART seems
I
bad.
don't use it.
I mean, BART is
Okay.
better, but it's still not great.
I mean, I think it got you from point A to B eventually.
eventually,
Eventually is definitely the operative word.
unreliably.
Man,
Yeah. Anyway, I only mentioned it because I had pulled this into news that yes, the
hacked the BART and the Muni.
No, the Muni.
But he couldn't hack BART.
the Muni computer system got hacked over the weekend, which was, I mean, it's whatever. It's the most natural conclusion ever that it's fucking Watch Dogs is happening.
Yeah.
I don't know if anything like that happens in that game or not.
No. You hack ATMs and do some other dumb shit.
You can hijack like the Google buses. There's a trophy for hijacking a Google bus.
But
or
that's
a
like
noodle bus.
But that's like
Sorry.
you getting on a fucking bus with a gun. That's
Yeah.
not you fucking hacking. That's like you walked up to this bus and hit triangle,
I used my
and
yo-yo
you got
thing.
a trophy for doing it.
So what happened with Muni?
It got ransomware hacked. So
Yeah.
all the terminals and all the other stuff were just displaying text that were just. It actually later said you hacked.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, the
says
message-
it has an email address.
The message is you hacked all data encrypted on like all of the fare machines and shit around the city,
On the fare machines?
Yeah.
So like public facing machines.
like stuff with screens.
Is
And
it
this-
still hacked?
They fixed it, I think.
I
think it was just
this
over the
is-
weekend. Like there were 2 days where they couldn't charge people, so
Yeah.
they
So
lost
just raised
fares
the
for 2
gates and
days.
just let people.
Oh, because I would definitely put my credit card into that machine.
Right?
Yeah. You hack. That's so
Well,
fun.
it was a DOS prompt, so it probably you could look at it. Or I mean, it was a like a terminal looking window. That at the end of it said like no operating system or something, right? Because it just encrypted the hard drives and infected shit.
That's fun.
So it probably wouldn't be poised to steal credit card info,
I don't know.
but maybe it is now.
Yeah.
Who can say, right? Yeah.
So what was those things are running some flavor of Windows? The OS
I
Warp? What are
don't
they?
know. It was like a terminal window. We don't
Okay.
really know what the underlying OS, but
Anyway, yeah, as if Watch Dogs wasn't current enough.
So system wide, like
Yeah.
across all stations.
As far as I can tell, yeah, from this news story.
it's pretty awesome.
I mean,
It's pretty awesome.
it's
city of
frightening.
tech.
It's scary. It's fucked
yeah.
up. But
Was so
also,
easily broken.
I mean, because
like
you
we're,
imagine
we're barreling towards this fucking nightmare faster than anyone could have ever
Like-
anticipated in so many different ways
I
now.
mean, I don't want to understand really more, but this is kind of dark. But like, how far away is that from the train controllers?
Right, exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
how far away? How if you get into that system, how separated and segregated is that from the stuff
Oh, you
that
mean like
signal
the
controllers?
acceleration and
It's
stuff?
like all the
Yeah.
signals and stuff like that. That's
mean, it's
all
traffic.
automated. And
It's got to be a separate system, but the question is it an equally easy system
Yeah.
to
Like
break
there's,
into?
there's probably no air gap between them.
Yeah.
right, or like, can you find stuff on one system that gets you into another system? Like, I don't know. That stuff can get really scary really quickly.
Wouldn't there have to be manual overrides on pretty much everything though? So like if you notice your car isn't
Well, not if your
notice.
trains are being driven by computers.
You'd think that, but then you have a train crash through a station in Jersey.
That's true. Yeah.
And you have like a guy who is like there to, kind of pilot the train or whatever, who probably might, in some cases, may trust the computers more than he trusts himself. He's like, oh, well, it's just doing its fine thing. I'm just over here reading field and stream.
Or if a signal
racking
for a
up
train is
overtime.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
you're clear. And you're like, great, I'm clear. I'm coming into this. Oh, no, I was not clear. Like that can get really scary. I mean, I'm glad it was just the terminals or whatever, but like,
but that's also like that is the nightmare future we are barreling towards. It means that
Who
sort
has
of
the
stuff
keys?
is potentially in play. Yes, every Call of Duty game for the past few years has been literally who has the keys.
who has the keys?
To the drone army and all that sort of stuff. Like that is. Like I was reading an article today that were interviewing some guy who wrote a book, which he's certainly not the first one to write this book. There are multiple books about it that are just like, oh, here's how space war will happen, and here's how we need to militarize space because now we have enemies of the nation who are putting basically weapons into space, and we're getting close to that.
Like
eventuality. Probably not GoldenEye.
Like what happens when
Okay.
the GPS satellites go down?
Exactly. Yeah, it's like when GPS gets knocked out and air traffic control
Yeah.
and the stock markets and all this other stuff rely on time
Yep.
set by GPS satellites. You could fucking knock out the economy pretty quickly through that, or at least paralyze it long enough to do some other nefarious shit while everyone's freaking out about that. Like, there's a lot of fucking...
Like, how will I find where the next Starbucks is?
Exactly.
Like that kind of level of...
Yeah, real problems.
Like, real world
Exactly.
problems.
Where is the next Starbucks? Is it the next block up? Maybe.
I don't even know
anymore. I don't know.
I can only sit here
What
and
the fuck?
cry.
And also, when I get there, I'm not going to earn any rewards points for this purchase because the whole system is down. How
many
many stars can I get?
Too many secrets, Marty.
Yeah, I don't know. That stuff, when I read it, was immediately like, oh, that's kind of goofy. And then was like, that's real bad.
Like, that's goofy. And so that's actually the feeling I had through a lot of Watch Dogs, was like, there was this feeling of like, oh, it's goofy fun. Also, this is all too close to real. That like, and also the ethics and motives of your hacker collective and that sort of stuff is a little...
They're a little nebulous.
What are they?
They're ostensibly they are happy-go-lucky version of Anonymous.
Okay.
Like, we're fucking with people and we're exposing the truth. But then, like, you get close to the end of the game and, like, there are non-lethal options along the way for just about everything. For actually probably everything. And I spent most of that game using a stun gun, but also running people over and calling in gangs that would then, like, oh, this person's a traitor to your gang, and then the gang shows up and murders everyone.
Okay.
I'm flying C4 into buildings with my drones and just blowing everyone up.
So I mean,
exposing the truth.
That's a way to
exposing
go.
the truth. Exactly. But then there's a point pretty late in that game where it's like, okay, we need to fucking really get some shit done here.
To what end?
Then to expose the truth. Let's say I'm not gonna
Yes, don't spoil
but
it.
you know exactly where that game goes. You're exposing the truth of all these social networks and the CTOS
Data
from the first
collection.
game, and the whole game is about data collection and what you do with it. So you are literally hacking into their data collection and turning it against them.
Okay.
So it's cases where, like, oh, they're hacking it to make the polls for them. Well, fuck them. We turned it the other way, which is not actually fixing the problem.
Do you fuck up the orange futures?
Citrus. That would be great. But there is like a lot of there is stock market implications in some of the things. There's human trafficking. Like, there's a lot of fucking really crazy shit over the course of that game.
That's all dead sec.
Yeah, but by the end of it, there is literally a part where you're just like, okay, I have spawned with a grenade launcher. That was printed out on the 3D printer.
Like a truth grenade.
Truth grenade. If truth is blowing these security guards
And helicopters.
into dust,
Okay.
in order to walk up and hack a thing with my phone.
You're hacking the planet with grenades.
But so obviously, you don't have to use the grenade launcher. There are other ways in there. There are other weapons. There's a stun grenade launcher.
Okay. Like electricity stun?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or just shotgun and C4s.
It's like near future.
I think it's like now.
It's nowish.
Okay.
It has a very now. I mean, yeah, the tech is a little out there.
Ripped from the headlines.
Yeah, but still ripped from the headlines. It's movie hacking.
It's like, experimental.
I'm opening up this box and holding my phone up to it for a while, and then now we have control. It's that type of shit. I'm using my botnet to add
that's not
turbo
fair.
boosts to this car.
You're going to Google and they have a slide.
You are hacking nitrous into your car.
Yeah.
I'll buy it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there are ECMs and chips in cars that you can replace to tune your car and do all this sort of stuff. There are computers in cars that if you do them the right way, you can make them go faster.
You can unlock their nitrous.
That's real now.
Yeah.
But not every car like it is in the Watch Dogs world.
The government doesn't want you to have
someday
nitrous.
every car, because all the old cars will be too vintage to be driven on the roads. At
Right.
some point, regulations will get to a point where you probably can't drive a non-assisted driving car on the roads anymore.
Or at least an emissions rule on hey, this engine is way too inefficient. You put too much pollution into the air.
that could happen as well. Yeah. But we will get to a point where the computer assisted driving or self-driving stuff will be trusted enough to be codified and good enough to where it's like, okay, now the problem is we have too many humans behind the wheel, so let's reduce that number.
Yep.
If we make it that far.
If we make it that far.
Reduce that number.
Reduce that number.
Oh no.
With this grenade launcher. So yeah, it's a fascinating game in a lot of ways. I think the open worldness of it is pretty standard. Like, your abilities and stuff like that are basically like what you expect from that type.
The mission designs aren't overly creative necessarily, but some of the goofy shit you can do with the toys you are given sort of makes up.
But
for
I
some
think
of that.
I don't know how much of it they intended and how much, but they ended up making a very nowish kind of game in a way that they probably didn't even anticipate. It was very tapping into a lot of things that were kind of about to happen, and now it's there's a little too much of it that you're just like, this is a little too close right now. It's a little too raw. Like, I actually kind of want to not play this game for about half an hour and then maybe come back to it because it's a little.
Did Muni put out a statement on hey,
Not that I saw.
It was this
Okay.
really disjointed thing where they were like, Muni employees and stuff going, yeah, it's hacked. I don't know, get on. Like stuff where you're like, maybe don't say that.
Yeah,
in
I
public.
don't think they knew what kind of statement to make from what I could tell. It was
It's kind of an unprecedented thing, at least within American mass transit, like to have that kind of situation, like that wasn't just a run of the mill system failure, like an actual outside party causing that.
Don't torrent at work.
Apparently not. Yeah,
that
don't
what
reply to
Mune
those
said?
fucking.
No, I don't. Yeah, I
don't
have no
pull up
idea.
Podesta and fucking click on those phishing emails. Like, for
Right.
God's sakes.
Yeah. Yeah, who knows how that stuff got installed.
Maybe it's a Watch Dogs ARG.
there you go.
See that?
It's many layers deep.
That doesn't make it better.
Yeah, it doesn't make it better.
That would
But
just make it more infuriating,
like
actually.
if they paid for like free weekend of like Munifair, and they
Sure.
were like,
but then
Everyone
didn't
gets
tell
to
their
ride for
employees.
free, but then all the screens display
You
fucking
hacked.
DedSec
logos.
Like that would be acceptable. That would
Would
be,
it?
That would be dumb. You would look at that and go like, "This is dumb," but okay.
There's no real harm there. Right?
so you said the email address of where you have to
Yeah.
email for the ransom,
Which like that type of ransomware is like relatively common,
But
of
on
people
a-
hijacking your shit and saying, "Here's the email address that you need to send bitcoins to, and then I will give you the ability to like de-encrypt your stuff and get your stuff back." Like that happens.
I wonder where this goes.
But but to infect a full like network of systems like that, you have to wonder if this was targeted, if the person doing this, if the group doing this was very much deliberately trying to do this, or if it just kind of was happenstance, like literally someone in that network going like, oh, I don't know, I just want to play this game. Oh, I can download it for free. That's cool. I'm just sitting here at this computer all day. No one's even watching me.
Oh, no.
Let's double click on this. Wait a minute. What did I? Wait, hang on.
Uh-oh,
What's this?
I hacked.
There's a black spot on my monitor. Is that normal?
I'll just reboot.
Yeah, I'll just reboot.
Yep.
And
The whole system.
And I'll reboot all these other computers. Oh, God. Oh, no.
I take some PTO.
Yeah, I have a really bad cold. I got to go. Knocking off early for Thanksgiving.
Need to update my LinkedIn
Gonna take
profile.
some time off and watch some Black Mirror. Oh no! Oh no!
geez.
This isn't helping.
Oh.
Well,
Did that really happen? That couldn't happen, right? Hey, Bill, you know your kid does computers.
Oh, yeah.
Could this happen?
Oh, yeah. No, my kid might have done that. I don't know what the fuck he does in there. All I hear is phones and beeps and bloops and stuff.
All he talks about is trying to be a Vine star.
Yeah. I don't know what that means, but it can't be good.
Jeff.
Some 12-year-old in a fucking room with an acoustic coupler, fucking just putting a phone on a thing. It's just like, I don't know, but all this. I'm still on 80s hacking. 80s
Blow
movie
into a
hacking.
whistle, like
Yeah.
that is Captain Crunch whistle.
Yeah.
I just hacked Muni.
We're still hacking
Oh,
it.
shit.
Still hacking at 2400 baud.
Yeah. I got 19.2 over here. It's
oh,
just
yeah.
really upgrade.
Yeah.
Except the bandwidth caps are a real bummer.
You played much else of late?
Yeah. So I've been actually, and we'll talk about it more on, I guess next week. I have been spending time with Oculus Touch. And so we'll talk about more of the hardware stuff, but I've been messing around with Oculus Medium, which is the sculpting
Okay.
thing that they've been showing.
Like a 3D sculpting.
Yeah. So it is Tilt Brush-esque, except it's less about like brushes and painting and more about like I made a sphere and now I'm carving chunks
Oh,
off of it
it's
and
like
smoothing
Mudbox.
it. Yeah.
Huh.
Tell me about your mud box.
Rad. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right.
And so I made a cool red cup.
That's
All right.
I made a snowman.
Nice.
okay.
Yeah. Maybe I'll post those somewhere one of these days.
I tried to make a cup once in Maya, and it was impossible. So
I made this cup in
this
20
seems,
minutes.
Yeah, this seems easier.
And
than
it's
that.
full 3D object. I don't know if I can export it
Cool.
or what the options are now that I've made this sick cup.
Can you export it like 3D printed? Is that an option?
I mean, I
Probably
don't know what
a
the
way.
actual options are, but yeah, I mean, that thing is more or less 3D model. You could maybe.
That'd
What
be
kind of
pretty
cup
cool.
are we talking about? Like, what would you put in it?
It's a mug. It's like I put a handle on it. And It's
Okay.
red.
Okay.
It's-
Flat bottom?
yeah, flat bottom.
Okay.
Marshmallows
it
and
looks,
candy
It looks
canes.
like a tall coffee cup, ultimately.
All right.
And it looks like maybe someone molded it, so it's not a perfectly round thing. It's,
Oh, like artisan.
yeah,
like a
it's artisan. I
handcrafted-
fucking made it. Like the handle, the apex of the curve is too low,
Oh.
so it's not a great cup. But I
It's a
made it,
great
and I
cup.
like it.
It's yours.
It's mine. Yeah. I made this cup, and then
Swayze
I
help
spray
you?
painted it red. No, I mean, if he did, I don't know.
Hmm.
I would be the last to know. Yeah, so I've been screwing around with that, and I think it's really cool.
Can you talk about the controllers right now, or just the software?
Like I think I can talk a little bit about it, but there are definitely some things we can't really talk about until
we can
later,
we can kind of hold off.
I
Until,
will say, like based on we've used those controllers before, and they're really good.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, as people have written in, we've talked about some of the VR compatibility stuff over the last few weeks here, and some people kind of wrote in, so like, oh, the touch controllers will totally work. Like as we are developers who are using them right now, and they like most of this Vive stuff just works.
Wow.
I can nod my head and report that most of that Vive stuff just fucking works.
Wow, that's good news.
So like compatibility will be easier in some ways and harder in others, I think, because now you've got cases where it's really about your play space and what your play space is capable of.
Because the
Oculus
Oculus controllers can do more than the
Vive
'cause
controllers.
is that
it'll
right?
track if you're pointing and like thumbs up, thumbs down type stuff. Like
Right.
it's theoretically capable of more.
Okay.
Did they ever come out with that that demo you did that time?
Oh, that
Like two people.
There's some
the touch
speculation
demo?
that demo will be part of the launch, but
Okay.
they still have games that they have not confirmed.
Yeah, does that thing even have a name? Do they
I don't. It was just some general
Isn't that- that's just
playroom.
Toy Box. I think
that
that's-
sounds
I
about
think
right.
that's Toy Box.
Yeah.
So
That thing seemed neat.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's Toy Box. I don't know, but it's weird. They have said that they have 50 plus games available at launch, but they have yet to announce what most of them are, which
For
is
the
fucking
touch
weird.
controllers.
Yeah. But like Super Hot will be available at launch. There's another game, a VR Sports Challenge that I've been playing around with, which is like I've been shooting baskets and passing a ball around to myself because like you pass and the perspective changes and then you catch the ball and you're like, ha!
That seems jarring.
It's fucking neat.
Okay.
So that stuff launches on the Oculus store.
Yeah.
Okay.
That stuff all comes out on the 6th.
So that doesn't go show up in Steam.
So, but like there are plenty of VR games in Steam that will work with this setup.
See what you're saying.
And so some of those games will theoretically get updated to where if you have a touch controller, it'll show them in game. And, that sort of stuff, which is potentially interesting or not. But like you do look down in most games and see Vive controllers and you're not holding Vive controllers.
And do they have parity in functionality pretty much?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's not one doesn't do something that the other one could
No, the
not do.
touch controllers do
the touch
more.
controllers do more.
They do
theoretically.
more,
So
yeah.
you could end up having the reverse situation of like the Vive controllers might not be able to do a thing that you're expected to do.
Or maybe people just develop for the least common denominator.
That's likely.
Okay.
So be how this will go. I don't know. Yeah.
Vive has that disc on each one. So
Analog
is that
stick.
the analog stick
Yeah,
that
we'll
replaces
talk.
that?
We'll talk more about the hardware later.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. How's your guys' 4K TV?
Right. Yeah, we set that thing up.
Oh God.
We tried to record a video yesterday of us hooking up
Try
a
being the operative
PlayStation
word.
4 Pro to the 4K TV we bought, and that process took over an hour of setup based on the remote controlled Android tablet that came with the TV being a gigantic piece of shit.
Talk about dark futures.
I had to download the Vizio app on my iPhone because the slider we were trying to use to turn on HDR at 4K just wouldn't stick on the Android thing.
Maybe you hacked.
But I hacked, and then it worked fine on my phone.
This is after we spent swap out HDMI cable. Well, basically, it was turning on color subs HDR
HDMI
color subsampling on the input. There are multiple HDMI inputs on the back. Not all of them are the same for the TV.
Sure. Like 1 through 4 or whatever are like, geared towards, like 4K gaming
60
or whatever. And
hertz
like, the fifth one was just like 1080p.
Right. And one of them said
we
ARC.
steered, yeah, we steered clear of the, the fifth one. But we were just getting like 2K out of it. We couldn't quite figure out why.
So the PlayStation 4 would say, hey, HDR only available
at 2K.
on
So-
2K games,
You're right,
which
yeah.
was just weird.
Yeah, but it was technically in 4K, but it was in like a different color.
It was in
space.
YUV.
It wasn't in RGB.
It wasn't in RGB.
Anyway, when we finally got this, when I re-downloaded the app and fucking paired it to the TV and all this other bullshit,
after checking firmware, after checking software updates,
like the Switch just worked on my phone.
You got your television to talk to your telephone.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's worth mentioning for people who maybe not have followed your saga is that there's no on-screen menu for the TV.
Yeah, it comes with a standard remote that is really only good for volume and input,
and
it's
wasn't
not
even actually
it's
good
not
for
even great
that.
at that. And it comes with a little Android tablet thing that you could use as the real remote. But then also you
Doesn't
can
work.
download that app for your phone, and then you would probably take this Android tablet and throw it in the fucking garbage because it's a slow ass piece of garbage.
Or play Candy Crush. That came pre-installed.
Oh, well,
did it come pre-installed?
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Is it a
great.
standalone Android tablet if you don't want to use it
Yeah.
for your TV?
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
sure
so.
you could play, hack that thing.
It's not
You
great.
hacked it.
It's
No?
It was not.
No,
It's
it's
Like
it's
Super
it's
Nintendo
a bad
games
one.
on there?
No,
much rather
there's
have just had a
nothing.
real remote control from what
That
I've
thing
seen of it.
seems super slow and bad.
So anyway, that's one
So
quarter
that's like
of the.
then we started recording the video, which obviously we're not going to be able to really convey 4K HDR in a video with any of this stuff. So I was like, okay, well, let's point a camera at it. We'll just talk our way through it and talk about what we're seeing, because you guys had been to the press conference where they announced the thing and had seen some of those games in 4K.
And we'd seen some stuff at the
Yeah.
CNET lab in New York as well.
And I had not seen any of it other than I saw Titanfall running very briefly prior to release on like a pro dev kit.
So you and Alex and I sat on a couch, and Jason pointed a 720p camera at it.
Yeah,
And
which is
squinted a lot.
the best way to witness this type of content.
Low light,
Yeah.
white balance was off.
Yeah.
It was pretty
It
terrible.
was pretty great.
Yeah.
So that video will never go up.
That was a failed experiment.
Yeah.
And what'd you think?
It was okay.
Okay.
Yeah, as a PlayStation 4 Pro owner, I feel like my desire to get a 4K TV is slightly less after seeing
HDR is pretty cool.
how
though,
that's
right?
Yeah, HDR is cool.
Can you tell a difference?
when it works.
could.
Yes.
Because I feel like this past weekend I saw like 3 people I know who have gotten 4K TVs saying like they could barely tell a difference, or it's like
HDR,
kind of
you can
not
tell
a
the difference.
Okay.
The
I only
resolution
walked
is
in
not a huge difference.
when you guys were messing around with it before the video shoot. I couldn't tell the difference until you turned HDR off.
Yeah.
And so we
So-
that's the scarier part.
So
is
that's
that, like, it's
also the
only-
TV thing is if you have that HDMI subsampling turned on,
This
which
is
you
such a
need to
mess.
have turned on to make HDR work.
What?
If you have that turned
At
on
4K or whatever.
at a non-HDR source, everything looks gray and fucking washed out.
like
and
the
fucked
blacks
up.
aren't like
Yeah.
properly dark and all that kind of stuff.
It's,
I think.
yeah. So
It almost looked like when you have you can do full or limited for. So it almost looks like when you have a mismatch
it
on
seemed
there.
like an extreme version of that mismatch.
Oh,
'cause-
your black is actually not 0;
Yeah.
it's 15 or
Right.
something. So it's like a shade of
Or you're
gray.
shooting for color grading.
Yeah, well, it basically looked like it was interpreting the data set incorrectly.
Okay.
Like where it was like, oh, I'm gonna make this black. It's actually all gonna show up gray, and this white's gonna show up not bright white.
So that means that
So
even
when we turned it off-
if games that support the Pro but don't support HDR look gray.
Right.
And so you would have to either move it to a different HDMI port or
flick
go
it
into
off
that
each time.
fucking remote app and flick that thing off on the stupid Vizio.
Or at least that's what our experience was.
Yeah.
With this TV,
monkeying
yeah.
around with it.
Yeah, and that seemed like
Not
a
agreed.
real hassle. Different TVs are going to be different, right? I mean,
Yeah.
maybe that's less of a hassle or not a problem at all with some other sets. But with this Vizio we got, it fucking sucks.
But that's the nightmare on top of the nightmare now is that because there is such variance in these types of TVs and what they support and how it all works.
and also variance from game to game in
Yes.
terms of which games do what.
like the standards have just been blown the fuck up at this point.
So
And
also
you
that-
often don't know because the games don't report
Yeah, the patch notes are terrible.
if they support HDR. Yes,
Yeah.
no.
they
like
send you
some-
a fucking website.
Yeah.
and
Some
that-
of them will have an option in there for like The Witness has HDR on off and also has a resolution for do you want 1440p 60 or do you want
I think it was 4K.
4K 30
Which didn't
which
run.
4K ran like fucking garbage. It was like,
The
I don't
30
know if it was
frames
like
was
frame
bad.
pacing or what it
Oh,
was,
yeah.
but like it was just this stuttery mess.
It did not look good.
When you turn, it just looked
Yeah.
awful.
It's also worth mentioning that HDR 10 was patched into that TV
Via firmware.
Oh,
right?
via
yeah.
firmware in August
Yeah.
because it had Dolby
Vision.
Vision,
Yeah.
which I guess is a hardware thing.
Does that TV have the firmware update?
It does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's weird.
And the PlayStation 4 Pro does not support Dolby Vision.
Yes.
It only supports HDR 10.
Right.
So some of the games just had stuff that is just weird. Like some of the games have like, hey, do you want HDR on? Do you want 4K? Do you want enhanced visuals, which will make this
Yeah,
lush?
like Tomb Raider had 3 options. It was 4K, it was higher frame rate, and it was enhanced visuals, which I don't like. Maybe that's something that is only there for when you're running on a 1080 screen. You choose between frame rate and enhanced visuals.
But the descriptor wasn't
But the
very
descriptor
it really
is
didn't
not,
say, yeah.
And then some games are even less. Like Hitman's only option was locked or unlocked.
Yeah. Well, that was even there before the
Oh,
Pro patch, so
Okay.
that's not different.
Okay.
Consoles,
and
they're just easier.
Yeah, and then Hitman just looked super gray because of this like subsampling, whatever.
But when we plugged
stuff.
it into the other port, it looked normal.
Looked great.
What the fuck?
Yeah, but then when we turned it back, turns HDMI color subsampling on and off,
It
then
didn't
we
seem like it
couldn't-
was changing again.
I don't know.
I've tried.
It's a great video.
I've tried Final Fantasy 15 on a Pro, which we'll get to that game in a few minutes.
Yeah.
But that game has in the options like graphics mode, and the two options are high and light.
Like,
The fuck is that?
Is it LITE or is it?
It is
just-
literally LITE.
They just
Like a
really
yogurt?
it is. They didn't want to say low.
It's a
Right.
light dusting of graphics.
So I mean, there's a tooltip that says like for lower resolution TVs or for high resolution, like there's some context there, but
Yeah.
it's still kind of nonsensical. Also, people have benchmarked those, and there apparently is no difference on a 1080p TV.
Sweet. I've heard that like one of those modes at 4K runs real bad.
Yeah. No, I don't have a 4K TV,
Yeah,
so I don't know. But
I've seen people complaining about how that game
I watched
runs on
I watched a video about that Return to Arkham collection. There's just a random one that I picked out of a hat on the Pro, and Arkham City runs at 60 frames on a Pro, but Arkham Asylum runs at 30
Sweet.
because like they did the work on one of those games, but not the other one in the same
And they
collection.
chose
Like
the wrong game to
like,
optimize.
yeah,
the
they
whole-
chose poorly.
Like don't buy a PS4 Pro right now.
Oh,
like,
like the
I
stuff
think
we-
that's like the upshot here is
The
it's a
stuff we
giant mess.
Looked at
You're gonna have
yesterday.
to
Looked
fiddle.
good.
Like Infamous.
And that's
Ratchet
exactly what I
Clank,
don't
like,
want to do.
That
the
stuff
Ratchet and
looks-
Clank looked actually discernibly better.
Yeah.
But it seems like that's in the minority though.
Tomb Raider looked great.
Yeah, but that's
But
those are two.
I would choose frame rate.
Yeah.
Over the resolution 100% of the time in Tomb Raider.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think the thing you and I talked about before on Beastcast was that if you're looking to buy a new PS4 and the Pro is within the affordability range, like there's probably no reason not to get it. Just for what future proofing, whatever they're going to do. But like, should anyone go run out and buy this thing right now if you already own a PS4? I don't think so.
Yeah, no. Like I got my Pro with credit card reward points, and I'm starting to feel like even that was a waste. Like it's just not doing it for me at all.
So what's the benefit if I've just got like a 1080p TV at home, and I'm kind of interested in the Pro?
Hitman loads faster.
It is, yeah.
Hitman loads
So I
faster?
watched some
All right.
bench, like Hitman actually, like it not only loads a lot faster, but like I think they were saying average like 10 frames per second more across the board. Like Hitman is in the minority example of like a game that actually is a lot better.
Battlefield runs better.
Yeah, Battlefield is one that's been tested.
Titanfall is supposed to do
Titanfall's
less.
supposed to be better.
That was a hard one to really
Yeah,
pick out differences in.
I've played that game on both. It was not a naked,
Like-
it was
like-
not something I could tell with a naked eye. 'cause
like you
it's
said,
like a resolution scale.
Yeah, like Ratchet sounds like a winner.
Ratchet looked better
Yes.
at 1080
Tomb Raider
as well.
Like
Is there
there
anything that looks worse at 1080 on a Pro?
there definitely have been games that run worse.
Like they had to patch Deus Ex to like
Yeah.
because when their first Pro patch, it ran
makes
worse
sense.
than it did on an old PS4.
Yeah, it's been a mess.
And
Yeah.
Deus Ex,
Infamous
I
is
thought
running
didn't
at 60 now,
didn't
right?
look great.
What?
I heard Infamous is running at 60 now.
Highly.
I think there is an option for that.
Really?
There's
Well,
a
it always-
higher frame rate option that is definitely not 60.
It always had like an unlocked.
Yeah.
It always had an unlocked frame rate option,
Tomb Raider will run at 60.
Okay.
Yeah, that was running
or higher. I don't know if it
Though
does.
I honestly preferred the way it looked at 4K at 30.
at 30.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
Uncharted affected?
I think they only added HDR. To
Yeah,
that. And
okay.
it'll do the 4K stuff.
I think
if
Last
you
of
have
Us
a
was the
4K
same
TV.
deal.
Okay.
And some of that stuff gets into 4K stuff looks pretty good, but then some of the textures are not huge.
Yeah, if they authored the content for 1080 screens and then you get to see it at this way higher resolution, like sometimes it looks a little grungy.
A little
funky.
grungy.
That was my experience with Titanfall when I saw it prior to release. Was like these textures don't.
Have you tried Res Infinite?
No.
So, like, I don't know. Like, I've played so much of that stuff on PC at this point.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
I think we're just in an odd transition right now.
Oh, yeah.
As people are trying to get these formats worked out,
Yeah.
and maybe this thing is. I have faith that this will get worked out for most of these like games that are running
Right.
worse on a Pro. I bet will get worked
I
out.
think some of those are already being patched. Like
Yeah.
some of that stuff has been fixed already.
Right.
And as
Yeah.
development moves natively into this thing, I bet those things
Yeah,
will get worked out.
I think you're right, but like just right now, while it's new and there's
It's
all these new games
pretty
coming out
rough.
for the fall, and like none of them are really improved that much.
Yeah.
If
It's
you have
very
a full
frustrating.
development cycle with this like concept in mind of having to split
Yeah.
between pro and regular, like maybe that gives you more time to account for that sort of stuff and do more than these patches have been doing. But like, yeah, it's
a
hard
little
to
rough right
know.
now.
It's hard to know. It really feels like they just went like, oh man, this seems like the year for 4K. We should have a product out there for people to buy after they're out there spending all this money on TVs. Surely they have another $400 they could use because they're going to need to view 4K content somehow. As long as it's not Blu-rays.
For me, I think the exact opposite has happened. Of this thing came out and I messed with it, and I've now decided I'm probably not going to get a 4K TV. Like I'm just going to stick with my old TV.
I will eventually get a 4K TV because I want an OLED. I want a really nice TV.
The price is
but
cool.
for me now, I'm feeling like I could wait years for that, as opposed to like feeling some urgency to know what it's about. Like I'm just like, maybe in 3 or 4 years I'll check it out.
I was looking at a Samsung 4K TV that was like $1,500 for like a 65-inch, and I was like looking at it. I was staring at a web page, going,
My girlfriend has actually gotten
nah.
mad at me when I've talked about getting a new TV because she just can't see the value in it, and I'm starting to think maybe she's not wrong.
That's kind of where I'm at.
But like at the same time, when I went and looked at that LG, that OLED screen, like it was fucking impressive.
Yeah.
But then like jumping through the hoops of like, well, okay, what content is available? Am I just gonna watch this fucking DJ throw paint everywhere on a loop forever? Because like that looks really cool, but I've seen it. And I watch approximately 0 movies. And when I do watch them, I usually watch them in a window on my second monitor. So like the theoretical experience for me only really works for video games. And if this console isn't powerful enough to drive that in a meaningful way, then the whole thing kind of breaks down.
Then what the hell are we doing?
You're just gonna go buy one of those Asus Predator 21 by.
Yeah,
9.
maybe. I did actually start pricing those out, but I want a 16 by 9. I don't want a wide one.
Super wide.
I want 144 hertz.
Yeah.
No
monitor,
curve. No curve.
I'd rather
screen?
not. I'd rather not curve. Because I've got a
I'd
second
rather
monitor
not,
that
sir.
I need to
Thank
put
you.
at the end of it. But also I really like 16 by 10, and 16 by 9 sucks.
Wait, you're like a 16 by 10 person?
Yeah.
Like
I have 2
They're
16
out there,
by 10
man.
monitors.
really?
One rotated sideways.
What do you got against 16 by 10, man?
It's a weird.
It's taller.
So you need to get about 7 more of those, and you can have like the Swordfish multi-monitor setup. Just program all that. That's what you're going for, right? All right.
Web pages feel like they cut off too soon on a 16 by 9 monitor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can't get that last line.
Exactly.
I'll co-sign that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Just a little too much scrolling to get
I
there.
need to get to the about page.
Right.
My monitors are 16 by 10 as well, and I get really annoyed because if I use my Steam Link on my TV, which is 16 by 9 TV.
Oh, you're one of those Steam Link guys, huh?
And that wants to push out 1080.
Yeah.
My monitor won't do 1080, so it winds up having to crop in.
What fucking monitor did you buy that doesn't do 1080?
The one I got 10 years ago.
Okay.
And,
I think I still have my 10-year-old monitor too.
yeah, my S-Video connection to it is rock solid.
Oh, well.
I have to put the dongle in the back of the video card to get the S-Video to work, but it works.
Nice.
It's a very
It's
functional
all
monitor.
SCART. You want to go to SCART these days. That's where the quality
my Voodoo
is.
2 doesn't do SCART, okay?
Oh, okay.
Not
All right.
fancy.
Well, you have to get a FrameMeister and then plug the SCART cable into that, and then there's a whole thing. It'll just output from there.
Yeah,
fine.
I'm very excited about it.
XRGB2. We'll talk later.
I might get a new computer monitor.
I'm probably due.
144 hertz, man. So that was the other, that was maybe part of what made Titanfall not look great on the PS4 Pro, is I had been sitting there playing the PC version at an incredibly smooth and responsive frame rate, and it was just like, oh my god. And then go over to that and these textures don't. So maybe on its own it looks okay, but
G-Sync.
yeah,
I hear good things.
I kind of want
I hear
whether it's
expensive
FreeSync
things
or G-Sync,
Yeah.
whatever the solution is, that stuff seems cool.
I don't want a
That stuff's so
computer
expensive,
monitor
though.
that does HDR. Where is that?
It's coming. That stuff's just not here quite yet.
Yeah.
But
CES,
that
baby.
Stuff, yeah, that stuff is definitely right around the corner. Now that it's working its way into more consumer level stuff, there'll be more of a reason. Whatever, man. Half-Life 2 Lost Coast at HDR fucking 15 years ago or whatever.
That is true.
We've been there.
Just
It's
waiting
fine.
for them to update that thing
Yeah.
before I get serious about it.
Yeah.
That was a long tech corner. You probably cut that out in post, right?
Yeah.
Just trim that
Pretty
down.
much.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
We cut
Yep.
the show down. By the time the archive goes up, it's 20 minutes long.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
That I can attest to that.
Yeah.
All right, we need to take a break real fast.
Real quick,
Yes?
I have to leave now.
Oh, that's right.
because I have to go do Laser Eyes.
Yes.
But
Good luck.
Overcooked, Overcooked is great.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
I played it almost my entire Thanksgiving.
Nice.
How
many people,
Even with
4?
with 4 people, even with my dad who does not play video games.
Wow.
But that was funny because he kept sliding off all the ice levels. So
It is a
great.
truly joyful thing.
Yes.
it is indeed highly recommended.
It's a great game.
Yes.
All right, well, Godspeed.
Thank you.
Good luck with your stuff.
I hope you
Keep
still
your
have
eyes-
eyes.
Me too.
Hold still. Yeah.
All right.
Don't blink.
All right, we'll be right back.
Are you hiring?
Maybe. It's too hard.
Yeah. Well, what if I told you there was an easier way to hire?
Impossible.
No, I'm laying it out here, telling you. You could say, one might say there's got to be a better way.
Yeah.
And I'm here to tell you.
There's got to be a better way.
There is a better way.
I've got a stack of resumes, electronic resumes that I have to dig through. It's impossible.
Print them out and burn them.
Okay.
You don't need them anymore because you're going to go to ZipRecruiter.
What am I going to do there?
ZipRecruiter.com is a place that already has 9 million resumes for you to search.
Already?
Yeah, so if you're looking for somebody, they might already have the person you're looking for, but with one click of your mouse, not 2 clicks, 1 click of the mouse, you can post that job to over 100 job sites. That includes social media networks.
I heard those are popular.
Facebook.
Oh, wow, really?
Twitter.
Okay.
2 T's on that.
Okay.
3 if you count the whole.
Leave off the last T for too easy.
That's right. That's what ZipRecruiter is. It's a little bit too easy. And think of all the time you'll save once that job is out there because you can easily screen for that job using ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use interface.
Wait, so I don't have to go to each one of these sites I've posted my...
Heck no. You just use ZipRecruiter's interface. The qualified candidates will just roll in.
Well, with all these amazing ways to save time and money, I don't know if I have to hire anymore.
Oh, no.
ZipRecruiter, you've made it too easy.
That's right. ZipRecruiter has been used by over 1 million businesses.
Make it 1,000,001.
That's right.
Right?
I hear ya. The website shows trending career fields, cities, searches that's been featured on Forbes. You've heard of them?
Yeah, they wouldn't hire me.
No, definitely not. Right now, you can post jobs on ZipRecruiter for free with this special offer.
What is it?
Go to ZipRecruiter.com/bombcast. That's it. That's the offer. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/bombcast and you can post your job for free.
Sounds incredibly easy.
That's right. Those jobs just roll in. You use the interface.
I'm a job maker.
Exactly. You're a job maker with ZipRecruiter.com/bombcast.
Alex,
Yeah.
what's going on?
I don't know.
What you been playing?
Oh, what have I been playing? We did the Watch Dogs session. I've been working my way through that. I'm about halfway through that game. I also enjoy it. I am almost done with Thumper.
Oh, you actually been powering through that?
that game is rad.
It is so good.
It's great.
And
I kept telling myself I would keep going with it, and then other stuff happened. And I just haven't gone back to it. But.
The thing I'll say is that it's a great game to play in very small chunks. Like, I've been savoring that thing.
I found I would get through one level and be like, all right, I'm good.
And sometimes even
I'll
just
come
like
back later.
half a level, you know, like the first 5 or 6 stages or whatever.
Yeah, I'm glad the checkpoints are as good as they are because, like some of the levels, like I would want to do the whole thing in one sitting, but by the end of that,
have you guys
20
played
minutes,
it in VR or not?
I've only played it in VR. So
I've
far.
only played it not.
Okay. I tried it not in VR. I don't think I like that game at all.
Really?
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't like the sound of it all that much. I don't think the music end of it is that great. Like it's very clangy, bangy, all that stuff. And I think that's like kind of cool.
It's like nothing but
it
percussion. You know, it's just a bunch of big drums and.
I mean, it
is. It sounds like a fucking Blue Man Group concert. It's like people banging on shit.
They're like my grandfather's stomp.
It's a lot darker than that.
Yeah.
Turn on that clang and banging music down there.
But
you don't get it. It's like Stomp like read a bunch of Cormac McCarthy novels and then fucking just got real sad.
It just the interactions and stuff. Like I get that it seems very brutal.
Yes.
Like when you slam into those fucking turns and shit like that. I think that stuff is neat. But
I mean, it's a rhythm game. I don't know exactly what you're expecting out of it.
Like better music. I think the interactions, like the stuff you do, I think could be more entertaining. I don't like playing it.
It's very simplistic, but it's simple but demanding.
So
that's where the challenge comes in. Is that it's just super unforgiving.
I kind of just don't like playing it or listening to it. So it's like a neat looking, weird looking game that none of the other parts of it have done anything.
I genuinely think it is the best rhythm game that has been released in many, many years.
So they changed the time signature to match each numbered level, right?
Yes.
And I think that's a really cool concept.
Yeah, that's a neat idea.
So it's like the first level is like what, 1-4?
I guess, yeah. And then it's like it gets into like 7-8 and shit like that as you go along.
That's neat.
Like peaks out at 9-8.
Because like those time signatures are weird.
Yeah, it's not getting into like the super forbidden time signatures like 11-16 shit or whatever.
How many levels
are you saying it's a like prog rhythm game?
Yeah,
it is the most
rhythm.
prog rhythm.
This game is basically like a Tool album.
Yes.
Yeah, fucking way to sell it.
Well,
fuck that. I'll go home and delete it.
So Brian Gibson, who's one half of the team that made that, is in a band called Lightning Bolt, which is one of the fucking just most aggro prog bands you will ever hear.
Okay.
And he's not even the drummer. I think he's the bass player. It's just a bassist and a drummer. And all their stuff is complicated in a way that is vexing to, I think, anyone that isn't the most dedicated musician. So this, I think, musically, this game has some ties to that kind of mentality. It's definitely not the most pleasant music to listen to. Like, that's not really what it's trying to do. But it is severe in a way that I think is in keeping with the visual aesthetic that they are going for. Because the only other thing I think you can musically match with that is like an actual Journey album, which they didn't work in a license. So,
and it's like self-ascribed like rhythm violence, right?
Yes.
Like that is their
that's their tagline.
I think they're nailing what they're going for.
Yeah.
I just
It is
I just
violent.
don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
I like the aesthetic. Like it grates on me in a way that I find good.
Yeah, locking into a rhythm in that game is incredibly satisfying, and the way they sort of tease out the visual language and how you sort of learn the different mechanics that come, with each new stage, I think is really smart.
You're saying it hurts so good.
It really does.
So good.
Yeah.
Well, it's like makes me tense in a way that's like this is kind of thrilling.
It's affably mean.
Yeah, sure.
Charming in
Just
its
like
severity.
Tool. Just like Tool.
There's only 9 levels?
Yes, but they, each of those levels
get
has
longer?
like 20 something sections to it, if not more. So there's a fair amount of game there. Actually,
Didn't they patch in some extra mode?
Yes. So there is now. I forget. It might be called Survival. Whatever it is, it's like the more hardcore mode.
It's some extra challenge mode or something.
So that mode, anytime you start a level, you have to get through all of the different level sections without failing, or you start that level all the way over again.
Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen people who have mastered that game. Like, I watched some videos of it. And on top of baffling the shit out of me, I feel like that mode is perfect for them because like the level of perfection people seem to be going for is pretty intense.
Yeah.
So I've been playing that. I dug back into Darkest Dungeon on the flight over. I pulled
Do you
up.
hate yourself or?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's well established. Giant Bomb canon. That I'm a self-loather, but so I have that on Vita and PS4 now, and I decided to start that game over on those platforms just to see how they were, and they have cross save, so that's handy.
Yeah.
So I just loaded up the Mystery Science Theater Turkey Day Marathon on my laptop on the flight over, and just like played some Darkest Dungeon while I was doing that.
Wait, on your Vita?
Well, no, on my laptop was the Mystery Science Theater. On the TV from in the back of the chair was whatever football game was on, and then on my Vita was the Darkest Dungeon.
How many
screens?
Yes.
How many updates did you need when you turned on your Vita?
Only one.
From 2005.
Yes.
The last update they put out.
But yeah, those are not the ideal versions of that game. Some of the interface stuff is just not as easy to navigate without a mouse.
Yeah, we talked about that when it came out on the PS4. It's a real bummer they didn't do any touchscreen stuff on the Vita.
Yeah, but at the same time, once you kind of get a feel for how those controls work, it's fine. It does the job.
You can learn it, but it's a little clumsy getting there.
Yeah.
Did your saves come over?
Not your PC save.
Oh, right,
but if you're
obviously,
playing PS4 and PS Vita, you can switch between.
But did your PC save transfer out of early access into
Yes,
the full version?
it did.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. That game is still super rad. I mean, depressing as hell, but I think that for what they're going for, like the stress system in that game, I still think is one of the more inventive things to be in a game this year.
It's abusive. Like
Yes.
you definitely there's a whole lot of like that, that XCOM effect of like, oh, I've got a 70% chance of making this shot, and then you miss it, and you're just like, fucking come on. Like that game is nothing but that. It's like, oh really? That guy had to go crazy right then. Like
This is a game I'm pretty sure I will never actually finish. But
Yeah.
that's okay.
yeah, but you just have to embrace that chaotic element.
Yeah.
And just be like, well, okay, fine. He went I forget what a lot of the psycho effects are, but
Yes.
just like, oh, he went
Abusive, or
Yeah.
he went paranoid.
Yeah, he went paranoid at the wrong time, which caused him to stop blocking this other character who then died, and then like this other person is no longer able to heal because they're in the wrong slot now, and like you could lose your whole party on the basis of one dice roll. Which
It's
is
especially
really nuts.
rotten in the boss fights because they all have different abilities that will sometimes take characters out of the circulation, like the wizened hag or whatever. Like she'll throw one of your party members in a giant boiling pot, and you'll lose them for the entire turnaround until you knock that pot over.
That's life.
Yeah, I mean that's if you haven't been boiled by a wizened hag, you haven't lived.
It's true.
Sometimes life don't feel like it should.
Yeah, it's,
Hurts so good.
Yeah.
But that's
You've
what
got kind of a theme going on.
What's that?
Between Thumper,
Been listening to a lot of Mellencamp. What's going on over there?
between Thumper and Darkest Dungeon. Of this game makes me feel real bad. It makes me really stressed out.
What are you trying to say about me, Benny?
I'm saying it's good. You're getting some anxiety. out.
Right.
Well, yeah, and I tend to gravitate toward weirder, darker shit. And
What was that dice roll?
He's not into
Tharsis?
just like,
Tharsis.
You're not going to feed him some game full, like, I don't know, like little pink houses or something.
Right.
And
Like
expect
a
him to
Viva
enjoy it.
Pinata
It's
and
not
just like, hey, these.
Yeah,
these
like
feel
you're not
good.
going to get me with that, that paper craft or arts and craftsy Kirby bullshit. Obviously, I'll never love that.
How's Mega Man make you feel?
Angry sometimes, happy others.
Okay.
Did you guys just do the one installment of that thing? So
Yeah,
far?
so we just did the first. I got most of the way through Mega Man 1.
Wow. Okay.
I'm like, I got through the first stage of the Wily Castle, and then
Yellow Devil.
Yellow Devil.
Are you using the what do they call it? It's just the
Pause
Mega Man
glitch.
collection. Or
The
whatever?
Legacy Collection.
Legacy collection. I bought that thing a few months ago off the back of that
Yes.
Capcom Humble Bundle.
So that you
Is
can
it any good?
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it's those games,
Yeah.
and they all run the way you want them to.
Yeah.
And the nice thing is, Mega Man 1 being the only one that doesn't have a password system, you can create save states
Oh,
for
okay.
one game at a time.
Yeah.
Is the bundle 1 through 8?
It's 1 through 6.
1 through 6. Okay, so the NES ones.
Yes, it's all
Okay.
the NES ones, and
Oh,
then
that's it?
7 is the SNES one,
Oh,
and 8 is the PlayStation one.
PS1,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And Saturn, I think, as well.
Yes. But yeah, the Legacy Collection is just those first 6.
okay.
Which, to be fair, I mean that's those are the ones most people remember. I can't actually remember anything about Mega Man 7 or 8. Come to think of it.
8 has a clown.
I just, like, for me, like, at some point, I played a lot of 1 through 3,
Yeah.
and then 4 is kind of a mystery. at
Those-
this
those
point.
are the
Like, I
ones
just don't
for-
really
for-
remember.
There's like Pharaoh Man.
Yeah, 4 was
Yeah.
Pharaoh Man.
4 is when they started losing me.
And
for
there's
sure.
the Train Man that does the little choo-choo animation.
Yes.
That's pretty fun.
I don't remember liking 4 a whole lot. I know I've played 5 and 6, but I could not tell you a single thing about any of them.
What was Shimano Man? It was he's like a shuriken. Like, I don't know what a Shimano is.
Boy, you're gonna put yourself in a hole. I feel like you keep going down this road.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other ones. There was a
keep
sheep
going.
robot. There was a flower robot.
There
You
were
did
many
6?
robots.
You know what I like about Cut Man? You know what he's about.
Yeah,
He's got
exactly.
scissors on his
It's right.
head.
It's right there in the name.
Mega Man
Guts
1.
Man. What
There's
about
no
Guts
mystery.
Man? Guts Man is a little more not obvious.
I don't know. Construction Man maybe just didn't have the same ring to
But
it.
he just lifts stuff. Call him Lift Man.
Was he Guts Man in Japan?
I think
wonder if
so.
That's one of those things where they had to.
Well,
I
they
don't
already
know.
had Rockman.
Well,
Yeah.
Hard Man shot fists, right?
Yes, he shot fists.
I mean,
that was right. That was Mega Man 3.
When you think of a fist, the first word you think of isn't hard. Like, why wasn't he
Maybe you
Fist
don't.
Man? Yeah.
I mean, I'll give you a hard fist.
Oh boy.
Whoa.
Oh.
All right.
Sorry, we work a little more blue on the East Coast.
Ah,
Crescent
see.
moon shape.
You got that. You got that. Got that New York.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a question for you guys.
Okay.
We already
Mm-hmm.
resolved this. What is the name of the gun you get from Bubble Man?
It's Bubble Lead.
Bubble lead.
Bubble lead.
Bubble Lead.
Bubble lead.
lead.
It's
Lead?
totally bubble lead.
Bubbles don't have lead.
Neither do they have lead.
Yeah, but if you lead it towards
That's
the
not
enemy,
that's not how that works.
It's a bubble, but it's hard like lead. Fucks the shit
Yeah,
up.
that's
It hits
exactly.
him- hits him
That's how
hard.
I always
isn't
took
lead?
That's right.
Lead's
it. Lead
not
can be liquid. Lead can be liquid.
Okay.
What he said.
No, it's Bubble Lead.
Yeah, you're just wrong.
Yeah, that's
You've never been more wrong about anything.
It dropped on the ground and then it gets
I'm
lead.
actually gonna back it. No, there have been cases where
This
it's been
this from the guy who says you start with Metal Man. I mean,
Yes,
how,
100
how seriously
Metal
can we
Man,
actually
Woodman,
take your
Airman,
opinion?
God- Godless
you should
heathen.
probably finish all the Mega Man games before he gets out there and
Yeah.
fucks it all up.
It's
God.
Metal Man first.
nope.
Metal cuts wood.
Airman.
Wood kills air.
Yeah, but you do Woodman after Metal Man anyway.
Well, yeah,
And
but
you don't
start-
need the
Do you know how
metal-
ezy Metal Man is to kill with the Mega Buster?
I know.
He's so
So
easy.
is Airman.
So yeah, that's
Yeah, but or you can just throw leaves at him and he dies super quick.
Don't
And then
need
you go kill the Bubble Man with the.
You kill Airman
air.
in like 4 shots.
Or you could do it in like 2.
Airman stage just feels like such a good starter for that game. Like,
I
it just
agree.
feels
No.
like the
it
the
feels
perfect
like
lead
stage
off.
1.
Metal Man's has the ostriches, or is that Woodman's? That's Woodman's.
That's Woodman's.
Yeah.
You don't even know what you're talking about.
Woodman has the fire dog.
Does
He
it?
does have
Yeah.
the fire dog.
Yeah,
That's true.
that thing's
Fire,
cool.
it's fire, that is cool.
There's a big fire dog.
Yeah.
Well, you guys will have plenty of time to hash this
Yes,
out.
we will. There are many games yet to explore.
in the coming year. I'm
Many
sure.
robots
Yes.
left to explode.
Rockman Battle and Chase,
Okay,
the Mario Kart style
What?
game.
that's a real
They
game.
made one?
That was a thing.
Oh, yeah.
One Mario Kart.
I never played it, but that
They
was
made a
thing.
kart racer with Mega Man?
Yeah.
Whoa.
It actually makes a lot of sense if you
Battle.
get all the bosses in their own special carts with special powers.
yeah.
I could see that.
You battle and then you chase.
Remember Sonic R?
Yeah, I remember Sonic R.
We should play Sonic R.
We should listen to the Sonic
Yeah.
R soundtrack.
Sonic R has a good soundtrack.
Instead of playing Sonic R.
And it's on the disc. You just put the CD in.
Oh,
But
yeah.
the Saturn
Right,
the Saturn game disc has the
Perfect.
soundtrack on it. You just
Yeah.
put it in the CD player and go.
What was the Xbox, or the original Xbox launch game? I don't think it was Cell Damage, because Cell Damage, you were
Mad
shooting
Dash
stuff, right?
Racing.
That's exactly what I'm
Wow.
thinking of.
That was a good
Holy
pull.
shit, yes.
I want to say that game was originally called Freakin' Fast, or maybe that's a
They
different
made
game.
Freaky Flyers.
No, that's
But like-
that's
Okay.
Midway's like Diddy Kong
Freakin'.
racing style.
Like freak and apostrophe fast.
Freakin' Fast.
Like I'm gonna freak and I'm
and
fast.
no, it's
Like, hey, I'm freaking walking over here.
Okay.
I N apostrophe.
Okay. That yeah, sure.
I think that's the game that eventually became Mad Dash Racing.
Huh.
They announced it with that name.
And Mad Dash was kind of Sonic R. It's like it's a cart thing, but you're running, right?
Except it sucked. Like Sonic
Right.
R, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Sonic R is a great game, but it sure made Mad Dash Racing look bad.
Would you say it's a freaking great game?
No.
Sonic Racing Transformed is pretty good.
That's solid.
It's not a bad kart racer.
It'll do the job.
I will second that.
Yeah.
That's a super fun game.
That's a good game.
Is that a recent one?
That was
Transformed is
that was
the
the most
second
recent
one.
one.
Yeah,
A few years ago.
I played a lot of
Sanzaru
that.
It's like
made
4
that.
years ago, I think that came out.
Sanzaru was doing the driving stuff for Disney Infinity.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then now they have a ton of VR games at this Oculus Touch launch. They have like a couple, like 2 or 3.
Sunzaro?
Or they did
Sanzaru.
Sly 4,
Sanzaru?
right? Sly 4 and the Sly
yes.
collection.
Yeah. They did that also.
Vinny, are you better at the
Or no, I'm
forklift
thinking
now?
of Sumo Digital.
Yeah,
Did the
yeah.
kart racing stuff for that game. But anyway, Sanzaru has games at the Oculus Touch launch.
That's a cool name.
Yeah.
Sounds like a wrestler.
It's not bad.
It's no Shimano,
No.
but what is?
I feel like that
what
was
is-
probably offensive.
What is Sanzaru Man's power?
Sanzaru Man's power is to make a VR Windjammers game.
That's a pretty good
It's
power.
the ultimate.
Jason,
Yo,
we should talk about Final Fantasy 15.
what the fuck is going on in
I'm not-
Final Fantasy 15, Brad?
Have you figured it out?
No, I loaded up the game
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, here's all my homies. We're gonna, go on this cool ass road trip, and then
Pushing
you
this
start
bro-
off by pushing this broke ass car,
down car down
and then
the
I meet
road,
some like backwater hick
and
Sid,
a cover of Stand by Me starts playing.
which is kind of cool.
Wait, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like in
That game,
Japanese?
well, it doesn't open. There's like some, there's 10 minutes cutscene or something before this, but like basically when the game starts and you actually start playing it, the dudes are pushing their broke down car up a desert highway while Stand
Is
by
one
Me
of them
plays.
like, you want to see a dead behemoth?
Yeah. It's the first line of dialogue in the game. Yeah.
I was sitting under the porch collecting all my espers, and my older brother came out and it boosted a fucking sick ride.
Chocobo.
So, Brad, I'm still
nice.
desperately trying to figure out what the hell this game is. I started off by pushing the car.
Yeah.
We've got to go hunt monsters.
Yeah, there's a lot of monster hunting in it.
I put.
Sounds like Final
I
Fantasy.
made
Lost
like
me.
an eggs on toast, and it played the
Yes.
Final Fantasy
I made
fanfare
I made
music.
I made some flame roasted toast and it gave my party like extra attack power for 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's great.
Aren't
And
the potions in that game just sodas you buy at the gas station and then they
they're
make
like
magic
rum
on
lemonade
it?
There are a
or
lot of gas
whatever.
stations in this
You're gonna
game.
push the
Okay.
bubble in there or whatever.
You found a pinball machine that I apparently skipped over.
I did. I'm getting to that.
Sounds like that's all you've been doing.
I mean, I'm trying to document and like suss out what the fuck is going on in Final Fantasy. So yeah, push the car, hunted monsters, made
check.
toast,
Okay.
sat in our Coleman chairs,
Yes.
camped out.
Yes.
Did they break?
No,
Then
as far as
they're fake.
I know, they didn't break.
Yeah. That sounds
And then what else? Yeah, we got the car fixed.
Yeah,
and then
but-
I hopped in the car and I listened to some Final Fantasy tunes while somebody else drove.
Yeah, I told it to go to the next waypoint, and then I put on Matoya's Cave from Final Fantasy 1
Yeah,
on the
why
car
not?
stereo.
I think it's pretty rad that like
Weird.
you can go to the gas station and like buy soundtracks and shit
Yeah.
and like pop them in your car.
It's like
That's
when you
yeah,
go to the
cool.
truck stop
Yes.
on the I-5 and
Yeah.
get those books on tape.
Sick.
It
We
is-
get like books on tape about spies saving the nation.
It is
That's all they
literally,
sell at that
literally
truck stop.
buying cassette tapes at a truck stop.
Oh, wait.
Final
What is
Fantasy
the
game.
Final Fantasy equivalent of a NASCAR jacket you could buy at a gas station?
They probably have those for sale. There were a lot of people that would probably watch some NASCAR.
Or there's like trucker hats with the cast of like Final Fantasy X2 on it.
Blitzball jerseys.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you buy enough tapes, do you get to like participate in a raffle?
No, that's a different game, Vinny.
Nice.
This is a serious
Yeah, but
question. I'm
Can I
not-
get
You
eight
win
tapes
big
for a
stuff in
penny?
the raffle.
What's that?
You win great stuff in the raffle.
Yeah, other Final Fantasy. You get a Final Fantasy you can play on your PS1, which is at
There's
your
a tiny
mom's
little
house.
cloud that comes in its little figure.
Nice. You have to play the gotcha
So after
game.
listening to the soundtrack, I met up with a magical diary dog, and then I went to a diner.
This sounds like
and,
Wednesday.
This all sounds
Diary
right.
Dog Diner.
and then I found a pinball machine. So at that point, I'd only played like an hour and a half of the game.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I got to go to bed. And then I found pinball. And then an hour later,
Is it good pinball?
it's okay. So it's not actually pinball. It's like this weird, ball that's like goes across the bottom of the screen. Like there's no gutter, right? And you shoot it up at enemies. So it feels and kind of looks like a mobile game.
So it's
or
almost
something
like,
that.
It's like Monster Strike or something.
yeah.
A little,
almost.
yeah, a little like that. But it's super addictive, and you can get items from it. And
Where are you headed? Why are you in a car?
I don't
You
fucking know. Oh, I gotta go get married,
are-
I guess.
Yes, you were. Okay, yeah. Okay, hang on. All right, let me
Kind of buried the lead on that one.
let me set it up for you. Okay,
Yeah.
there's an evil empire,
Okay.
and then there's a good kingdom.
Okay.
So you're the prince of the good kingdom.
You're
You were actually the prince.
Yes, you're the prince. and
You're
you
a
got-
prince-ass prince.
and you got 3
I'm a
homies.
prince.
You're a very fashion-forward chocobo.
Let's not
looking-
go crazy here.
Okay, so you're the
I think they
prince of
already
this
did.
kingdom who's going to get.
You're the prince.
Betrothed?
You got 3 homies. You're going on a road trip
Yep.
to get married to a princess.
You're going on the road trip to go get
Yes,
married? You're
yes.
not going on the road trip like, hey, I'm about to
Well,
get married?
Somehow,
So I think your dad actually. So he's like the king, right?
Yes.
He had some homies as well, and they had a bonding experience similar to this. And I think he's kind of pushing you
it's
off
like your
into the
bachelor
world.
party-esque thing.
I
Fucking
think
dad
so,
always trying to
maybe.
force his life on mine.
Yeah.
this is a character building exercise.
My old man was a blitzball star.
So you in the car just breaks down?
Yes.
Is it like a vintage car?
No, it's like the nicest, shiniest looking future car, but then
Yeah, you're getting passed by like Volkswagen Beetle equivalents and shit.
Someone
But-
hacked the engine.
Oh, you hacked.
yeah.
But you could ride a chocobo.
So I found a bunch of places where you could rent chocobos, but
Oh, really?
none of them work yet.
Oh, okay.
They all
Sounds like
say
a cool place to live.
they all say nope.
I think it's been a cool place to play. and
Yeah.
for sure. Like the combat has been interesting.
Yeah.
Are you
This
marrying
is-
someone from the evil kingdom?
No, I think she's from a border kingdom.
Yeah.
Basically, there's a treaty that will be signed contingent on your marrying this lady.
Okay.
Which will do what?
Like it's some kind of peace treaty or something.
Is
Oh,
she
are you-
evil or is she just part of an
I
evil
have
kingdom?
no idea.
Okay.
She seems great.
Yeah, I've already seen one flashback with her. She seems fine.
Okay.
I don't know.
Is
man.
he upset about having to get married or is he
No,
cool
seems
with it?
pretty into it.
All right.
Are you in
into-
love or is it just for the treaty?
I think both.
Yeah, I think
From
both.
what I'm gathering.
Yeah, you
Sounds
can
all
go
right.
both.
It works
Yeah.
out that way.
Yeah.
They seem like they were childhood friends or something,
Yes.
and then they share the weird diary dogs.
That's where the dog comes from.
Yeah, I think so.
How into Final Fantasy is she? Like kind of like what, like 1,
I
2,
think
like
3.
she likes
She was a-
cosplay.
she was
I
a-
think she likes the 2D
She
ones.
likes the
2D
16
ones?
bit.
Okay.
16-bit. I think
That's
she
cool.
That's
trailed-
fair. I can relate to
She
that.
dropped it after the 16-bit.
I mean, I understand that.
It's a weird mix of ideas from what I've seen so far. We unfortunately we did not get the game until the day before release, so
Yeah.
we're pretty early on in it. But
Have you had to
it's-
restore a crystal?
No, but I want to. I feel
I've
like
harvested some
there has been
crystals.
mention of a crystal at one point.
How is
chronicled
Gaia?
any crystals?
I haven't heard anything about Gaia yet.
What?
But give it
It's coming.
time.
Have you had to carry a bucket?
Not yet.
Okay.
It's
The point is that like there's a bunch of different ideas going on
Yeah.
here, and it feels very atypical of a
Final Fantasy.
Final
Absolutely.
Fantasy game.
Yeah. It's
I don't know where it's going. I like what I'm seeing so far, and
yeah. It's promising.
Man, if
from what I've
Combat
seen of
seems
it.
really crazy in this game
It's-
in a way that I feel like people that played a lot of menu-driven Final Fantasy games
Yeah.
are probably not going to like it.
Well, I don't know if they'll
Well,
like
you
it or
have
not,
the
but it's
idea-
very different. It's totally because
they
it's
have
all
like an active and a weight.
yeah.
style
I haven't.
combat.
There is a wait mode like
I
the-
talked to Peter, who reviewed the game for GameSpot, and like hearing him describe wait mode, he just kind of said like, yeah, it's not. It's the way combat moves. Wait mode is not.
Yeah,
really-
I haven't even tried the wait mode because
Yeah.
it's very fast paced and action based and
animated really well. There's,
Pretty
there's
well.
a bunch of like subtle animations that occur between some of the characters when they team up
Yeah.
or something. Like if you get knocked down or something, somebody will come over and just like pick you up and stuff, and they like might fist bump or whatever. Or
But they might
there's
not.
They might not. But maybe at the end of our journey, our road trip, after we saw the dead behemoth, maybe then we'd fist bump.
To bring it
you
back
got
to
to
life.
save it.
Yeah.
You got to save it.
One
Yeah.
tier.
Save it till it counts.
Do you summon anything?
there are
I heard
trophies
you
for
might.
summoning stuff. So yes.
Summoning sounds very different from the sounds of things from what I've heard about the game.
Just
Like,
call somebody on your cell phone.
No, it's like stand in a very specific spot, and then it says, "Hey, you can summon."
Yeah, we're
But
gonna.
It's not a. It sounds really. It sounds really weird.
We're
Yo,
gonna-
Ifrit, I need some help.
Nah. You need
Nah.
to stand over here.
I got you.
I got you.
you're not close enough to that other dude.
How big are the swords?
One of the swords I have. Also, they're all like energy weapons that you summon out of thin air. But
Which
one
is
of
kinda
one of
cool
them
looking.
one of them is pretty big.
Okay.
The combat's weird because so there's lock-on targeting, but then you just hold down a button to auto-attack. Like, there's no timing really to the attacks. You just lock onto a guy and then hold circle, and you just wail on him.
Yeah.
But you can switch weapons in the middle of that, and like enemies are weak to different types of weapons, so you want to switch stuff up to keep your combo going. And the active part of combat is much more about like countering and dodging at the right time, like staying out of the way of attacks and
managing meters,
managing meters, linking up
yeah.
with your buddies and stuff like that. It's promising.
It's promising, and it
But
seems kind of engaging.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to see where it goes. Like end game stuff when people are enemies are just like super resistant to specific things. Like how much I need to change up stuff on the fly. Because right now it's just like I'm targeting.
Yes.
I'm holding down the button.
Yeah. Early on, it is target an enemy and hold down circle until it's dead. Like that's it. But yeah, you're right. Like the tutorial really emphasizes like a lot of enemies have resists to different types of magic or different types of weapons, so you need to figure that stuff out. Like you can like craft magic spells with different effects to get around those resistances and stuff.
And with like a higher potency as well, depending on how much you chip into it.
Yeah. So that stuff seems like it could be interesting over the long haul. We're gonna enlist Peter Brown.
Yeah.
For our video of this thing because he
to make
finished
sense of it
because he's been playing it for like 2 weeks. So
but like right
I
now,
really
man,
hear about the late
if this
game
game
stuff.
is just like me, like on a road trip with my homies, killing monsters and fucking playing pinball, I'm okay with that.
I think some other stuff happens. I think you're not just on a road trip the whole time.
I don't know if I need it to. I'm fine with it.
I think maybe the coolest thing in the game is so like you bank experience points. You don't level up immediately. Like you get XP and then none of it cashes in until you sleep.
Oh, okay.
Once you bust out the coal mine.
Just like real life.
Yeah, so you either camp at like a campsite or find an inn, or actually I stayed in an RV one night.
Is it like a Dark Souls thing where if you die, you have to go get your experience? Or
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I haven't died. I don't know how. I don't know how dying.
So you don't
works.
lose it.
No, you don't lose it. It's just you don't level up. You don't. It doesn't cash in until you sleep somewhere.
Gotcha.
But when you sleep and they're going through all the animations of them sleeping and stuff, one of your dudes is a photographer. And he has actually randomly been taking actual photos of the shit you've been doing all day.
It's kind of creepy. But
like it's
like
random.
Saved to your hard drive?
Like
or?
literally like from the perspective of his camera in the game world, he's taking all these photos of stuff.
Do you see him taking
and yeah,
pictures?
he lays out all the photos he's taken over the course of
like while
day.
he's doing it,
I'm sure if you were paying attention, you would actually see and hear him snapping the photos.
This is the most millennial ass Final Fantasy game I've ever heard of.
Yeah, dude, like they are a lot of the dialogue boxes look like text messages, and they straight up send like chocobo emojis to you and shit like that.
I'm not even mad at it. Like, if you're gonna lean into that shit, lean all the way.
It's weird,
and you can take selfies in it, right?
Have you tried that? I haven't tried like
there is photography.
I haven't tried manually getting the camera out and using it, but that dude is just constantly taking photos. So when you rest for the night, he just throws out like, here's the 15 photos I took today. Like, tell me which ones you want to keep in your album.
Wait, they're physical photos?
Well, yeah, like, or he spreads them out.
He's developing them. He's got a dark room.
They don't have Facebook in Final
Fantasy. Fantasy world is this?
I don't know.
No wonder why they call it fucking fantasy.
Yeah.
Printing out photos?
I don't know.
On paper?
You know what
they don't have
the
Final
environment?
Facebook. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's probably just holding up his phone and like scrolling through them.
A little suspension of disbelief.
Right.
Okay.
So you can like save them to your hard drive, or you can post them directly to Facebook or Twitter. They're ties
Like Final
for that.
Fantasy Facebook or Twitter?
No,
Or
actual.
Actual.
Okay.
The open world, like the driving stuff, is super handholdy. It's very limited. Like you don't have a ton of freedom to just get in the car and drive.
Like you've got to
kind of get on a route, and that's
it.
Like even when you do manual drive mode, there are parts where it'll kind of steer for you and kind of force you into certain routes. And there's also an auto mode that'll just automatically go to the next waypoint.
How linear is it as far as this road trip? I mean, if you're just going down a highway, it sounds like.
I mean, there's stuff to do along the way.
Yeah, there are little turn-offs to little side areas where you can pick up some side quests and stuff like that.
Or you can see a monster like on the side of the road or something like that and hop out. And
you can hop out at any time? Like just hit triangle.
Sounds kind of great. Like, I don't know. It's kind of
interesting.
I've
The
been.
combat sounds interesting in a way that like I kind of want to see for myself and maybe play it.
People I know who are Final Fantasy, let's just say freaks, seem to be having a good time with this one. Like they seem more positive on it certainly than they were like for 13.
The gameplay parts of it seem pretty cool so far. Like the story is kind of
We'll see where it goes.
yeah.
Can you name your character?
No.
Back out.
Sorry.
Done. Off this train.
I got a sweet paint job on my car.
Did you?
Yeah.
Wow.
What do you like? Cool racing stripe.
I bought a racing stripe, but as a pre-order bonus, I got some like retro, like 8-bit character style emblazoned on the side of my car.
Nice.
You get like a Red Bull car?
Probably.
Yeah.
I haven't stopped the 7-Eleven lately.
Do you equip
Can
any?
you put minions on there?
Not
Yes.
yet.
Okay.
Do you equip any armor or
There are outfits.
They've made mention of different outfits, and they will have like stat bonus stuff
that are represented when you put them on.
Yeah.
Yes, as far as I know.
Your armor goes up with every zipper.
That stuff's pretty stripped down though.
I got a +4 wallet chain.
That stuff is real stripped down. There's one slot for outfit and one slot for one accessory per character.
Oh, not even a weapon?
Yeah. Well, the weapons are separate. You can equip up to 4 weapons on your main dude,
and they will look different.
Yeah,
the weapons will. Yeah.
You don't even control the other 3 characters. Like you can issue them basic commands in some cases, but for the most part, they're just there to fight with you.
Oh, you don't just set up
your bros.
You're just controlling the one dude.
You don't set up like logic trees and stuff for them.
Not that I've seen.
Not necessarily. No.
Is there skinning? Do you skin a chocobo?
No.
Well, you pick up stuff off of monsters, yeah. Okay. And like there is straight up a hunter level, and there are hunts, and you can only go on hunts that you are like qualified to go on. So there's some full on monster hunter in here.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, definitely more open world than I was expecting.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty open.
Like even if you're like playing the demos, throwing you in the desert like that. It seems very open and non-linear.
Yeah, you're straight up picking herbs and mining ore.
Yeah.
Are there airships?
Not that I've seen.
They've made a mention of an airship.
There are.
So.
It's not something that you necessarily get in the core progression.
Are there drill ships?
Maybe.
Is there a whale you can fly to a moon?
Flying mechanized whale? I certainly hope so.
It's their card game.
But couldn't tell.
There's pinball, man.
Yeah, there's pinball.
Is there an opera?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I play underwater math soccer?
Is Donald Sutherland there?
I hope not.
I don't know where this game's going.
Yeah, I'm anxious to sit down with Peter and hear about the full breadth of the thing.
Seriously,
because it's hard to get a sense of it from the time we've had with it. Because
I heard some stuff about like stealth missions and like I don't know where this game is going.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Sounds like no one does.
Yeah,
that's exciting.
I just did a quest where I had to like sneak around a gigantic like dinosaur bird monster thing because it was asleep.
Oh sure.
And then it woke up at one point and acted like it was going to eat me. And I don't know if that's like a big stealth thing later or what.
But then
who knows?
Dinosaur bird monster thing pushed its release date back.
Yeah,
and then it didn't wake up.
Flew away. Yeah. Yep.
Controls were too weird.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll have more on that soon in the next few hours and days.
Do you know what I have a little more on?
What's that?
But not a ton more.
What's that?
God Eater 2.
God damn it.
My understanding is that you set out to finish God Eater and then didn't.
Oh no.
My understanding is that I saw credits.
Oh really? Okay,
all right. That counts.
I actually saw credits.
I don't know. That wasn't my understanding.
That's the legal definition.
I don't know what you're talking about.
However, after credits,
uninstall.
It seems like there's a whole lot more God Eater to play, and I got some cool outfits and stuff. The game, spoilers, it ends with like everybody jumping in there, and there's a freeze frame.
Nice.
So that can probably paint the picture of like how good the narrative,
yes,
and the presentation is.
Fantastic.
Do you like God Eater?
I fucking love God Eater. So much that I actually started playing the first one again.
God damn it.
Which actually made me not like 2 nearly as much. The characters, the presentation, there's just a lot more personality.
In the original God
In the
Eater.
original God
And there are 2 God Eaters?
There are 2 God Eaters.
Okay. Did you eat a god?
Yeah, tons of them.
Really?
Yeah, like I'm full.
Okay, you're done.
What did that taste like?
How do you know when you're satisfied?
When you're scarfing down gods like that, like you don't taste it after a while.
You put a little crushed red pepper on there, some saffron. Oh,
Yeah.
it's
Delicious.
They just send you the gods. They're not cooked. You have to do but they send you a recipe and they'll send
you
you
get 3 gods a week.
Yeah, they're sourced.
If you live in
A
like
different
a
one
god
every-
desert, then this is.
It sounds
really
like a good deal.
Yeah, it's a pretty good service.
I signed up for 2 whole boxes of gods.
But I'm full of gods for the time being. Even though they're a bunch of stuff unlocked. I will get to that eventually, but right now it's off my plate.
Yeah, but my thing is like I always get hungry 20 minutes later for more gods. Like I feel full, and then it's like I can just go for more gods
Yeah, seriously, like it goes through you pretty quick.
pretty quickly.
I got to eat more gods. I just have to eat more gods. I have to.
Gods.
Was that a minute?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
That might be the final
Okay.
God Eater minute.
I'm glad I was
for a
here.
little bit.
I have my doubts.
Though we can't talk about it this week, we should be able to talk about it next week. The Last Guardian is showing up places now.
Yes.
I'm seeing actual boxes in people's hands via social media.
Yes, I believe we have a copy of that game.
That is a video game now,
in the
for
mail
real.
room.
Giant dinosaur bird monster.
Mm-hmm. You got to eat it.
You gotta eat it.
Supposedly
says
that
it on the
actually
box.
exists.
I'd have my doubts.
Yeah.
I haven't
Just
seen
open
it yet, so.
open it up and dust falls out.
Just the order.
Yeah.
1886.
Right, yeah. There you go. It's another copy of the order.
We had a lot lying
the
around.
Magic.
Just a box full of dragon bird fur. All right.
It's a pre-order.
Yeah.
You open it and a pre-order slip falls out.
Yeah.
Well, that will hopefully happen soon. For now, let's move on to the news of the week of the world.
Oh, I wasn't ready for that.
Of
Did
the
we hit
video game
everybody?
industry. I'm just going to keep rambling here about the news.
Oh, the news.
Oh, the news?
I would like to
news?
hear about the news.
Until
But I can't hear about the news until we've got
Yeah.
news music.
And here's
so-
Brad
ready for
with
for
the news.
Please tell me about the news. Huey Lewis and the news.
yeah.
Oh, news.
All
All right,
right.
news. Yeah, yeah.
There
yeah.
we go.
This is what we're talking about.
Fix it in post.
Huey Lewis and the.
Oh yeah, man, I'd love to bring Huey Lewis in here for a news.
He's
segment.
local.
He's local.
Is
yeah.
he?
Yeah.
God,
They're-
he lives
Yeah, they're
around
Bay
here.
Area
They're
band.
from here.
Holy shit,
Yeah.
man!
Yeah, what would you ask him?
I don't
One
know.
thing
I
you'd
don't
ask
even- I don't
Huey
even
Lewis.
know.
I thought he lived in L.A. He's always doing stuff for his buddy Jimmy Kimmel there.
Well, I mean,
Oh,
maybe
yeah,
he lives
might
there
live
now, but
he's
yeah.
they're,
Oh, okay.
they're from here.
Huh.
Like, I don't know. I guess I would just ask him like, what's it like being you?
I would ask him if he still
Alright.
wants a new drug or if he found the one he was looking for.
yeah.
Is he
okay.
good at sports?
How is the Ghostbusters money going?
Yeah.
From that lawsuit.
It
Right.
went.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
All right. Well, as
Tell me about the power of love, Brad.
Yes, I will. As you guys already alluded to, I guess it was timely that we took that question about Hello Games last week in email form because,
Right. Oh,
because they
yeah,
dropped
okay.
that update.
Yeah. What's in that update?
Foundation is what they call
That's wrong.
1.1.
It's a fact-based podcast.
It's wrong.
Yes.
Bases, y'all.
Of, yeah, No Man's Sky
Wrong.
1.1 Foundation update.
Come across this table.
Yeah. You guys want to build a base
No.
in No Man's Sky?
I mean, I'll try it.
All right. Well, then
Not even a little bit.
I'll try it.
check back in 6 months when the next update drops.
What can you do in the base?
Oh god, so it's a huge web page. It's full of stuff. I guess I won't run down every
It's a
single
great
change.
update.
Yeah. It's just a web page they
like-
added to the game.
No, I mean
Build
like
a big warehouse and there's just a Netscape in there.
I mean, it
You
would,
can
it would
decipher special
Netscape
words.
communicator.
it would literally take probably 10 minutes to sit here
if
and
you
read,
know enough GEC or whatever, then you can put in a URL.
read all these patch notes.
What
but,
are the big highlights?
So the bases.
Yeah, so base building and freighters are the two things that they mentioned at release and are in this update.
But they're also kind of like they're talking about this update being the foundation update as it is the foundation for what's to come.
Yeah.
Which is a weird way to say our patch is not the patch you're waiting for. But
Yeah,
it
well,
sounds like there's still some stuff.
But it's
in
very
it.
big. I
They've
mean,
added,
there's a lot of
they've added
stuff.
creative mode.
Yeah, there's three modes. So there's a survival mode and like a free build mode in addition to the regular.
Sounds like survival mode's kind of a nightmare.
Yeah. So
Good nightmare or-
yeah.
As in, like, you will die a lot in that mode.
So, all right, claim your home planet by finding an uninhabited base and creating your own fully bespoke outpost.
Oh, but
Construct your homestead for
Farm to
shelter.
table base.
Recruit alien life forms to help research new technology. Farming, engineer, weapons, and science specialists are hireable.
Is your base reflected in other people's games?
I doubt it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that's.
Let me tell you
So
about
it's,
No Man's Sky.
Yeah, that's not really how
So it's
that
a
works.
building you look at.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you put a bunch of functionality in there. So, like, it says use teleporters in space stations to teleport to and from your base at will. You can put a bunch of storage containers in there. You can grow crops in there with hydroponics and shit.
Will the space cops try to come and snatch your space
Oh,
crops?
I don't know. You would hope so, or they wouldn't be doing their space job. Let's see. It seems like they've added a bunch of new resource types and tech types and blah blah blah.
They also made some changes, I guess, where like bases are now generally more populated with
Yeah.
like various aliens, and
Yes,
they'll
they're
see them
like-
like hanging out with each other in those
I like-
random bases.
Oh, like in space stations?
Yes.
Or-
Yeah.
I guess you can teleport to your base from any
Yes,
space
yes,
station.
yeah, that's what I was just saying. But yeah, like I like that they mentioned that on this patch list of like multiple aliens will now hang out in the same room.
Aliens
together.
are friends now.
Not the one guy behind the desk who's just like, hey,
Give me carbon.
what's
I'll
six,
tell you a word.
what's 6 + 4?
So you can. So
No
you
one
can,
could
got me,
possibly
man.
know that.
let's see. So you can buy a bunch of those freighters you see in space now. Like you can land on them to go see what they look like inside, and then go talk to the dude and buy them.
They're
What do you
very
want?
expensive.
You land on the freighter?
Like yeah,
Yes.
you can land inside a lot of those.
Because remember
ships
when we
now.
did the quick look, you asked like, can we fly into
Yeah.
that ship, and you couldn't do that before. But I guess now you can actually do that.
and now that becomes your ship and you can fly around and land on planets?
No,
and
no,
that
you
thing?
still have your regular ship.
Think you
This is
teleport
But the
this is-
freighters
this is a-
will-
You freely teleport resources to the freighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At any point, can you fly it?
It's a space backpack.
No,
Not,
you
I don't
can-
think
Oh, okay.
manually.
I
It'll-
think
It
space
sounds like
storage.
it sounds like it'll follow you around from
Yeah.
system to system, and like you can go on board it. Like you can do crops on your freighter just like you could in a base. Yeah, like you said, teleport.
But it seems like a
Stuff
lot
back
of
and forth.
a lot of it's based around the idea of like you're going to need way more resources, and now there are ways to store said resources.
That's like
I
a
guess.
quality of life thing that
Yeah.
would be welcome in that
Yeah,
game.
yeah,
but
totally.
They've got like some quick menu options for better, like more easily recharging and equipping
Yeah,
things.
they've
which is-
added a bunch of UI shortcuts that you can stack resources like 5 times in a slot now, as opposed to just once previous. Like it's just a ton of like little streamlining.
I mean, this game
stuff.
sounds pretty awesome when it comes out. What's the release date?
Like next fall, I think.
Okay,
is-
yeah, I hope they can deliver on
they'll
this
probably
stuff.
push it back.
I think that's when it comes out at early access.
Okay.
Actually, yeah.
Like these are all, from what I have played of No Man's Sky, very welcome additions.
I mean, like, obviously this doesn't play in the audio version, but there's a bunch of diagrams and shit on this webpage for how they have like changed the icons to make it more obvious what everything is, and there's all kinds of new resources and stuff to mess with. Like, I don't know if any of this is actually going to fix that game.
Yeah,
But
That's
it's
the thing, is
more of
I
that
look
game.
at all this stuff and go like, these all seem like good additions to this game.
Yeah.
But none of it actually makes me want to go back to that game.
Like,
the
how
thing-
many people that were hardcore about this game pre-release are still kind of holding out hope and waiting for it to become what they hoped it would
I mean,
be? You know,
the player base seems like it has dwindled a decent amount, at least just in
like
terms.
you look at Steam numbers, there
Yeah.
are like 150 people playing it.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
And I mean,
it's
the
like that,
thing
yeah.
of it is, for my personal experience, the way I liked playing that game was as a lonely space nomad. So the idea of a base and like a hub of operations and all that kind of shit just isn't necessarily exactly what I want out of it. But I also feel like that's what most people would want out of this.
I could see some use for it,
Yeah.
especially as shitty as the inventory management was.
Oh,
in
yeah.
this. Like just having a place to teleport all your stuff to and not worry about it
Totally.
would be huge.
like if
For me, it's more about like I want to find interesting things
Yeah.
in space,
Well, that's-
and
yeah.
that lasted for the first hour of that game, and then you saw it all over and
Like,
over again.
lack,
So-
lack of content is the real problem
so,
there.
Like,
so.
building bases and doing all this stuff. Like, if it's full on Minecraft and you're building really elaborate things, that's cool. But if you can't show them to other players without, hey,
Right.
look at this screenshot of this thing, then that's all a waste.
what
Uh,
if
Okay.
What
All
if
right. Okay. Hang on. Let
you
me.
could build your base
All right. I'm listening.
and then build a spore-esque creature, like genetic lab, where you can start manipulating nature and make your own creature.
Okay.
So
And
it's a
then
Skylanders game, but you're just putting the pieces together of the different creatures.
You're building nightmares that you introduce to other ecosystems
in other players.
on other players' worlds.
I like
and stuff
that.
like that.
You want
I just-
plagues of space frogs and
I
other
was gonna say, that would
planets.
just be like a race to see who could produce the deadliest species,
Yes.
and then
That's cool.
suddenly the whole
Yes.
universe would be overrun.
Yes.
Oh, all right.
I
Yeah.
believe they call that natural selection.
And then you'd be recruited to stop. Then you have to build something to stop. it.
Right, of course.
The spider that swallows the fly, and then you just go down this dark, and then you'd basically start our crossover comic series, the Dark Arising, where it's coming. You don't know it's across the galaxy, but you have to prepare for the tide of space frogs.
Okay, all right.
Join my army.
No.
Enlist.
Okay, yeah, all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
What side are you on?
You won't know
Choose a
until
side.
it's too late.
No Man's
Frogs.
Sky.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Finish
stuff
the
would.
fight.
I think introducing stuff with other players would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of where a lot of the creative stuff breaks down for me if I can't create with a friend.
Yeah.
Or like have easy ways to show that off to other players and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
I really
So,
wonder if that's what they're working toward or not.
Yeah.
But like the way they've been over the last few months, like they're very obviously not going to come out and say until it's done.
Well, this
So
was
who
weird because
knows?
like they announced a thing was coming, and then the exact thing we talked about happened. Where like they came out and said, "Oh, we're working on some stuff, you guys," and people were like, "Fucking fuck off!" And then it came out the next day. So it was like this weird like turnaround of like it was almost like their last little chance to twist the knife and just talk. Just go, "Hey, we talked," and then oh, you're still mad. Oh, the patch is out now, fuckers. I don't know.
So when is this live now?
Yes, it came out.
I'd like to try this. I'll
Yeah,
go
me
back
too.
and try this.
I probably won't get a chance until I get back, but
It's
yeah.
there. It's there for you to try.
I don't know. Like maybe I'll look at it just academically or something. But in terms of like things I want to look at, like nothing about it interests me to the point where like I'm totally gonna play more No Man's Sky. Like I look at it and go like this is all smart stuff that like doesn't change anything about my feelings on that game. I'll go play it just to make sure that that's the case, I guess. But
I don't think anything they're going to do to that game, unless they decide to make a full-on sequel to that game, which God only knows if we'll ever get to that point, will change people's minds fundamentally about what that game is.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel like any of the directions they're talking about with these Foundation updates are going to radically change anyone's perspective on that game.
I don't think there's no way they ever make a sequel to this game. Like the name of this thing is too.
Oh, but what if they did?
Would they want to after all this crap? You know,
it's the whole.
They want to make motorcycle
I mean,
stunt games
like,
again.
You know, they would make a sequel to this for the same reason anyone makes a sequel to anything. It's got so much name recognition, positive or negative. that, like,
it's so negative though. Like the whole thing just seems so poisoned.
give
at
it,
this point.
give it
Watch
5
Dogs.
years, people will fall for that all over again, regardless. Like,
You're
it's
telling
not-
me you wouldn't be talking about a No Man's Sky 2 on here, and how
I'm not saying
I can't
I
wait
wouldn't
to see it.
Oh, I would talk about it. I'm just saying I would be surprised if they were brave enough to try it.
I feel like that might not happen as much as like other people will take up this mantle and try and make that game.
Like other people are making space games and
Like with similar promises.
Someone will make the better No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily certain it's going to be them.
I mean, even what's it called? Star Citizen has kind of started talking about some of these points of like planets and you know.
We don't talk about Star Citizen.
No, we
Until
do.
that's a damn game. We don't talk about Star Citizen.
I was in a retail
it.
establishment devoted to selling video games over the weekend, and the guy behind the counter was like, "Yeah, it's this thing. I don't know. It's online. It's on the internet called Star Citizen. I don't know if it's out yet. I don't think it's out. I don't know what it is, but it sounds real cool with space."
This was behind the
I
camera.
probably shouldn't tell you that. Yeah. He was telling a customer about this online only game that they don't sell. He's like, and he acknowledged like, probably not really, you know, like being a good employee of this store to tell you about it, considering it's not something we could ever really sell.
Or a
but
person.
you know,
Jeez.
but hey, I don't know. It sounds real awesome.
I don't know. That's a degree of honesty I don't normally get in my
And
retail
I
clerks.
wanted to just like walk over there and go like, no, don't. I mean, maybe, but
It's a fool's paradise.
Probably don't get into this.
Into Star Citizen. There's stuff going on in that game.
Is there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there stuff going on in the game or stuff going on around
Is
the
Gary
game?
Oldman there yet?
In the game, I don't think that stuff is in there. I played some of it with Drew.
Yeah.
we-
Oh, okay. I remember you mentioned that like your ship got stolen.
Yeah, and then I stole like Drew's ship.
All right.
And, like we went around space bases and did some missions. There's stuff there.
Mm.
It's very. I found it to be still pretty rough for like what you do, but it's weird. But there's stuff there.
Okay.
I don't know
stuff.
if it'll ever come out.
Yeah. Like there's stuff there. Is
And
not. That's not.
They recently said they were going to make transparent their whole schedule for development, their whole development schedule, and keep it updated.
Okay.
Which I had not seen that. But that seems like a kind of a dangerous thing to do, or like maybe the public will not be aware of how much that stuff needs to slip and slide as like you're committing to dates transparently and publicly.
Right,
That's tough.
That's it's a weird place
But
to go.
I actually had kind of fun.
All right.
Jumping around, like getting in a ship, taking off, like that stuff seemed cool. They need to sew together all the parts, and that's not there.
And then so what? Yeah.
What do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do?
I don't know. What do? I got in a ship, and there was like a distress beacon, and Drew and I warped to this space station, and then the pirates attacked us, and we had to shoot the pirates and get out of our ship and float over to a beacon, and he unlocked it, and then we had to take that data back to another space station.
This all just sounds like No Man's Sky, actually.
It's quests. We did quests
Okay.
and
Okay.
dogfighting, and
I could do some quests.
Yeah, you get off this space station, run around, and then get in an elevator with some guy, and then all of a sudden it says, as soon as you get out of the airlock of the space station, weapons go free. So we got shot in the elevator, and then because some asshole was in there with us, and that was kind of funny. So like it was like you're in the airlock, and it's like it takes a while. It's like, and it's like decompressing. Weapons
Loading.
free. Some guy just took out his gun and then shot us.
Huh.
And we laughed and then respawned and then made sure that we didn't get in an elevator with anybody else.
Maybe it'll end up being really dumb fun.
It was kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
All right.
What else is in the news
No
today?
Man's Sky update out there. You guys like fighting games?
No.
Not anymore.
Used
I'm
to.
over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Science kinda ruined them for me.
Feeling a little cooled out on fighting games right now.
I still love them very, very much.
Yeah. So PSX is this weekend, and then also the Game Awards are happening. So we will probably have a bunch of new announcements of things to talk about.
I
this
did
time next
hear
week.
from the Game Awards.
Yeah.
And heard that Nitro Plus Blasters Heroine's Infinite Duel did not clear the bar for nomination.
Are you
along with some
fucking
other
serious?
games that did not clear the bar for number of nominations.
That's a shame.
You done fucked up.
Yeah.
Game Awards.
That's no
How dare you?
Well, anyway, like I said, this time next week we'll know all the stuff that gets announced out of those events. But according to Polygon, one of the announcements has leaked out early from PSX, and it is Marvel vs. Capcom 4.
About time. Huh.
Is that out here?
Everyone is asking.
It's in Anaheim.
When's Marvel?
When's
next
Marvel?
year. Next year is Marvel.
Next year.
Too many secrets.
That's kind of the detail. They really don't have a lot of other information other than, hey, we heard this is happening.
Yeah, some stuff that started to
has
bubble
stuff
around prior to
be
Polygon
happening.
running the story. But
Oh yeah,
yeah.
You're
We'll
not.
see if it actually gets.
Are you not convinced?
Not 100% convinced.
Really?
3 did well, right?
I think so.
Oh yeah,
Generally well received.
Well,
I think it's
yes.
happening, like for sure. I
Yeah.
don't know if PSX is going to
Oh, if it's going to get announced this week or not.
officially. I don't
Yeah.
know, but like there's so many sources out there now. Like maybe they go ahead and do it.
Like
That
the
feels
other
like a thing. They do.
the other piece of the story, I think McWhorter wrote it, is that maybe the cast would be a little more closer to the Marvel Cinematic Universe,
Yeah, so-
meaning that you wouldn't see like
Like the
mutants
X-Men.
in it.
Yeah.
You wouldn't see Wolverine in this game.
Fuck. That
So
would
like at some
suck.
point, like what fucking game
no
are you
Wolvie,
making?
no Storm,
Like,
no
Yeah.
Magneto. Yeah, like
Yeah.
all the mutants not being in
Like
there.
no
That's
Cyclops,
going to be
no-
a huge.
No Sentinel.
Like
That's
X-Men are like
strange
of
as
any
hell.
color.
You could have that
Yeah.
raccoon. The raccoon would be all right?
Yeah, the raccoon would still be there.
Okay.
get some Groot in there.
Yeah, I guess Groot would
Yeah,
sort of become
okay.
your new Sentinel.
But like that's
Because I mean, the X-Men are basically the backbone of MVC, right?
Yeah.
totally, yeah, absolutely. Like Children of the Atom is the game that led to all this shit
right.
happening.
Game's so good.
The
Can they do Omega Red? Can they bring him back now?
No,
I hope so.
Mm.
Omega Red is part of the X universe. You can't. They haven't made that trade.
Is he the Red Hulk?
No.
No,
Omega
Omega Red
Red
is the guy. He has all white skin. He has like tentacles that come out of his hands.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What's Red Hulk's name?
Red
Red Hulk.
Red Hulk.
His name's just Red Hulk.
He's just Red
Or
Hulk.
King.
What makes him different?
They like
Didn't
to
he,
keep
like, rule a
it
planet now?
shorten to the point.
Whatever.
Who are the C's that you'd put in it?
I don't know. I Rad Spencer of Bionic Commando fame.
I feel like that cast is almost identical to Capcom 3, right?
Like, yeah, it's not like the Capcom universe has grown a whole lot.
right.
in
I
the
was gonna
last
say like you put the
3-4
fucking
years.
cat
You
from
could put-
Monster Hunter,
Good
like
Dark Void guy.
I mean, yeah. I mean, there are characters to tap into. Yes, you could
Very
absolutely
popular
put
characters.
Dr. Wily.
Dark
Yeah.
Void guy. This is his official name.
Yeah.
Some Sour Patch Kids.
No, Capcom didn't
shit.
publish that.
Oh no.
I don't think.
Oh no, you're right. You're
Yeah.
right. You're right. I was mixing that up.
They probably lost the license by now anyway.
the sheep from Flock.
Sure. Yeah.
And when did 3 come out?
Like 2010, 2011?
Yeah,
Yes,
2010 I
believe
think was.
that's right.
20
And
years
11
ago.
was the ultimate.
Yeah.
I think.
Was
And then-
Phoenix
and then-
Wright already in there?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the story says that I'm sure you guys remember this happening, that the Capcom lost the Marvel license, or it expired in 2013.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is when like all that DLC stopped being sold,
Disappeared
right?
and like I think like wouldn't like patches wouldn't even download on
Yeah.
the Vita version anymore or something fucked up like that. Like
Yeah.
that
That Vita
stuff,
version was fucked, but
Licensing
yeah.
is a nightmare.
yeah. Open mind,
Yeah.
open heart, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll-
Like the idea of like Sony and
Fuck.
Capcom going back to like do it all over again after Street Fighter V went the way Street Fighter V did. Like this almost
I've
just seems
lost a little bit
I
of
was gonna say-
confidence
yeah.
in the way that
Yeah.
Capcom has been handling their fighting games.
Wonder
That's
why.
like the
Why?
idea of like them like the idea of them announcing this game and planning it for next year when it still feels like Street Fighter V is like
Drowning.
needs another season or two to
Well, hey,
really
guess what?
feel-
What?
That's not the end of the Capcom fighting game news for the week,
All right.
because Famitsu ran an interview with Ono that Event Hubs has translated, where they say that
This
they
is a
have.
factual podcast. Bro.
Yes, all I've got is what's on the screen in front of me, where they claim that they have a plan for Street Fighter V through 2020.
Okay. What
I
like,
bet-
what
you
is
know what?
that
I-
plan?
I
Is that
believe
plan
they
to
have
like,
that
Is
plan.
that, is
more
that plan add
characters?
Akuma and keep the servers up?
Right.
Maybe
Is the
More
store up yet?
stages?
After that, it's like
Yeah,
question
yeah, yeah,
marks
yeah.
and then
That-
profit.
Yeah.
Wait, is Akuma not in it?
No, not
Not
yet.
not currently.
He's the next one on the horizon.
I thought they never announced him, did they? I thought
I-
they just
Not-
hinted that he might be in there.
So that they hinted, and yeah, we don't know for sure whether or not
it seemed
it's actually-
pretty
yeah.
definitive that it was going to happen.
Oh wait, he's in
He's in Tekken.
Cross.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's in Tekken
Right.
7.
Well, it's not Cross.
No,
it's just
it's
Tekken,
Tekken
7.
7.
Oh, sorry, Tekken.
But you
Okay.
you can spend fight money now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think they
absolutely.
did finally
Yes.
do that.
Okay.
That game is fully functional. It's got your story mode, everything you
They took
guys
the root
wanted.
kit out of the PC version.
It's back.
Yeah.
Or it's here finally.
it's there.
It's a game.
Like it does. At some point, is MVC4 a make good for how Street Fighter V went?
No, I think it's no. I mean, it's
You know.
it's time. It's time for that
but
game to come
it's
back.
also it's time.
Yeah.
But
For a Marvel?
So Marvel still burns in your heart, Jason?
It burns like indigestion. In
Yes,
my heart. I
okay.
love watching that
Yes,
game.
me
yeah,
too.
I was gonna
Yes.
say
I can't
you-
play that
yeah.
game for shit, but I mean,
The people who
it's super
do,
fun to
I
watch.
have the utmost respect for their clear, like, as someone who suffers from ADHD, if you can parse out what is happening on that screen, you are a god.
That game is the Wild West. Like everybody's like, in traditional like fighting game terms, everybody's fucking overpowered and just crazy and like balance. Fuck that. Let's just find weird tech to like exploit and just I don't know. the game still has heart. People are still fucking playing that.
Yeah.
And that's fun to watch.
Yes.
So I'm excited for like a brand new MVC.
But like, did three
guess-
did 3 have legs? Like, are people still into 3, or did people go back to 2? Okay,
No,
all
no,
right.
no,
I wasn't
no,
sure
no.
if
Yeah,
like
3's
just
still-
2, if at some point they were like, let's just play 2 again.
How curly was that mustache?
Right.
It was like, the Pringles
It was
one?
very Pringles.
Yeah. Chips all over it.
Did I talk about how I accidentally kind of fucked up the MVC3 announcement by mistake?
Oops.
You personally?
Yeah.
What'd you do?
No.
So they had an event in Hawaii. They had Captivate in Hawaii one
Oh,
year.
yeah.
And so it was like,
ages ago,
yeah,
right?
sit in a
I
dark
got a
room.
radio from that.
Sit in a dark room. Yeah, no, the radio. I sit in a dark room and watch people talk about the Resident Evil shooter that no one wants to play. And they showed MVC3 there.
Mm-hmm.
I found a unique flavor of Pringles in the hotel gift shop that I was pretty psyched about, that I hadn't seen in a long time. And on Twitter, I posted a picture of this can of Pringles, and that's it. I didn't know at the time that they were even showing MVC3.
But everybody knew what you were really saying.
Exactly. And the internet was like, oh shit, it's fucking happening. They knew the event was happening, and they were like, oh fuck. And so like PR the next day was like, dude,
You did
do you realize what, and I didn't realize it at the time. And they were like, do you realize what happened? And I went, oh shit. I didn't. And they were like, no, we know. But
So for this like next week and a half, we just need to keep posting pictures of like Pringles.
yeah, basically. It was the dumbest fucking shit.
That's great.
That's the best way to fuck something up.
I just like Pringles.
I mean,
doesn't?
once you pop, you
They're
can't
good.
stop.
Yeah.
They're good.
I mean,
True.
They're an okay chip substitute.
Yeah, no, they don't
They're
feel like real chips.
They're,
but
they're
they're
actually chips.
they
Do
feel
you
like
ever eat one Pringle at a time?
No, God,
What do you mean? Yes.
No, you put like a stack.
opposed
You
on
to
it.
put like at
stack.
least 3 or 4 in your
No,
mouth at a
no.
time.
stack like this thick.
I
and then
usually-
ha.
I think I almost always do one at a time.
What? Do you eat like one piece of popcorn at a time?
You eat one pea
fucking
at a
wasted
time?
your life.
No, I'll do
But
a
you
little
don't eat
I'll
peas,
do-
I bet.
Who has
I'll do
time
a-
for this?
I'll do a pinch of popcorn. What were you saying, Alex?
I was going to say, would you eat one pea at a time? But it's like, no, I
When
guarantee
I do,
you don't eat peas.
peas are actually pretty good. I rarely eat them, but no, I'll do a big old forkful.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I do one Pringle at a time.
You
Because you
will
want to, because okay, they do put a lot of like the salty stuff and flavoring on each side of each chip. So like you want to put that on, and it's like curved to match your tongue. So you want to like put it on there and then press it against the top of your mouth. So both sides of the chip, you're getting all the salty flavor stuff all over your mouth.
You get all that by chewing it up.
Yeah. So
Yeah, but
You get
you
all
can
that
do
by
it in a fun
stuffing
way. But
12 chips in your
do
mouth.
not-
no, but then you're wasting 12 opportunities to do the fun tongue mouth roof thing.
Daniel goddamn Riker, do not presume to tell me how I want to eat a chip.
You can eat them however you'd like. I'm just
Okay.
saying
And-
how I like to eat them.
And when you eat Pringles, I feel like many flavors, the roof of your mouth is going to get coated with some kind of sleaze,
But it's
regardless of how
good.
it goes. Yeah,
It's
so,
good.
It's a
but
delicious
at the same time,
sleaze,
like
yeah.
I just want to like get it going because when that sleaze hits, at some point I have to stop eating the chips.
It's like a high-end porno theater in your mouth.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
there's
if
a
I can
timer going.
Yeah, if I can cram as many of those into my mouth before that time hits, then
Okay.
that's a victory for all involved.
Also, once you pop that thing, it's like the
Go
side,
on.
I believe you cannot stop.
you cannot stop.
That's not true.
But also, if anybody sees you with a popped tube of Pringles, you
Yeah.
know they're going to come calling. So you got to get in there
Yeah,
and
you
get
have to
those
fucking
Pringles
make that
done so you
happen.
can suck back that dust at the end.
Well, why do so many people do the thing with Pringles where you take off the plastic top, and I always see people like peel back the thing, but then they don't take it off? Like there's a lid that fits
just
right
in-
on
it's
there.
I had
in
no
case-
idea.
It's because they don't have a garbage can near them.
Oh, okay. I thought that was a weird thing people do.
Yeah.
I think it's just in case you think you might seal it back up. Like,
But
there's always that
there's
hope
Oh,
you might-
sure.
there's
yeah.
a top you put on.
Yeah,
There's
that's
a
the thing.
plastic thing.
It's useless.
Well, why don't they just sell it without the tinfoil then?
That's
because
what I'm
that's
saying.
how
I
you
don't
know,
need that.
No, that's how you know that the seal is still there.
Oh, it's not poisoned or something.
yeah,
let the
that someone
genie
hasn't
out.
put a bunch
Yeah.
of
Poison
like
fucking Pringles.
polonium
No
in
one
your
wants that.
fucking Pringles.
Yeah. It's a good point. Yeah.
That's how they get you.
One
Yeah.
Pringle at a time.
That's how
think-
Putin
I
takes
savor
out
it.
his enemies.
I think they should make another Marvel game. I also think that without X-Men in it, that's potentially hugely disappointing.
Agreed.
So there's Children of the Atom. There was also X-Men versus.
There was
Street
Marvel
Fighter,
superheroes, and then there was X-Men versus Street Fighter, and then there
Yes.
was Marvel superheroes versus Street Fighter.
Okay. I don't.
X-Men
remember.
versus Street Fighter was good.
Yeah.
That game was good.
Cyclops.
No Children of the Atom, but it was good.
And so there was Marvel versus Street Fighter, and then at some point there was Marvel versus Capcom. Right? Is that how it went?
Marvel versus Street Fighter?
Sure.
Yeah, there's totally an MV.
Yeah.
There is definitely a
MVSF,
Marvel versus Street Fighter.
MSHVSF or MVSF. Yeah. Right? That's
Sure.
Anyway, fighting games.
I'll believe that.
Those are happening.
What about Tekken Cross Street Fighter?
Never coming out.
Akuma is in Tekken 7. That is all we're getting.
There was that one screenshot of Ryu in the Tekken style.
But, I mean, Akuma's in, like, presumably all that work went into putting Akuma into Tekken 7.
It took them 7 years to put Akuma in a game.
But also, like, that's the thing that, like, could potentially lead to them actually making that game once Tekken 7 is out.
I would like that.
Because, like, actually, we played Tekken back at E3. You've played it since, right?
Yeah, I played it actually just like a few weeks ago.
But
it's fantastic. Like it's
real good.
Yeah,
I thought
the
Akuma
additions,
worked pretty well.
Yeah.
When we played it, I thought that was kind of fun.
He's
being
a little
able to
challenging.
cancel normals into special moves,
Yeah.
like like a normal 2D like Street Fighter kind of game in like a Tekken sense. Weird, but it totally works.
Weird but neat. So playing that back at E3 kind of made me think like, oh, maybe I would want to see Tekken versions of these Street Fighter characters and see how that works.
Yeah.
In a way,
I didn't think that I wanted that. But I totally
but
did
it might be cool.
If a new Marvel Capcom comes out, what do you think the chances are of a Star Wars character being in the roster?
I think they were in the Soul Calibur canon.
Yeah, they'll save that for the next Soul Calibur game.
I think that was announced too. I'd
What?
have to look that up. I thought I knew.
I haven't
Soul
heard
Calibur.
anything
Soul
about a new
Calibur
Soul
6?
Calibur.
I don't know if it's a proper one. I just heard rumblings on Twitter.
It's a
Okay.
free-to-play
Well,
game.
No, they did that.
Yeah.
Free to sword.
I mean, yeah. I think you would have to, like, that's not Marvel.
Yeah.
That doesn't make
It's
sense.
not. It's not Marvel.
You'd have to name
proper,
it
but-
Disney
Is it, though?
ABC versus
That'd be pretty good. The ABC
ESPN.
family.
It's a Chris Berman.
He'd have a great ultimate.
Yeah.
I'd play that game.
The car from Cars.
Yep.
Oh,
Ryu could go all the way.
Then everybody just kind of ignores him and is like, "Oh, Chris,
God.
just as your ultimate didn't work. Just you're still here.
Stop talking.
Or it's just contract." Oh.
I don't know. I don't know what characters you put in that game. Like Capcom.
The ABC
or-
Family game
Yeah. Yeah.
versus Capcom.
Okay. All right. Sure.
What else you got, Brad?
That's kind of it. There's a big Hitman update out that's mostly a bunch of UI changes and little improvements and tweaks and stuff because that disc version of the game is coming out in January, and they're kind of laying the foundation for like the final version of year one or whatever. But I guess the big news here is that they added an offline mode,
Oh, cool.
All right.
which has kind of been my last big knock against that game is that it fucking sucks that you have to be connected to their servers to get all your unlocks and to record any progress and like
Right.
basically play the game. Like you can play it offline, but it sucks. It's super compromised. So they're making it now so that even if you can't connect to their servers, you can still run with all your progress, like start missions with all your unlocked gear.
The servers.
Does that sync or do you lose
So
that progress?
the wording is not. It says, note, you must be connected to the game servers in order to acquire new unlocks. So that's all it says. That's kind of ambiguous. You would hope you earn that progress when you're offline, and then it'll sync back up and unlock that stuff next time you connect. But it doesn't say that explicitly, so I can't say for sure. But it's at least a step in the right direction.
Do you think there's any chance they'll put out those elusive targets as offline only or
I
not?
think so.
I doubt it. We don't know. We've
That's
talked
the whole appeal of those things is that
The
they're
time.
these fleeting
Yeah,
things.
I feel like that's
you
the
know?
one part you kind of couldn't do.
I think you
Yeah.
could totally do it. It wouldn't be as special, but you could, and they probably should at some point.
we
put
talked
that
about that a
content
week
back
or
out.
two
Yeah.
ago. I think
Okay.
that like I think we kind of decided like they would have to appear in some separate mode. Like
Right.
some kind of like legacy collection or
Legacy.
something, like
Yeah.
something where you maybe wouldn't get the same unlocks
Or I think they
or
could.
something. That's probably what they would do.
What if they did it like Animal Crossing? And it was just
Okay.
like they had a calendar and like
Oh.
whether you were
Month or
offline or not.
Oh,
like
it's March 14th.
It's
Now
March
is where
14th, so this
Gary
guy
Busey
shows up.
comes through town.
Right, totally.
Okay.
Now I really want a Hitman set in the Animal Crossing universe.
Yeah.
Wait, are you 47?
roll-
And you
No.
just moved to town?
You move to town. You're the mayor, and
And-
you're also killing everyone there.
Tom Nook is
All right.
handing out the contracts.
It's your rhino neighbor, and you
Yep.
gotta use the wire.
Here's your mission, 47.
He's talking about moving out of town, so you've basically got a day to do this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. And everyone goes to bed at a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
of day. So you got to stay up in real world time
It's like
to
fishing a-
kill this rhino.
it's like
Instead of a
fish in a
coin, you're
barrel.
putting a bell.
God, that's actually like a real-time clock Hitman game. Like
Yeah.
really blow this thing
Oh,
out into its
dude.
like natural, ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
and by natural, I mean ridiculous and way too
Make
far.
it a true
thing.
world of assassination.
Right.
Like this character goes out Friday and Saturday nights to the bars, and that's when you can catch him in public every time.
Someone at
Yeah.
IO is just crinkling up at the
Yeah.
season 2 design document and just like starting from scratch now.
No way.
God,
I
that'd
don't
be-
want it.
It would be too.
want
Yeah, but like imagine. It would be too much.
That would be so
but
good.
in an amazing way, especially if it meant like like
It's like Sunday brunch.
Friday night.
This-
Yeah, exactly. The Friday night, this guy might go out. He might not. or hey, we've hacked his phone. We know he's got reservations to this restaurant. So open world hitman game. You could catch him at his apartment.
You set up a Tinder date downtown on Thursday night.
Hack a fucking date for him and show up as the date.
Oh God, yes.
Try to get access to his work schedule, figure out when his shifts are, so you can keep track of them.
I would much rather like a multiplayer Hitman map where your target might be another Hitman, or like 3 people might be going after the same target. But when
that's just the Assassin's Creed multiplayer.
But when they dress up, you don't see them. Yes, exactly. Yeah. But done in the Hitman universe. Like if you're doing a map, you wouldn't even know if there's another Hitman in there trying to go after your target.
I actually really like the idea of the preparation, like that level of preparation being part of the game design. You know, and it I don't know, kind of gives me like a Ronin vibe, because like half that movie is them just setting up for the big score, and you know, like even that was pretty compelling. Like, do that. Yes, I want this. Do it.
Sounds really good.
All right, guys, I gotta go.
I just want, I want to be.
Good luck running the website.
I want to be playing a Hitman game where I'm about to take out a target, and then a chef takes out a gun and shoots the target.
Fuck yes,
and starts running away.
And he gets the money,
and then like oh man, and it was totally another player that was just like sneaking around.
There was another team. Chipper.
Yeah, there was another team.
And if you can wipe out the other team, then no one will know if they did the hit or not. You can claim that you did it.
You betray. Yeah. Like, you choose to betray and steal the money.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they did do the Kane and Lynch, you know, like that multiplayer is kind of what we're talking about, just on a bigger team.
Like if the golf instructor just all of a sudden like was doing his thing and then just took out a gun and shot another person and just started running.
The thing is, like, golf ball that would never be how it would happen, because it would always be you would see someone bumble into a room and bump into a character. And
so I think what you'd have to have is a button you can hold down to go into like AI cycle. That would be like
follow the path.
Yeah, like run, like hold down a button and you go into a routine.
Automate the process of making you look like an AI.
Totally.
Yeah.
The cruise control for AI.
Yeah, like fall into line and like, oh, just run your path. Hey, everybody, how's it going? And then you could take control.
Oh, God.
What if you could jump into any AI?
It's like Driver San Francisco.
What if you pull it out to where it is some kind of cyber world motif, and like you can kind of pick which AI you jump into,
and you piggyback on that person for a while until you take full control.
Right.
Okay.
At that point, like, you know, it'd be easy to get close to your targets, and it's a pretty different game at that point.
Yes.
But
you need a gun that can shoot like a bullet that takes over people. So you can snipe somebody.
Okay. You want to hack people's brains with bullets.
Their brains.
You want to mind jack. You want this to be mind jack 2.
Hitman 2030.
But you have a limited amount of ammo. So like, I've got 6 bullets in my soul stealing gun.
Yes.
So I need to make sure I know where I'm going here.
Hitman.
But it's multiple teams that are in there. So if you were to hit one of the other team members with the control
they explode.
Then you can take over their voice chat. And like.
You have to do their voice.
And you have to,
hey guys,
my mom is in the other room. We should go this way.
Sorry guys, I got a frog in my throat. I'm just starting to sound normal. I'm just anyway. I'm definitely on your team. I'm definitely your team member.
They've done eavesdrop on enemy communication stuff in like Call of Duty. That was a Call of Duty perk.
But the Division had something like that too, where you could like hear other people talking if you were in proximity.
Yes, there's proximity voice. Other games have definitely done that.
Oh man, The Division. That's a game I haven't thought about.
That survival mode sounds like it's interesting. Like it sounds like that they have like
they overhauled like a bunch of.
They definitely unfucked some stuff in that game.
Yeah, for sure. They've unfucked that game to the point where I think that they deserve another big shot at it. Well, whatever. That game did well enough that they'll keep supporting it, right? But I don't know. I don't know that I want to play the survival mode, but it sounds really cool in terms of just like be out there in New York and it's fucked.
We should come out.
Yeah.
It's great.
Hit the streets.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm divisioning over here.
I'm just doing it. Unfucking it.
Yeah. You're just closing one car door at a time.
That's just your life.
What else?
What else is emails? Let's read some emails.
What?
Jason was not ready.
Catch him sleeping.
Too late. Bombcast.
Okay.
Giantbomb.com.
Here we go. You guys ready for emails?
Yeah.
I'm gonna play some
I'm over it.
music for emails. Here we go.
Let's read some emails. Bombcast.com. Yes. All right. First email comes in from Chris. He says, my buddy and I were talking about how I used to be scared shitless by Sinistar. And then in a fit of nostalgia, I went to go watch some YouTube of it. Turns out it's still terrifying.
Yep.
Please rank the top 10 greatest arcade cabinets of all time. I'm not gonna,
What?
I know it's a little bit of a non sequitur.
Yeah, there's a bit of a thread there.
I'm not going to make you come up with a list of 10, but let's hear it.
On look, like
I
the
think
design of the cabinet.
No, I think it's open to interpretation, but like I think that Sinistar is a good example of like it just like when it came out, it did something fucking weird and unexpected that arcade games didn't do, right? Because it spoke to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was not the first game with speech, but like it was specifically the way it talked and the way Sinistar flew onto the screen that was fucked up.
Yeah.
Because Sinistar moves fast, and once Sinistar gets built, it's alive even if you start blowing up parts of it with Cinnebombs.
Is Sinistar one of the? Is that the Joust Sinistar Defender chipset thing? That like, it's just the ROMs are different. They all use the same boards.
Sinistar is of that same era. I don't know if the boards are all identical, but also Sinistar was a 49-way stick, so there's a lot of there's some control differences you'd have to account for.
It might be Robotron Defender, Joust, and Sinistar. You have to put in maybe a different voice or a sound chip in, and you could swap the ROMs
like
out.
Bubbles is another one.
Maybe. I remember there's a set where I was like,
same era
for my cabinet, for my Joust cabinet. It's like, oh, you can do ROM swap these, but you know,
definitely like Defender, Robotron, Stargate.
Some like there's like a set of 4 or something like that. But the controllers for you'd have to mess around with them. APB had a cool cabinet.
That was the first one I thought of. The very first one I thought of.
Yeah. We were talking Major Havoc has a cool cabinet, or it came in 2 cabinets, but there was one that was like this kind of slick little form factor.
The Area 51 cabinet for some reason comes to mind as something that always drew my attention.
I thought of Operation Wolf.
Okay.
The X-Men 6-player.
Yes.
Yeah.
Environmental Discs of Tron.
I was just going to say Discs of Tron.
Yeah, totally.
It was one of my favorites.
I mean, Afterburner, just because that thing was like of its time.
Totally.
It was a crazy full motion cabinet. Well, it rocked. That was cool.
Sure. Yeah. That and Space Harrier.
Yeah.
Like there was a sit down Space Harrier.
Daytona.
I'm not going to say it's in any way a good game, but Time Traveler
Oh yeah,
it was pretty awesome when you saw it.
Coliseum,
the holographic
those
game.
2 hologram fighting games are killer.
A tiny 4-inch by 4-inch holographic screen. Sure.
Yeah. I've been spending more time than anyone should thinking about Laserdisc games lately.
Try me. Laserdisc games are amazing.
Okay, great. Yeah, awesome.
They're fantastic.
Well, I'm glad we solved that debate.
Have you ever played Cube Quest?
No.
Yeah, it's like a trackball game. It was like a tube shooter, like Tempest without the like Tempest, but like you could kind of move anywhere on the screen.
An
I
arcade
guess.
game?
Yeah.
Oh no.
And then there was a Laserdisc video of like trippy pre-rendered computer backgrounds. Yeah, okay. You remember the fucking like The Mind's Eye, those VHS tapes that were just like, check out this trippy animation.
Yeah.
The stuff from this game eventually made its way onto one of those tapes years later.
Really?
To give you any indication of like what that shit looks like.
Was it like a limited release thing? I've never seen this.
So yeah, Cube Quest there was not a wide distribution, but my arcade happened to have it.
Oh wow.
And then I recently played a bunch of it as part of my Extra Life stream. And going back to that thing after years later, just like, oh man, this thing's so fucking weird.
I wish Laserdiscs took off. Giant, big
Discs. Oh, just the discs
silver
themselves?
discs.
Yeah. No.
They still would look like future things.
It's like a cyber record.
Yeah.
I only had one friend growing up that had a Laserdisc player.
I didn't know anybody
It was
that
the
had
most
one.
fascinating thing.
And you just kept telling him to get Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Gotta check this out.
Yeah, dude.
God, what was the I think the one movie we ever watched on Laserdisc might have been like Speed.
Good choice.
Yeah.
I think I watched CB4 on a Laserdisc.
The best of all movies.
I bought those, despite never having owned a Laserdisc player in my life. I bought those Star Wars THX reissues on a Laserdisc when they were like $10 a piece.
You own them?
They were like $10 a piece on clearance somewhere, and I was like, those might be worth something someday. So I've got them somewhere.
And they kind of are, aren't they? Because aren't those the last versions that were not all fucked up?
Yeah, I think so. They're still in the shrink wrap, so maybe.
Right. Yeah, maybe you should check.
Yeah.
Lucky and Wild's a cool cabinet, I guess. That's a big honking thing.
I was still thinking about Laserdisc games. I was watching someone captured the Laserdisc for Gallagher's Gallery. Gallagher, the comedian, light gun.
I can already
game.
tell
Gallagher
where this is
1?
going.
Gallagher 1?
I would assume that Gallagher 1
Probably
would feel
Gallagher
that
1.
the video game was important enough for his time.
Yes,
but who can
yes.
say? And it was like, that there's a video of that full Laserdisc or most of it sitting on YouTube that I recommend you track down and watch.
What is it? Him just holding up letter blocks and be like,
Well,
Fox!
no. A lot of it is like it's
him
How
going
crazy!
On, it's just
It
him
is-
going on political rants.
Yeah, no, it's like him pretending to run like a electronics repair store. Like, or you can fix them yourself with one of these. And he holds up a gun, and so
Like
it's
a
like
gun?
Yeah, because it's a light gun game. You're shooting a TV,
I see.
then making it blow up. But then it's like he does the setup, and then he comes on camera to say like, "Are you shooting at the right target?" Or what are you doing? I think the end of the game is you trying to shoot his hammer to keep him from hitting a watermelon.
Oh, to stop him.
I didn't
To
go.
keep
but
him.
He's
I
a
didn't
villain.
go watch it. I don't know. Yeah.
And then
I mean, he
you
is the
become
villain.
Gallagher too.
Yeah,
Once you
are-
stop
yeah,
him.
it pulls back, and the reveal is that you've been Gallagher 2 this whole time.
That's actually how Gallagher 2 was made.
Gallagher
Yeah.
2 actually became Gallagher 1, and now Gallagher 3 is Gallagher 2.
Formed in the
He's like the-
watermelon fires.
He's like the noob Cybot of
Yeah,
Gallagher.
they don't talk about it. Everyone says like, oh, the classic Gallagher he looked like Henry Rollins for a while.
Right,
and then
right.
Put the mask
Gallagher
back on,
with the
this whole
scar.
thing,
Yeah.
Yeah. Gallagher.
Yeah, Gallagher's Gallery.
Okay.
Go watch some chunk of that YouTube video. Just skip around in it for a while and enjoy that.
Holy
Actually,
hell.
I really like watching just the Laserdisc footage,
Just
from
like
those
raw.
games. Yeah,
Just with like big like cuts in between,
Right.
just the next section.
yeah. 'Cause you get to see how the sausage is made because you get to see all the different shots of fucking Dirk the Daring falling into a skeleton over and over again,
Yeah.
with slightly different backgrounds behind him, and yeah, it's just fucking weird.
Is Thunder in Paradise CDI?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
That's not a Laserdisc.
Right.
No.
We
It's a
now
disc,
have a
but-
Laserdisc concept page on the site because
Yeah.
I spent some time over the weekend
Okay.
thinking about Laserdisc games, and I was like, okay, we need to.
What a like. They were always broken.
Yep.
There was always like it's not working.
That was a big part of the problem is that Laserdisc players are super expensive and really finicky
Yeah.
at the time. So in the 80s, a lot of that shit broke down. By the time we got to the 90s and it was like American Laser Games making like Mad Dog McCree and that sort of stuff, like the tech was, I think, slightly less finicky, but still,
And also on its way out.
yeah, still
That's a shame.
garbage. Or like, whatever, CD-ROMs came along, like the idea of like, hey, you can store 27 minutes of video on this gigantic disc that's going to break down. Like at some point, like I think even you can replace a Laserdisc player with a hard drive in a lot of these cabinets
Sure.
nowadays. And now people are replacing hard drives. Like in like my NFL Blitz cabinet, you could replace that hard drive with an SD card if you wanted to.
Nice. Technology.
Yeah, right. Anyway, I don't know. Nice looking cabinets. I don't know. Like
I think we covered some ground
computer
there.
space was really crazy. The sit down Space Harrier I thought was always real cool.
There was a
Good
sit-down
list.
Star Wars.
You guys came up with a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, there's some good stuff in there.
I'm trying to think of anything that had more of a gimmick in it.
There was the there's the
that
old,
prop cycle one.
Oh
Do you
yeah,
guys
prop
remember that?
cycle. Yeah.
Was it prop cycle?
Yeah.
Is that what it was
Yep.
called? Okay.
I've never seen one in person, but I used to look at them in magazines. What was it called? R360.
Yeah.
Did you ever see one of those?
Are those the orbs you get in?
Yeah,
And,
it's
those
the-
are great.
the
I did one in
giant,
Vegas once.
like
Yeah.
gyroscopy looking thing.
Yeah.
There's an old timey Atari. I think Atari made it. It's like you're driving a fire truck, and so it's a sit down cabinet the way all those driving games were in the day, Turbo and all that other stuff. You're sitting down, except then at the back of the cabinet there is another steering wheel.
Oh wow!
Because you're driving the rear
ladder
end of
or
the,
the-
of
oh,
the
okay.
fucking of the
So you're swinging
fire
it
truck.
around?
So you
Yeah.
both have to steer
That's
in
cool.
tandem. It's really crazy. I mean, I think that's game might have been like late 70s or something like it's very crude, obviously, but like there was always something about like that idea of two people having to steer in tandem that at the time like there was nothing else like it. It was a really weird cabinet.
There was a pinball-ish thing that had like a flat table, but it had a mirror that made the pinball look like it was floating up.
Yeah.
And like I saw the California Extreme, and it was a really weird thing because it looked like every time you hit the ball, it looked like it was kind of defying gravity because it's just
Yeah.
reflecting back
That
up
stuff's
and moving
really
around.
cool,
and that
really
was
weird.
freaky.
Yeah. There's the Joust pinball table that is 2-player.
I don't know if I ever
Like
saw
so, it's
that.
like it's almost like a
Is it like a
cocktail
sit-down cabinet?
It's like
Okay.
a sit-down cocktail cabinet, and then it's almost like competitive pinball or something. You have flippers at both ends, and players are playing. I think
you're
it was-
playing
ooh,
Joust?
I think
Double
it was-
solitaire.
I think it was Joust. I think it's Joust themed. Yeah. That thing is always a California Extreme, and it's really weird.
It's the weird arcade punch out.
we actually hit the
yeah.
thing.
That's just Punch Out. Like to me,
Yeah, but you gotta grab the stuff.
What do you,
Well, when I think of punch out, it's NES.
yeah, but
And
when
so
I think
you
of,
think
when
of the
I
arcade
think of
one?
Punch Out, I think of the arcade game first, and then like when that game came out, like Mike Tyson's Punch Out is a very different,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
way better game.
Yes.
Yes.
But at the time, it was like, why isn't he a grid? This sucks.
body blow.
Like,
Body
what
blow.
the fuck? It doesn't talk. Like, yeah, there was a lot
Body
of,
blow.
like, the characters are so small. Like, okay, it still has Bald Bull. That's cool. But, like, I think of like big, blocky ass Bald Bull.
Or
That
guy
fucker
with-
is
that guy with
scary.
the jug.
Yeah.
Straps.
That's Super Punch Out.
Yeah. Then there was an arcade Super Punch Out that had some of the guys that made it to SNES Super Punch Out at some point, too. But,
There was a
some
Street
differences.
Fighter 1 that just had one big
Two
punch.
big buttons.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
it
was
one
like
big one
one
punch,
yeah.
one
Pressure
kick.
sensitive kind
Yeah,
of.
Street Fighter 1 is a very weird thing to try and go back and play.
Oof. Game is rough.
Huge surprise that like those buttons were broken all the fucking time because people would just pound the shit out of it.
Eventually, they just made it a 6-button thing.
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
Yep.
Yeah.
And here we are, Street Fighter 5. Works great.
Yeah. 6 buttons.
Didn't need a fucking story mode back in the arcade.
Pressure sensitive
Jesus.
internet connection is what destroyed that.
That's right.
The servers, you have to hit the fucking button real hard to reboot them.
We had one story. It was beat up bison. That was all we needed.
Yep.
All right. Next email comes in from Oscar.
Hi, Oscar.
In 2008, Jeff and Ryan were discussing how filthy bathroom walls can be. Jeff mentioned how he has an Ocean's 11 poster in his bathroom, so my question is, does Jeff still have the poster in the bathroom, or if not, when did he take it down?
It's been down for a while.
It's almost 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah. No, that poster has not been up.
More importantly, what did you do with the poster afterwards?
It's probably rolled up and thrown in my garage with like a zillion other movie posters.
I mean, it's been in a bathroom, so no one would possibly want it now.
Yeah.
Was it framed or just...
No, it was just
Okay.
stapled up to that thing.
So was it like maybe a little to get wet probably at some point?
I mean, that was the bathroom where showers were taken, so it would definitely would have gotten
some moisture.
Moisture, yeah.
A little wrinkly. All right. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
There's your update. Joe writes in with a question about the Game Awards. He says, why are the Game Awards in December? Wouldn't it make more sense to hold the awards in January or February so you can include all of the games released in 2016? Because of this, you won't see any nominations for The Last Guardian, Watch Dogs 2, or Final Fantasy 15 until the next Game Awards, if at all.
Everyone's got to pick a cutoff. You know, why, the better question is, why does it matter?
Awards.
Yes, why do any of these awards matter? It's a great question.
Like December is probably a good time to do that for the other reason the show exists, which is to do all the marketing stuff for showing these trailers and all that other stuff.
Some might say the primary reason.
It's like, yeah. I mean, to have a hit in December, because in January it's already too late because stuff's already getting ready to ship. Like all your Q1 stuff is like ready for takeoff.
It's the end of the year.
Yeah.
It's the end of the
It's
year.
the end of the year. Yeah.
Hey, let's look back at the year.
Yeah.
I think it makes
It's naturally when people are thinking about that sort of stuff, and it's fine.
Yeah. It's not a perfect solution, but kind of have to just pick a time and go with it.
Yeah.
Keith writes in from Ireland. I came across an interesting video recommended to me on my YouTube page. A 4-minute cutscene of Snake and Eva escaping from the Shagohod re-rendered in the Fox engine.
Ooh.
The results are quite gorgeous and make me wish this was a full, complete console game. I don't think he actually mentions this in the body of the email, but that's from that
That's
Pachinko.
the Pachinko thing.
That's from that weird ass
numerous scenes from the game.
Metal Gear Pachinko game.
It does look great.
My question for you guys, particularly Dan, if you guys could hypothetically have Kojima and Konami come to an agreement and reboot one MGS game with the powerful Fox engine, which would it be? I would personally love to see MGS2 get a visual and technical makeover, as it's the Metal Gear game that made me fall in love with the series, and I feel like it's one of the most underrated.
Are we talking purely visual?
I was gonna say,
don't
like,
know.
why does
It does
Kojima
games
have
look
to be in
good.
there?
Yeah,
Wouldn't Konami just be able to do that?
The voice stuff is
could.
all recorded,
they could totally do that
I think
without
the
him.
premise he's going with is that he would just like to have Kojima involved because that would be really nice.
Okay.
But just the visuals,
Get
we're
Dennis
talking about like a
Dyack.
total
He's already
remake.
experienced at remaking Metal Gear games.
True.
Don't get Dennis Dyack.
I like the Twin Snakes.
I would think
Twin
3.
Snake's all right.
I would think 3.
Although 3 would
Although,
probably benefit the most from
Yeah.
because it was 30 frames a
environments and
second.
stuff.
Yeah.
Well, but they did do the 60 frames for the
Yeah.
collection.
With all the outdoor shit in 3,
Right.
the way that stuff worked in 5.
Yeah.
Like 5 seems to
Because
line
like
up.
Yeah.
2 is just like a bunch of orange hexagons.
Yeah, like
You
there's
know?
no like
Yeah.
at some point are you just like, is he asking, man, which game would you most like to see have
What's
a
your favorite
hire
Metal
poly
Gear?
snake?
I guess so.
So that's
Yeah.
like.
I think the answer is 3
Yeah.
on all fronts,
Yeah.
basically.
I think actually I would probably say the NES game because it would benefit. The most.
Yes, it would
Like,
definitely
that
Probably
that
would,
would,
yeah.
that would be the most interesting to see remade.
Especially the way that 5 is positioned in the series.
Yeah.
Like leading right into that.
Actually, if they did 1 again, I think it would be cool to see 1 with modern stuff. Because like
Are you talking
Twin
about,
Snakes
I'm
is such
talking
a
about
different
metal,
thing.
like
I'm talking
metal,
about Solid.
Oh, who cares?
Exactly.
That game's already been made and the game they already did it.
Yeah, but in a weird way.
What if they did one full 3D, same treatment, but kept all the mechanics and puzzles the same?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, why not?
Metal Gear Acid 2 was never fully realized because they came with the 3D glasses,
Yeah.
but man, they really
It
needs to be
VR.
in VR.
Yeah.
Man.
to really.
That's a good dark horse candidate.
Y'all are living in the past. Metal Gear's over. It's done. It's old hat. Death Stranding. That's the future.
Yeah.
Sure.
Fucking whales.
It's true.
Yeah.
Fucking whales.
Yes, fucking
Oh, yeah.
whales.
That
Is
could
that
be
where
in-
that baby
could-
came from?
That could be in the game.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
That's the future.
Okay, then.
Don't live in the past.
Eric has a quick question. Is Johnny Cash's Ring of Fire ska? Thanks in advance for your answer.
Absolutely not.
No.
Just because it has a horn in it doesn't mean it is.
Yeah.
That
that's
is an
not what it
outlaw
Almost-
country song.
Almost all ska has horns. Not everything with horns is ska.
Okay, sure. Yeah, Outlaw Country. That's a good.
Yeah.
That's a good label for
That's,
that.
that's
what
the
it
name
is.
of a satellite radio station.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
All
It's
right.
basically
They
Rebel
play-
Radio on
Yeah.
in San
Where
Andreas.
they play bullshit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Waylon.
Hey,
These all
old
sound-
country's all right. Old
These all
country's
sound
all
like
right.
90s PlayStation games.
Yeah.
Because you remember Outlaw Country?
Oh, Outlaw Country. Yeah, it was
Remember
a
that?
weird open world tennis game. It's weird, like, I don't
You had to
know.
like drive a dune buggy around.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
You had to drive from tennis game to tennis game and play.
Smuggle drugs.
Yeah,
from
I
tennis
could,
game to
roll
tennis game.
you roll that dune buggy pretty easily. It's like you think the Mako's bad. Shit.
It is pretty bad.
Beach tennis. This really never took off.
Right.
That was called Bloodwake.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dom writes in from Staten Island.
Hey.
I just started my career and I now need to travel back and forth between Staten Island and New York every day. I was considering buying a Vita for myself for Christmas so I have something to play once I've depleted my podcast reserves. What games do you recommend? I pretty much play everything.
I mean, I think if you can get a Vita cheap enough, sure.
You think?
There's enough cross-buy stuff that I think it's worth it to have it.
That's
But
a
cross-buy
tough-
stuff
that's a
and
tough sell.
classics and stuff. You want to put, the first Resident
M&S.
Evil or
Well,
something on there.
actually, to be fair, I've seen a bunch of deals floating around on Vitas recently
Yeah.
for like, what, $60, $80?
yeah, that's
in some
totally
places.
worth it.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean,
Maybe
the amount
100
of stuff you can get on that platform is
Maybe
worth
those may have been
$80.
used actually now that I think about it, but like I think the Vita is kind of reaching like clearance territory, right?
yeah.
I mean, look, it's
we'll,
been
we'll see how this weekend goes.
yeah.
Yes.
No one
Will
is
Geo get up there and announce a Vita game?
no one is suggesting that the Vita is due for a resurgence. We're just saying
Yeah.
if you can get it cheap enough, there's stuff on
Yeah,
there.
I think it's but like be very realistic about the future of the Vita if you're going to jump in.
But just keep in mind, most of the games you're going to buy for that thing are going to be games you can cross-buy for other
Yeah.
platforms.
That being said, that's a hell of a platform.
There's
like
good stuff.
hardware. I
The
really
hardware's
like the
great.
Vita hardware.
Yeah.
That screen on there is, yeah.
that's
They
a nice. The
occasionally
screen is nice.
Well, a lot,
On the-
of,
on
the,
the
a lot of
first
the
one,
ones,
yeah.
I was going to say, a lot of these $60 ones or
That's
units
the
you're likely to
second-
find these days are not going to have that screen.
That's true.
Uh,
I still got my OG. I love it. Yeah.
The Mortal Kombat 9 port to Vita was actually really good.
Yeah, it was
They had
solid.
that whole extra like challenge tower and everything.
Mhm.
I thought that was
It
really
worked.
good. Yeah.
And it always felt solid. It felt like a slab.
Yeah.
Like a nice
Yeah.
solid
Yeah.
slab.
I'm just trying to think what would I get a Vita for? Like what Vita games would I
For-
want to play on a Vita? If you're
For a
winding
commute,
it to
like
the
if you're
full-
playing like what is it, Rogue
Legacy.
Legacy,
That's great
that
on
works
there.
great.
Darkest Dungeon, Axiom Verge, like it's
Yeah.
basically like
Salt and Sanctuary's coming
Rayman,
out on
yeah,
Vita's
Vita
good
soon.
on
Salt
there.
Sanctuary is almost out. Like it is basically the cross-buy indie game
That's
platform
the thing though. Is
to
like
me.
like those are all games I would rather play somewhere else.
That's fine.
Well,
yeah.
if you're talking
But
Vita
yeah,
exclusive, then
cross-save.
Yeah, like-
fucking nothing.
That's the
you're
thing.
right.
Is like what would you get a Vita for to play?
that you can
like,
only play on Vita.
Yeah.
Frobisher
Nothing.
says.
Yeah, I love
Like
Frobisher
the
says.
original Gravity Rush, which no, you can still get that,
Yeah.
a remaster
Yeah.
of that, I think.
And also, I don't know that I would recommend that.
yeah, that's not a
on
great
any
game.
platform.
Tearaway, which is also on PS4. Like
Tearaway
there's
is
nothing.
good.
I like Tearaway, but
Severed was good.
but you can play it on a phone.
Disgaea,
you know?
Frobisher says.
Persona 4 Golden is still
Again,
like the
we're not-
best version of that game.
you
This is
go.
not a resounding recommendation. It's if you can get it cheap enough and it makes sense for what you want to play, then sure.
Right.
Yeah, like if you've got a commute, you need to fill. Like
Yeah,
there are
that's
games, but I
what
guess
he's
like
asking
you need
about.
to consider like we don't know how many of these games he may have played on another platform. And that sort
Exactly.
of stuff. So
Let me tell you about books. You can read them. That's a good way to spend some time on a commute.
Yeah.
silently stare ahead of you and just think about your lot in life.
Unless there's a person directly in front of you, in which case stare slightly above their eye line.
Yeah.
The ads above them.
Yeah. Don't
Yeah.
look them in the eye.
Yes.
Never look a commuter in the eye.
Avoid eye contact at all costs. Chris from Florida. Since Dishonored 2 launched with no reviews, I figured I would wait a week to see what kind of scores it got. Since I had already waited a week, I figured I might as well wait one more to see if it went on sale for Black Friday. It did, and I just picked it up for $35. Since it got good reviews and I'm a fan of the series, I gladly would have paid $60 on launch day. What do you think? Did Bethesda's plan regarding reviews backfire?
I don't know. We haven't seen, I don't know,
Yeah.
sales or any of that sort of stuff. Like
Yeah.
drawing direct like lines between review scores and availability to sales like has never really quite existed.
Yeah, it's,
So
not quite a one-to-one.
Yeah, the
like
day-
there could be, right?
Word,
Like
word of mouth has an effect.
Yeah.
certainly, but it's like it can still be kind of nebulous. I think the thing we're seeing more is like you see more and more publishers talking about their week launch is like, it's got a long tail. Like Ubisoft came out about Watch Dogs and said that. And sure enough, I think the second week of Watch Dogs in some territories at least was
Much better
than launch week, but it was also Black Friday. So maybe that had the actual impact.
It's their launch window.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see if like day one sales really take a backseat and don't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Or like will sale tracking just completely blow up because no one is combining physical and digital the way that they need to tell the whole story or whatever.
Yeah.
There's been some interesting stuff like floating around lately talking about like is this like is are big games done because they aren't moving the way they used to and all this sort of stuff.
Like the same conversation was taking place like 4 or 5 years ago or something as the consoles transitioned.
Right.
Did you guys talk about the GameStop earnings call or their investment call?
No.
They basically say it's same thing that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Is it tough? Can you judge the industry by how a physical media store sold through on big games, or are people moving away and buying digital? They had
and keep in mind that like,
worse than expected stuff.
And GameStop is going to be double impacted by digital sales because that's used games that aren't going back to GameStop that are then being flipped into new sales.
Right.
Like, is that the thing that is actually destroying these week one physical sales? Is like people buying digital or buying other games digitally and then not being able to flip them into used game money and turning that into other stuff. Like there's
it's a different economy.
Yeah, totally. There are so many different moving parts on this stuff that like I think it's going to take some time for people to kind of wrap their minds around like what is the video game industry, what is the expectation for sales and all this other stuff as they kind of charge forward into more and more of the digital stuff.
Yeah.
It was crowded out there for a while in that AAA space, quote unquote AAA, with Gears, Titanfall, Battlefield, Call of Duty.
Felt like old times for a little bit.
It was
yeah,
dense.
For a hot second.
Yeah, but like then, kind of gone again.
Yeah.
It was all October.
Yeah.
Yeah.
October and then like early November.
Yeah.
Which, that's when it always is still. But
Usually I feel like you see more in mid-November than we've seen this year.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels like everything kind of cleared out.
And September is usually like maybe a little bit hotter.
Yeah.
Or just a little bit more packed. It's not
The
necessarily the quality of the
post-Madden
game.
window,
But yeah, like whatever. Big games are expensive and they aren't necessarily always returning on investment the way they used to. So it's like that has to be at least slightly spooky for people that are out there making the Call of Duties of the world and that sort of stuff. Like not only for whatever issues Call of Duty may have as this kind of aging franchise, but just generally speaking, like are people interested in those types of games anymore? The same way they used to be. Like what are people interested in? And then you start to go pulling back out into games as a service, Overwatch, things that like people are going to play for a year or more instead of buying games, getting out there and going like, well, I bought this year of DLC for, I don't know, Destiny, The Division, like whatever. And so they're going to focus on playing that nonstop with their friends and not buy the 5 games they probably would have bought instead.
Right.
So that's only going to lead to more of that. And you want to talk about the death of the single player game. That's probably how it happens, is like, it's not that everyone goes like, oh, multiplayer is going to be the thing that keeps people from selling it back used. That's not the issue. It's we need to get them to buy our game and get them to monetize additionally in our game so that they buy some skins and buy some of this and buy some of that to make up for the lost revenue we get by not selling 9 different games in this fiscal year.
But that sort of happened with Season Pass and DLC for single player games, where it's like, oh, hey, you buy this game. We're not going to raise the prices of games. We're going to make you put $40 down when you buy the game. Additionally, if you want to get
the whole thing,
right? If you want to get all in on the rest of the content,
and then there was a story. Gosh, I wish I remember where it was. I want to say it was a GamesIndustry.biz story that there was quotes from Ubisoft saying like, yeah, compulsory DLC is not going to happen anymore for these types of games because people just don't don't want it. And you have cases where like Titanfall, all the maps are free. Like Gears, all the maps are free, and they have additional options for cosmetics and stuff like that.
So what would that mean? That means like when you say compulsory DLC, you mean like we're not guaranteeing having like a tail on the content for these games,
or they're going to do it where it makes sense, not just to do it.
Like it wouldn't be a mandate within.
Because I think they're finding that like that's not helping people stick around on a game.
Oh wow.
I mean, to be fair, that like a lot of that stuff has sort of poisoned the well because a lot of that long tail DLC has generally been pretty bad. Like, you know, like a lot of that Assassin's Creed DLC, for instance, was like pretty worthless.
And it's been stuff that's got come along so late that you've moved on.
Yeah.
Like Assassin's Creed is usually not a game that is going to be the game you play for a year, and adding 2 more story bits over the course of the year isn't the thing that pulls you back.
Yeah, I don't think they ever. I feel like there was some stuff in the Ezio campaign that was pretty good, hit or miss.
There was one,
and especially the way that
pieces of
they
decent.
handled it was by inserting things back into the story, not something that took place after you had finished
It was
it.
like
but,
missing chapters.
Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
at that point, you had already forgotten what was going on, and it was just weird.
But stuff like The Witcher, I think, did it really well.
Right.
Where they did like post-campaign DLC.
well,
that was,
because
like,
those DLCs are like telling their own self-contained
and they were
stories.
very
right?
big, and
Right.
like they're like, oh, the continuing adventures here.
Like,
It's
you
like,
can tell the effort-
that's like Left Behind.
Yeah, the effort was put into those things not because they needed to be monetized, but because those were the individual stories they wanted to be able to tell outside of that main quest line.
Yeah,
And,
the
if,
main
and if
story.
you make them really well, then they'll sell. You have a good
Yeah.
reason to be making it, and you're putting the effort into it. Like that seems like that'll translate into people going like, oh, maybe I do want to
but
see
to,
this.
to be fair, like the Witcher 3 is a incredibly high bar
Yes.
for like storytelling and writing, and like
and
their
that's a-
DLCs are just going to be better for world building
But
and
Mass
stuff.
Effect
than-
had very good
Mass Effect was
DLC.
another example of
Minerva's Den.
doing it well.
Yes,
Yeah.
it can be done well. It just so
second best
often
DLC that year.
isn't.
But you know, and then you have multiplayer games where you have developers now realizing that paid DLC splits the player base in really negative ways, and so they have to figure out ways around that. Call of Duty is still selling it this year.
the way around that are loot boxes.
Yeah.
Right.
Crates.
I mean, yes, you are 100% right. Like Overwatch or cosmetics. Like that's the thing that Titanfall is about to do tomorrow. Is
Yeah.
the first map goes out to people that pre-ordered the game, and 3 days later, I think everybody else gets it. But then also it's not loot boxes. It's they're rolling out a store for cosmetics.
Oh, so you don't get blind chests or anything like that?
No,
Okay.
No, it's like, hey, do you want this skin? You can pay for this
I
skin.
think I
What?
would much rather have that.
Yeah, totally.
Well, it just seems so crazy nowadays. Well, you can just buy the thing
yeah,
you want.
Right, I know.
Is it exclusive skins that you can only pay real money for, or is it like, hey, do you want this red and black one?
They are not adding a grind currency. They are. Hey, we are adding some skins if you want to buy them. Maybe some pilot executions or something like that. And then there's also in-game changes, but that's free. That stuff's not part of this.
But stuff that you can't get as like an advocate gift or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And so I think that's, I mean, especially in the multiplayer landscape, like, yeah, it's either loot boxes or something that says like, hey, anyone can play all the content here, because once we start selling maps, then you have to build the cases for like, here's the person who didn't buy the maps.
Yeah.
There are only 12 of you, so we're never going to be able to match you up well enough. And then here are all the people that buy the maps, and they're over here, or maybe they only bought map pack 2, but not 1 and 3. And that ruined a lot of matchmaking over the years. So
I think Battlefield ran into some of that.
Yeah.
Where like
oh, you can't be on this server.
They-
Not
all-
because it's
all
even
the
on the
players
map
went
from
there.
DLC,
Yeah.
but yeah, and then all the players who bought premium or whatever, they
Yeah.
all went there. So if you didn't have that shit, you were like,
Right.
what? Sorry. All that stuff has had to transition, and I think the multiplayer stuff is finding the right place. And like Titanfall is actually one of the first cases where I thought about it. Like cosmetics usually I don't care about, but in that game, like I had thought about it when like, oh wait, I actually already spent fucking $20 on some skins in that game because I went to fucking eat food to get a code, and the food sucked. So it was really just like it was extra money I had to pay in terms of a soul tax.
there's a definitely a story to be told about the hidden costs of games. I'm sure people have written it up already, but like, when you talk about a locked in at $60 or $50 price, and then talk about like the stuff you're really paying for, which is you're paying to play online multiplayer on consoles, right? Like if you're going to play a multiplayer game on a console,
Right.
you've already kicked up $60 to Sony or Microsoft to get in on that multiplayer.
Yeah.
If you're buying map packs, if you're buying single player DLC, you're buying season pass stuff, we might have been at $60 for a while, but I feel like I'm paying more than that generally for games I really like.
Yeah, I'm putting more money into games I like and playing fewer games. I think that's the thing that we're talking about, and that's the thing that is destroying or has the potential to destroy a lot of what we know as the big budget games right now.
Or put stuff into games that feel more like hooks, that are like, come on, just give me a little bit more. And like that's where I think they're trying to make their money. The stuff that feels a little more like, you're going to lock that up, that feels weird. especially if you came from an age, which we all did, of this stuff where this was generally unlocks baked into a disc at some point. That was like, what's on the disc is what you get.
Hey, if you finish the game, you unlock no more skins. Hooray.
Yeah. Or this character, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, great, I can play as this character, but only if you beat the game. And so like I'm past that. Like I gave up that fight a long
the world
time.
changed.
Yeah.
It's not even a fight. It's like, hey, like we found another way to stabilize this and do this. Like,
we had that talk.
Yeah.
Like we were around for that talk of, hey, this should be baked into the game.
Yeah. That was the online pass talk. That was the EA selling cheats talk.
Right.
That was the
like that was going from looking up cheat codes on the internet to paying for the cheat codes.
It was the day one DLC discussions.
Yeah. It was like the best party member in Mass Effect 3 being a fucking $10 DLC add-on.
And that's fucked up. Like there are ways to in a game that is like bad and feels like it's missing content without that stuff. That's the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, I feel like that's like the people that have been doing this, the publishers, the developers that have been doing this have been okay about that stuff. Where I feel
better.
like there have not been as many games where you go like, man, this game feels like it's missing a huge chunk that they happen to be selling.
There have been those games.
There have
Like
been
Arkham City or something with the Catwoman stuff.
Well, but like that Catwoman stuff.
Wasn't
I mean,
that
The
good.
way they implemented it, I thought was shitty because you still saw the stuff in world and it was like weird, but like,
It's a whole character you're playing as, though, with her own like kind of specific story stuff.
but all that stuff was shit.
Yeah,
I mean, it wasn't
remember,
great, but
I remember
it
not
did
liking
seem
it. Like every time I had to
substantial.
play Catwoman, I just wanted to get back to being Batman.
Yeah. So like that stuff, like they yanking that out of the game, I actually think made for a better game.
Yeah.
But you still had the hooks in there, so it was like that was weird.
EA, I felt like really pushed the needle too far on a lot of that stuff. Like they seemed at the front of like selling
Online passes was them,
and like
that was them.
and like they're like I think it was like Need for Speed series where it was just I think it was Need for Speed where like the store was just like hubcaps and everything and like just buy all this stuff for money out of the game, like,
Accelerator pack, and
all that stuff, and they were real bad with pre-order bonuses for like Dragon Age and Mass Effect, where it was like
Different
Warner
retailers
Brothers really pioneered the what the fuck are these pre-order bonuses stuff. I feel like they were definitely the ones that were the most confused about.
I don't know. Dragon Age had like a spreadsheet you needed to look at to see like.
I mean, so did like every at least the last 2 or 3 Batman games. Yeah.
right.
I feel like some of that's course corrected, or maybe I've just become desensitized to it.
I think some of it is correct. Yeah, because I think that's like consumers have kind of spoken on a lot of that stuff, and that's why the business model has changed or is in the process of changing. To be more about like, hey, maybe we just put this stuff in the game and then sell you cosmetics. And
What was that gun club thing that EA did? Was that a pay to be
That
a
was
member of the gun club and get extra guns?
I thought that was more of a loyalty program.
Yeah.
Where if
Okay.
you bought all their shooters.
That's
I
like
got early access to stuff.
You got
Did you get the
something. I forget
beta?
what.
they used to do
early?
the old EA profile thing with their sports games, where it would
Right.
track all your stats
Yeah,
across
yeah.
like all the PS2 era sports
Yeah.
games and stuff. But then the gun club, I thought,
I think that was just them trying to apply that sports mentality to
Just-
Battlefield.
hey, you've played a lot of our shooters. Here's a bonus gun.
Yeah, but then at some point that just became like a Battlefield loyalty bonus of like, you played all these other Battlefield games, and so you got this dog tag.
Do they still
Yeah.
have their sports?
Yes,
club
they
thing?
still have sports.
They still make sports games.
Yeah.
But I don't know that they necessarily
Do they
join
s-
them together the same way that they used
No.
to. Because now it's like EA Access, and they.
Oh,
they
right.
they-
Okay.
At some
Forgot
point they were
about
like,
that.
"Oh, just pay us to play this game 3 days early."
What was the initial pitch for Elite? Was it the stat tracking? Could everyone access the stat tracking at the beginning?
Call of Duty Elite was a season pass plus the stat tracking,
And then
in its
eventually
first
they made
year.
the stat tracking free for
Yeah,
anyone,
yeah,
right? With
yeah.
the next one.
because Battlefield had free stat tracking,
Right.
and just made them look bad right out of the gate.
Yeah.
So they went, "Oh, all right, well."
It was like the app where you could change your loadout in the
Yeah.
grocery store line. Like that was for Elite only. Yeah.
And then they took
Those
all that
were really
stuff out.
wild times. The second screen experience times where everyone thought, man,
God.
people are just going to really want to be standing in
There's
line at
a-
the fucking grocery store
There's
looking at their guns.
There's a Battlefield 1 app that I'm pretty sure lets you change loadouts. Like, they're still
I think they patched that in also to the game where you can do it between.
really okay.
Yeah.
They also
so like
didn't
when
make
when
that-
I played it, it didn't
Yeah,
seem like
I
that was in there.
I think that might have got patched.
They also
Okay.
didn't make that a selling point. There was a period where like the second screen shit was very much like, oh man, this is going in the E3 presentation because this
Yeah.
is awesome, and it never was.
Like I bet on paper that makes sense, right? You got your phone. Like, why would you back out of a match? You could just fix your loadout on your phone. But like, that's not what I want to do.
no.
I think the only second screen experience I ever enjoyed was the Madden one where you could use the screen to basically dial up plays and all that stuff, so you didn't have to sit there in the menus like scrolling through stuff. You could just kind of use the touch screen to
It was
get through that
okay in
stuff.
Fallout 4 because it just gave you a bigger, better interface for inventory management, like better than their clunky menu stuff.
God, it was bad.
And
I really
Need for Speed had that thing where you, in the one that was all connected, you could like hurt or harm other people in your game. You could just like spend your points to like, oh, here, have some nitro, or here, have some spike strips thrown at you
from like your iPhone.
Yeah, and it barely worked at launch, and it didn't work at all at launch, and then they eventually got it under control. And then I spent time on it. I was like, why would anyone do this? It was like the multiplayer stuff was already such a poorly conceived idea in that game that it was just like, here are some strangers you can fuck with, and you won't really see what happens to them because you're not near them in the game. So you're just over here going, I don't know, here, have a helicopter. Fuck you. Like, just the dumbest thing.
I remember covering Ground Zeroes in Japan before it came out, and like all of my questions were about like, how big is this game? How does this tie into the Phantom Pain? Let's talk about story stuff. And they tried to steer every single question. Like, hey, the second screen app, I think that's really going to be, that should really be the cornerstone for your story. Like, you can call in Snake's helicopter from your iPad.
I don't
know. Like, yeah, but how is this game going to be more than 2 hours long? Like,
and it's any wonder Konami got out of video games.
Yeah.
There was that one where you play as Tingle and you like place bombs.
That was fun with the link cable. The Tingle tuner.
Yeah, that's cool.
That I'll stand by the Tingle
most
tuner.
excited I've ever heard a person be about the Tingle tuner.
The Tingle tuner was all right, and it took you to that island in Animal Crossing if you hooked up your GBA.
Yeah, you could go to the island and do stuff over there.
You do the Pac-Man thing.
That stuff was all right.
Yeah,
for what it was.
Islands are cool.
Yeah.
Wasn't there?
And then we got the Wii U out of that.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a story recently or something just came up where like Bobby Kotick is like the richest man in the world?
He's like one of the highest paid executives.
I think he's the highest paid
now.
executive in video games and one of the highest paid in the United States. Finally,
all right,
they got to retain him.
The kid made it.
It's about time Bobby Kotick had something good happen to him.
He's he's got the kill code to the World of Warcraft server, and like he can use it.
Okay,
he's the only one.
I mean, we'll see long term though, because like.
Right.
What they have right now basically is Call of Duty and World of Warcraft. Well, I mean, whatever. Blizzard is
the whole Blizzard machine.
Blizzard, like Hearthstone and Overwatch, obviously also printing money. Like Blizzard is just the golden goose or whatever.
That new Hearthstone expansion comes out on Thursday.
Yeah. But outside of Blizzard, I mean, like Call of Duty has been around for a while.
It's still doing quite well. But
I know
it's not
doing well,
but
it's not doing quite what it used to. But
hey, that Deadpool HD update, man, that really sealed it.
What I mean
Hawk
is like
5.
Yeah, obviously. You know, like for a long time, Call of Duty had Tony Hawk, and then they had Guitar Hero, and then they had Call of Duty. Like they had big thing after big thing,
and then last year they had Call of Duty, and then Guitar Hero and Tony Hawk.
Destiny.
So like, well, Destiny is seems pretty big, but I don't know that it's as big.
It made a lot of money out of the gate, and that's it made enough money to where when they put out that next thing, and then they put it on PC.
Yeah.
Also,
I mean, if Destiny 2 is as good as it could be, then maybe that is their next thing.
That was Destiny always seemed like it was coming along at the right time to be the thing that they jettison off all the resources onto as Call of Duty eventually,
like
does what it's going to do.
Maybe you're right. I hope so.
But if you
would like to see Destiny get better.
If you think about Destiny in terms of like what are major new IPs in the last 5 years,
that's up there.
Yeah,
that's way up there.
I think it is probably the top. Actually,
it's near the top. I mean, Overwatch
is fucking huge, of course.
I mean, it doesn't have the history that Destiny now has, but yes, I think Overwatch will be a long tail thing.
It's kind of a checkered history, but
But it's tough to think of new IPs that are like, this will probably go on to be a franchise.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Watch Dogs.
I think now they can because they actually made a good Watch Dogs game.
2 actually is good enough to set the table for them to continue.
I was very
Watch Dogs
ready.
1, a ton of people bought it, and it was disappointing.
Dishonored is now a successful franchise.
Sure. Yeah.
Is it?
I don't know if it's top tier, but it's recognizable.
I don't know how well it's selling.
I don't know how it's selling, but like the second one is being quite well received. So
I think Gears goes away for a while.
I feel like they just brought it back, and it's a new trilogy.
It sounds like they set up a 5, right?
Yeah, 4 sets up a 5 for sure,
pretty directly.
But that's probably like 2 years from now.
Yeah.
Well, obviously they need time to make another one, but I bet they do turn around and make a Gears 5.
Yeah, definitely.
Video game franchises, they're all over the place.
I mean, it's good that I like that Destiny is a fairly new one. Titanfall is a fairly new one. Overwatch, Watch Dogs. Like I'm tired of. I like Assassin's Creed a lot, but I'm tired of it. So
I'm grateful that there was a year off this year.
Even if Watch Dogs is the evolution of Assassin's Creed, it is nice to have a different
And it
game.
feels enough like its own thing to where it isn't just like, this is just filling the Assassin's Creed shaped hole in their schedule.
like take a break from Far Cry and Assassin's Creed and like sure, like let's go with some new.
Yeah, I think they're another company that probably needs to like come up with some more new stuff because their old stuff has been around a little too
a
long.
long time.
Yeah.
I mean, like talking like a decade.
Yeah, like
it's-
Assassins. I mean, they've got the movie coming out, so you could argue that that's maybe gonna
New launching point.
blow it up into something even bigger and weirder. But,
Well, I mean, so Syndicate had definitely laid some groundwork for them to finally go back into that weird ass meta plot and do some stuff. So we'll see with that. But I just feel like they are now ready to launch off and do some different shit. Hopefully with that series.
Yeah, I think we're in a pretty good spot.
I mean, Battleborn.
There's never been a better
Yeah,
time.
the biggest
Yes,
franchise.
of course.
Yes.
Biggest game of the year.
Maybe Nintendo had
Splatoon.
Splatoon.
Oh
That-
yeah.
which is
Yeah, they've done some stuff.
great.
I bet we'll see that in January when they show that new stuff.
Oh,
for the
sure.
Switch.
Oh, yeah.
we've got we missed it, but we have Mario Maker 3DS in
Yeah.
here, and
Have you started with it?
yeah,
We will. Yeah,
I'm gonna
you guys-
start that
it's,
soon.
it's everything you think it is.
You
It
guys,
is.
you guys,
Yeah.
you guys should sit down.
We'll sit down with it.
Sit down,
today
take a look at that.
or tomorrow and record something.
I think they make a proper sequel to that for the Switch at some point.
Yeah,
Not in the first year, but yes, I think they do.
I think they could.
Does it have a touchscreen? Did we ever confirm that?
That's I think
The
still
rumor is yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
I-
rumor is
out.
that yes, it does.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Which is a really insane concept.
But then it could be backwards
Yeah,
compatible.
I think the
and-
rumor was it was like a capacitance touchscreen, not a what is it? Like the pressure
Right.
one.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So it's
I don't think they do back compat. I think
Yeah,
they just
no.
make a new
not
thing.
even like Mario Maker. Well, at least they could do another Mario Maker.
yes,
that way,
that's
you know?
yes.
right. But also that that's just such a crazy idea because then you think about it in terms of like when it's docked, it has different functionality than when it's undocked.
Yeah.
Which to me, the whole point of the whole platform was to have the same experience regardless of where you are. So if to make Mario Maker levels, I can't do that. I have to undock to do that. Which
Because of the
that's not
touchscreen.
that
Yeah.
crazy. Is it?
it's crazy because it creates that situation where there are things you can't do when it's in one form factor versus the other. Which
Yeah.
to me, the whole initial pitch, hearing about it
Yeah.
a good long time
Is-
ago, was the whole thing was supposed to be everything you can do here, you can do here.
And I mean, that's how they've marketed it so
Yeah.
far. But like the fact that, like, you know, if one game comes out and it's like, oh, well, you can only do this part of it here. Like, I don't see
The
that
presence
being
of a
huge-
touch screen opens that up across the board
True.
in a way
If
that
you
Or
have
like
to have-
inventory management down here for Zelda or
exactly.
whatever.
Then
yeah.
like, what are we doing? Like at that point, like what is?
Yeah.
We'll see.
Do they sell a dumb tablet with a screen on it that you can use? No,
I don't
like
know.
pro controller.
It's the remote that came with your Vizio
yeah,
TV.
yeah, that thing's sweet. Yeah, I just like that thing.
mean,
that concept brings up so many questions and like adds a degree of misgiving to this whole thing.
All we have are questions right now.
if there are motion controls in the little orbit controllers, then you would just point at the screen at your TV, and then you kind of have a touch screen.
Excuse me,
that's
the
possible.
Joy-Cons.
Joy-Con.
Thank you.
That's possible. Yeah.
Mario Maker Worlds. That's what it's going to be called.
Okay.
World of Mario Maker.
And you'll be able to make whole.
Can I make whole world?
Yeah.
All right, I'm in.
You can literally make any kind of Nintendo franchise you want as long as it's not Metroid.
No, you make. Well, you make like the map, and like you can go like make a whole world.
Yes, as long as it's not a Metroid map.
As long as it's not.
Can I make an Urban Champion like sequel?
Yes,
Great,
as long as it's not
great,
Metroid.
great.
Anything.
Federation
Hogan's
Force
Alley,
Metroid?
you can do it.
Okay.
Hogan's Alley Game C. It's gonna fucking blow your mind.
All right, let's read like 3 more emails.
Okay.
Or something.
That's a number.
Dan from England. Just an idea before Dan leaves for the East Coast that maybe Jeff should sit in for a film in 40s with the movie of choice being John Carpenter's Ghosts of Mars.
I was just thinking about Ghost of Mars recently.
I saw that.
I would watch that.
I saw that in a theater.
Yeah.
So did I.
That's a bad movie.
It's not a good movie.
We're talking late
It's
90s
a quality
here?
film.
Yeah, it's a
That's-
really bad movie.
Yeah.
None of those words are true.
No, it's a low. I mean, it has a quality.
I'm not sure it's film.
All
I
right,
think it's
fair enough.
I think it's
Yeah.
a couple of napkins somebody got off the bottom of their shoe.
Someone
and
just
put in a
drew
project-
Pam Grier on some film.
Somebody was backstage at a Marilyn Manson concert and was
Okay.
like, I could cut this into something. I think.
I remember liking Ghosts of Mars. I remember also thinking Ghosts of Mars is terrible.
Is Ice Cube in that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And
As
Natasha
Desolation
Henstridge
Jones.
of Species.
Are the ghosts humans that have died on Mars, or are they the ghosts of aliens?
They're the ghosts
past?
of aliens past.
Do they have like corporeal forms? Does that mean like
No, they
tangible
are
forms?
they are gaseous in nature, and they infect the human population that has colonized Mars, and it causes them to mutilate themselves in various ways to
Makes
make them
the
look
humans
more
do
like
that.
the old Mars species.
Oh, do they have faces? The smoky aliens?
No,
ghosts?
it's just smoke.
Oh, okay.
It's just Mars smoke.
It's such a bad
It's
movie.
a really bad movie.
Is the music all right? It's John Carpenter.
No, even for a John Carpenter production, it's pretty bad.
I remember
yikes.
enjoying it.
It's like somebody took what was that, like Red Planet or like
We're playing Mission to Mars.
Yeah,
was
like
the other
Mission to
one.
Mars and like Trespass and like fucking some
okay,
other, and
yep,
put it in
all
like
right.
a fucking and then cut a finger off and
Okay.
put it in a pot
If
and
that's what
stir
it
it up.
takes.
You will get me to do a lot of things on a Giant Bomb podcast. You will never get me to talk shit about Trespass.
I'm saying you put that in and you do some bad shit and Ghost of Mars comes out
Yeah.
the tap.
All those Mars
Sold.
movies around that time were bad. I think Red Planet was the only basically watchable
that the one
one.
with
I was
Gary
okay with Red
Sinise
Planet.
being a
That
dick?
No, that was
Val
Mission to Mars,
Kilmer.
which was
Okay.
awful.
I remember seeing it. That's the one I saw. That was the one I backed.
Isn't Red Planet the one where it's Val Kilmer and at the end they go into the
And
big
Carrie
like,
Ann Moss.
white thing? There's like a huge white structure. Like
No.
it looks like a Kubrick style.
No.
Is that Mission to Mars?
That's Mission to Mars.
Oh, that's the one I liked.
No, that one's terrible.
What's Red Planet about?
Red Planet is basically The Martian, but without any of the I'm going to science the shit out of this stuff, and more just Val Kilmer is stranded on Mars.
Is that the one with
And
the
also
lions
Tom
and,
Sizemore is there.
and lions and Michael Douglas, right? That goes to darkness. Ghost in the Darkness.
That's a whole other
That's
thing.
not on Mars. Okay.
No, that's not on Mars.
Okay.
Red Planet
Okay.
meets Trespass
Yep.
meets People Under the Stairs.
Yeah, all right. More or less.
And you stirred it just a little bit and then you boiled off everything and then scraped the bottom of the pot and then smoked it. And that's Red Planet.
So you're saying you smoked the resin of all that shit,
Yes.
and that became Ghosts of Mars.
And then somebody walked in and was like, "What the fuck are you doing? Dude, you're not going to fucking believe it.
Ice Cube and Natasha Henstridge.
Jason Statham will be there too.
It's fucking, you have to try it. I'm good. I'm so good.
Then all you ever saw again was Ghost of Mars.
That's it.
Apparently, you guys need to do this.
It's a really terrible movie. The only thing I liked about it was that Pam Grier was just fucking chewing the scenery through that
really?
whole thing. She is in top form in that thing.
It
Everything else is
is
trash.
incredibly difficult for me to drink alcohol in this city as I have to drive home at the end of it. So that's there's a big stumbling
You
block
could have
in
just
the way
put
of
some
that.
apple juice in a 40 and no one would have known.
Well, here's the good thing about Ghost of Mars. You won't want to do anything after you sit and
Yeah,
watch
you'll just want to
that.
lay on the
So
ground and moan.
Probably just wait a week. You'll be sober by then.
I watched the last scene of Ghost of Mars 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Needed a hit.
Just YouTubed it.
So you did smoke that shit. It's just you never let it go.
Hell yeah.
Every once in a while,
I got
just
that fucking itch. Look at me, I'm over here.
I didn't just make that up, right? Like his name is actually Desolation Jones.
Yeah,
It's a good name.
I believe
if,
it.
If not in that, then in some other movie.
Yeah.
that is definitely.
It's a bad movie. Don't do it.
Now do it, but it's a bad movie.
I'll leave that up to you guys.
All right.
I think the soundtrack sucks. Also,
Yeah, it does. We covered that, but yeah,
Okay.
it is bad.
Okay.
Not Carpenter's finest work all around.
Sounds bad.
Is there a book?
No, I don't think so.
Is that would
Well,
love
there
to
might
read
have
the
been a
novelization.
novelization based on the movie.
Yeah, let's look. That must exist.
That's on eBay.
All right. Stephen from Portland writes in. I'm pretty sure this is addressed to Dan, even though it doesn't say that. It's about public urination.
Okay.
I'm not proud of this because we talked about you peeing on churches.
Oh, during the Google.
That was
Recently.
Not
that was-
Church's Chicken?
We're not
that
trying
was
to make any
me, and that was
statements or
out of
anything.
necessity.
And yeah, I was not trying to
church.
make a statement or
Yeah,
anything.
this
It's just
wasn't like church burning, you know,
Right,
in
well,
Norway
it wasn't.
or anything.
It wasn't just. It sounds like you've.
I was just pointing out that like most buildings near Massachusetts
Yes.
Street in Lawrence, I peed on.
Yes.
Like
it wasn't. It
most.
wasn't just churches. That's just-
Storefronts,
yes,
churches,
yes.
houses, everything.
Yes, you peed on a lot
It's
of
just you
buildings.
marking your
Mailboxes.
territory. I get it.
Yeah.
Strip club.
Yeah, and puke, and yeah.
Oof.
There's been a whole lot of my stuff all
right.
over Lawrence, so.
Great. I'm never going there. Go on.
DNA as far as the eye can see.
Steven says, I'm not proud of this, but there were no restrooms on the Great Wall of China. I was about a mile away from the entrance, and I did have one beer before starting my hike. About every quarter mile on the wall, there are watchtowers with trash cans. I kept hoping one would have a porta potty or something. So I relieved myself in a trash can on one of man's greatest achievements. The worst part is there was no lining in the trash can.
I mean, what's the alternative there? I mean, you're not going to go off
Pee
of
off
the
the
wall.
I was going to say off the side of the Great Wall would be pretty good, but
It's a great wall. It could take the hit.
Yeah, it's true. It's seen worse.
Just crumbles.
Yeah.
it's probably true.
It's a good way to end up in a work camp, is all I'm saying.
I wonder how many people have had sex on the Great Wall of China.
Hundreds.
I mean,
If not
modern-
thousands.
5,000 years of
era.
Chinese
Yeah,
history,
yeah.
at least
Whoa.
a few.
In history or like recently in modern times?
Like
Oh,
I
I
wonder
thought you
how
meant, like,
often
tourists.
it happens on an annual basis.
Yeah.
Often,
30
I
to
would
40
say.
times
It's
a
a,
year.
it's a big wall. It seems like it'd be hard to watch the whole thing
Yeah.
Yeah.
all at the same time.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's my new life goal. I'm going to fuck on all of the wonders of the world.
Andre the Giant?
All that Civ playing has prepped you with the knowledge
Yes.
of, okay, Hanging Gardens, let's go.
Fucking A. Petra, baby. Gonna fuck on it.
What are the seven wonders?
That's
seven?
weird.
8.
Th-
Oh, wait, no.
No, the eighth
eight
one was
wonders
the
is Andre the Giant.
I'm saying
Okay.
this-
So I am
Please
going
do-
to fuck on Andre the Giant's grave. I'm
And-
sorry, but I'm gonna do it.
This morning I walked into the damn gym and all the people were arguing that worked there about what the seven wonders of the world are. I have not thought of the seven wonders of the world in months. And now it's come
Pyramids?
up twice.
Hanging
Pyramids,
Gardens.
the Colossus of Rhodes.
Yeah, that's gonna be a harder one to fuck on because it's in the water. But I can
Library?
Is that
find
the
a way.
thing from God of War 2?
Alexandria?
I don't remember.
Maybe? I'm not sure.
It's the thing that the giant statue in Game of Thrones is based on, like the city that has the giant
Oh,
statue at
okay.
the port. Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what it's, yeah.
The Lighthouse?
The Great Lighthouse.
I'm just thinking of
No, you're
Civ
just thinking of wonders. I don't think those are all the seven wonders of the world. There's
You build them in the
Bacteria?
new Tetris, don't
there are
you?
many lesser wonders.
The Sphinx.
Sphinx is probably one. Well, no,
Yeah.
the pyramids are one. That's got to be all
I
in
think
the
the
same
Sphinx,
package,
it's all kind of
right?
wrapped in the same deal.
The Grand
The wonders
Canyon.
are things made by man, right?
I feel like we should
Yes.
look this up.
What about like the internet?
This is a fact-based podcast.
Yeah.
We have the facts.
We're making them right now.
That's right. We control the facts.
Yeah. it's,
Niagara Falls.
Super Mario World.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, okay.
Tetris Mode B.
Mhm.
Song B.
The MGM Grand,
Yeah.
The autograph picture of Sergeant Slaughter I have in my house, weirdly enough, is one of them.
Yeah.
the world's largest cheese roll.
Wait, I have one of those too.
The
world's
Yours
largest
is not
cheese
just
roll?
as good.
Hollywood sign.
Yes.
And I've had sex on all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Especially that
Congratulations.
picture.
All right.
Yeah, no, that picture is. It is still. It's not. It's still moist. There's still a dampness to it that is
I didn't
like.
say they'd all
It's
survive.
ghostly. It's spectral. It's weird.
How do you think it became a wonder, baby?
I wonder all
They
the
sent it to
time.
Mars.
Yes, they sent it to Mars.
Yeah. I looked at it and said, "Get your ass to Mars." I said that to that picture, and
It became a ghost. And
yeah,
now
The rest,
haunts.
the rest
turned
is
into smoke and flew to Mars.
history. Yes. All right. Last email comes in from Walter in Quebec.
Give these people their air.
Is the frilly thing around Papillon's neck artificial, or is it part of his body and made of skin or something?
I don't think Pokemon wear clothes,
Papillon?
do they? I think it's
Papillon.
all growing off them. It's like the Dilophosaurus thing in Jurassic Park, I think.
Well, so I think it's supposed to be one of those like frilly collars you
Yeah.
see in
Well, yeah.
like
Victorian
Mid-sentence,
or whatever.
yeah.
Elizabethan.
I was thinking
Yes.
more circus performer, but
Well, I think
But it-
that's yes.
but it is part of his organic body.
Yes, no, he has an organic collar and an organic clown nose.
Is that right?
That's correct, yes.
Yes.
Are you saying Pokemon are not allowed to wear clothes?
Wait,
you're saying-
name a Pokemon that's ever worn.
I'm
It's
not
against the
saying.
law.
I'm not saying none of them. I'm not saying any of them do. I'm saying is it against the law?
What law? Like,
I feel like
that's what
Pikachu
you're-
dressed up like a detective. Like
It's
relatively
against
recently,
Pokemon
right?
law.
Doesn't that owl have that little bikini top thing on?
no, the owl has a bow tie, but those are leaves that are attached to its neck. That's
That's-
around it.
but it's not growing leaves, right? It's wearing.
How do you know?
No, it's growing.
Because it's not a plant.
Well, I mean, it just looks like leaves. It's shaped like leaves. It's part of his neck.
It's like feather camouflage.
But does that mean
yeah.
it knows like shame or wants to look better?
No, that's just evolution and stuff. Natural selection, the Pokemon
Bow
world.
tie
It's just
evolution?
It grew, yeah. The
Yeah,
one,
no,
the
the
ones
Pokemons
with bow
with the
tie
bow
leaves,
tie naturally dominated the ones that did not.
and they were attracting mates at a higher rate than
Yeah.
the ones without the bow tie leaves.
I mean, it's a really spiffy bow tie.
it's really nice. If you rub it in the Pokemon thing, it gets really, you get like 3 hearts.
3
What the
hearts.
fuck are you guys
And
playing?
Pokemon Refresh.
Fucking-
You get some beans from the Poke Pelago.
I'm not playing anything. I don't play Pokemon games.
There you have it. There's your answer.
If you eat that, it is a delicacy.
Ugh.
the
No,
Papillon
man.
the ruffle. It's very wasteful because you can't eat the rest of it. It's poison.
They're growing back. It's fine.
That's what. Sure they do. Yeah.
Just cut it off.
I'm a trainer. I'm a trainer.
Throw
so-
them into like the water.
As a Pokemon
Rip it off,
conservationist, this is
throw-
deeply offensive to me.
Throw them into. It's really horrible, and you can join my campaign to stop them.
All right. Millions of tons of Poplio neck guards a year are being stolen.
If you shred it up and you grate it, it is a very potent
Please stop talking about shredding up my special boy.
Well, you can write into the Populio Preservation Fund for more information.
You could if you wanted.
Bombcast at giantbomb.com.
I ain't gonna do shit.
Take
Popplio is my
breadcrumbs
child.
and ground up rowlets and feed them to Littens, and
I
then
will
before
not-
they digest, they cut the stomachs out of them, and it's delectable. It's just
Please stop bullying my child.
You gotta let it set first.
All right. That's going to do it for emails and this podcast.
Is that where you stop?
Yes. That's
What if somebody's like, you got something wrong?
no one ever says that.
All right. Okay.
If and when that ever happens, they'll let us know.
We live in a post-truth society.
I mean, we could always have a corrections segment if we ever
true.
needed one, but we just haven't.
It's true.
We've been doing this a long time, so we're pretty good at it.
It's weird. You guys are seasoned.
Yeah.
It's amazing
Welcome to the future, Vinny.
They don't just give the table to anybody.
No.
You can't just like fucking buy this.
just like tight and like a tight 30.
That's
here.
us. Yeah. Bang, bang, bang.
Just run down the news.
Uh-huh.
Something like that.
tight 30 hours.
Everything you need as fast as you need it. That's our motto. That's always been.
That's us. All right. We're going to get the hell out of here. Thanks for listening. I guess you guys will be back next week, right?
Oh God, there's cameras here.
Okay. Well, all of us will see you again same time next week. See you then.